हेलो की हाल चाल चेक चेक देखते हैं क्या हो रहा है इसमें हेलो देव
สวัสดีครับผมเฟสโทนี่เคนะครับผมจากทีมเฟสแคนครับผู้เล่นคนโปรดของผมก็คือโนวาออเดอร์ครับเพราะว่าเขาเป็นคนที่เล่นเก่งแล้วก็ฉลาดครับดีใจมากเลยครับที่จะได้เจอเพื่อนเก่าของผมคือ GD ครับผมเรามีข้อความจะฝากถึง GD ด้วยนะถึง GD เพื่อนรักปีที่แล้วพวกนายเล่นได้ดีมากในเวทีลีกซึ่งมันทำให้ทีมของเราเริ่มมีปัญหาแล้วเพราะมันทำให้เราเล่นยากขึ้นมากกว่าเดิมในการแข่งขัน C ปีนี้แต่ครั้งนี้พวกนายจะไม่มีทางได้ไปในรอบแกรนด์ไฟนอลได้อย่างง่ายดายแน่นอน
Kepada Face Clan, memang kalian sangat handal, tapi bagi kita kalian sangat kurang, masih kurang, apalagi di dalam kualifikasi ini. Di PMGC kali ini kita bisa menentukan yang terbaik. Ya, saya merasa bisa menghasilkan hasil yang terbaik lah untuk di PMGC Liga kali ini. Jadi ditunggu saja. Untuk favorite player saya Nova Order. Karena dia memiliki
I think first match will start in 10 minutes.
Positioning yang bagus, dia juga bisa dibilang player yang jarang kita lihat, ya bisa dibilang paket lengkap lah untuk di tim. Kali ini saya akan ketemu Giki Yuhai dan saya akan menulis surat untuknya. Pada Yuhai, halo, kita berjumpa lagi. Ketika kamu di BTR sebelumnya, kamu bukan tandingan kami. Kali ini kamu kembali ke Malaysia dan sama sekali bukan ancaman. Bersiaplah pulang lebih awal.
Hello, I'm back and I become stronger now. If you guys don't believe, you guys can come and find out. This time I will fight for Malaysia and I will bring the glory back to Malaysia. I feel very excited because the previous PMGC, me and my previous team, we did not qualify the final. And I'm looking forward to make my new team now to final for Malaysia. Throughout PMGC, I think my favorite player is from Starwood Esport. I think is top because when they play in group green, the player top performed very well, and I'm looking forward to fight him in the grand final. This week, I would like to meet Tony K from Face Clan, and I want to give him some message. Dear Tony K, many people call you talented boy in Thai PUBG Mobile, and I have seen your outstanding performance in C as a veteran of the battleground. I predict that two of us butt heads in the 2022 PMGC League, and that it will be an explosive meeting.
เราอย่าตั้งหน้าตั้งตารออยู่นะคนที่ล่ำลือว่าเป็นเด็กที่มีพรสวรรค์ในมาเลเซียแต่คนที่ชนะเป็นเราเอง
Welcome to the 2022 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. This year, we'll witness the world's best teams fight for their share of the $4 million prize pool across the PMGC League and final stages. The league stage will be held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with an all-new format consisting of 3 parts.
STK matches कब है अब?
And
Bro,
last chance.
they are
The
in
group stage
January.
will kick off on November 10th all the way to the 27th. And we'll split our 48 teams into 3 groups. The top 3 from each group will advance directly to the finals, and the bottom 5 will be eliminated. The survival stage will take place from November 30th to December 2nd. The remaining teams from the group stage will battle to stay out of the bottom 8 spots to advance to the last chance, held on December 3rd and 4th, where the remaining 16 survivors will compete for the last 4 spots in the finals. The PMGC Grand Finals will be held from January 6th to 8th in Jakarta, Indonesia, where the 13 league finalists will compete with 3 special invite teams for the 2022 PMGC Championship Trophy. and be crowned as the best PUBG Mobile team in the world.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 2022 PUBG Mobile Global Championship League stage Group Yellow. So kicking off the day today, we have a team that showed us consistent and unshakable consistency, trained to kill from Nepal. And with me, I have, what's your name?
Zin.
Zin, T2K Zin. And this is very exciting for me because they are a team that despite not having any chicken dinners, they still made it to the top 3. So my first question for you today. How do you feel about participating in PMGC for the first time? Are you very nervous? And what's your mood before the start of day number 2?
हामी त एकदम खुसी छौँ PMG सेलेक्ट भएकोमा अब आजको हिजो अब हल्का गेम बिग्रेको थियो र अब आज चाहिँ त्यो सुधार्ने मुडमा छौँ हामी
We are very excited to play the PMGC 2022. Yesterday we did a small mistake, and today we will improve ourselves.
Wow, he sounds very, I would say, humble and really eager to prove himself. So my question number 2 for you is, how is T2K able to consistently collect points through every single match despite not getting any chicken dinners?
हाम्रो चाहिँ एकदम सिली मिस्टेक्सहरू भइरहेछ त्यो सानसानो मिस्टेकले गर्दा चाहिँ अलिक प्रब्लम आइरहेको थियो बट आजको दिन छ आजको दिनमा हामी मिस्टेक्सहरू गर्नेवाला छैनौँ
Yes, from the first day we learned so many things, but we did a simple mistake and some silly mistakes. But today we will improve ourselves.
Yeah, as I said before, this is very exciting for us because as we go into day number 2, the consistency and play of the team will change. So now, what do you guys prioritize more? Do you guys prioritize placement points or eliminations?
We prioritize placement points. अब अरू भन्नुपर्दा चाहिँ प्लेसमेन्ट पोइन्ट चाहिँ अब किलसँगै भनौँ अब लास्टसम्म सुरुमा टिक्ने त्यसपछि चाहिँ किलको लागि जाने हो
Yeah, our final destination will be the final match. Then even though we are trying for the elimination, and then our main priority is elimination and the final match to win.
Right, this is very exciting as well because when you think about it, we do need to find that sweet spot between survivability as well as placement points. Now, for my final question for you, Zin, what do you think your team needs to improve to finish the day leading up to groups?
दिन सकिन अगाडि चाहिँ अब के चाहिन्छ भने हाम्रो मिस्टेक्सहरू र हामीले अब कन्फिडेन्स चाहिँ लुज गर्नु हुँदैन त्यति भएपछि हामीलाई पुग्छ
Before the end of the match, we will improve our team. Then we will not repeat the same mistake. Then we will confidently we will play and we will win this match.
All right, thank you so much. So before we go, how do you say goodbye in Nepalese?
Thank you guys. Gorkhalis here. Thank you.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Global Championships Group Yellow. I'm your host, Hot Jukes, and here help us will go on with the show. We got none other than the Seven Worlds Gaming, and Glitter Explosion is back. How are you feeling, Glitter?
I am so excited to be back. I heard day one was a little spicy, so I'm ready to get back into the action because I think this is going to be a really good group. And I'm here. And I wore yellow, okay? I'm prepared.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, let's go, Seven. How you feeling, brother?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited because of what Glitter just said. We had an amazing day one, and I can't wait to see what this day two is going to be bringing. How are you, by the way, Hotchix?
Oh, man, I'm so stoked, man. I'm full of that Thanksgiving food, man. So I am locked, loaded, and ready to go today. And so why don't we go ahead and start out by reminding every single one of you guys out there to just hop in the game and vote for which team you
Hello,
think is
Abhishek.
gonna go
Hello,
and
guys.
win this whole thing.
Mentos
So
YT.
get in game and hopefully
तोकिर भाई प्लीज हेल्प, मेरा BGMI अकाउंट बैन हो गया है 10 साल के लिए. प्लीज हेल्प. बहुत पैसा लगा था. मैं कैसे हेल्प कर सकता हूँ अगर बैन हो गए थे? ऐसा क्या कांड कर दिया था तुमने जिससे तुम ब्लॉक हो गए थे?
You play PUBG Mobile at 90 Hz with Xperia Stream's total cooling system and multiple ports for intense gaming and streaming. Also, gotta give a big shout out to our hotel partner here for the PMGC, Pullman Kuala Lumpur Bangsar. Our world is your playground. Also, Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming, our platinum sponsor. Guys, go check out Prime Gaming. They got some great in-game items from PUBG Mobile, other Prime benefits, and you can get some really nice stuff. So go check out Prime Gaming today. And last but not least, of course, the Maserati is in PUBG Mobile. You guys can pick up this skin up until December 31st. So the end of the year, that is it. So guys, go get it today and ride its style. Vroom, 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 vroom. Yeah, you know, speaking of putting
Boop
that
boop boop
pedal
boop
to
boop
the
boop
metal,
boop boop
okay?
boop.
Follow us, guys. Come on, do it. Click the buttons, and if you don't want to do it, then still do it. Okay.
Tokir, you have
What's up?
That's
have
100%,
to
man.
see
I mean,
Jonathan
if you are
and
gonna be
Ryzen
tweeting
funny
out or doing
talks.
anything, make sure you also
We
use
will
hashtag
we will look
PMGC
into
or
it.
PMGC 2022 because I've been keeping
It is a
track of
glitch.
those, and,
Wallah,
you guys
I
are
don't
saying
know,
some
bro.
interesting stuff.
How can I help? I don't know. I'm not on tech
Get
sport,
that
bro.
conversation going. Get that conversation to go, and there's so much to talk about here.
What
Why don't we go
was
ahead and show
what
everybody
is
who's
this
possibly
Ryzen
tuning
in
here
this?
for the first time, the
I'll look into it
participating
later.
teams here, and these are the squads that got to play yesterday. This is day number 2, and we saw some teams pop off at the start, and some teams we thought were gonna pop off, Seven, that didn't quite really hit the mark that we expected.
D Savior. Yeah, just, you know, putting that one out there too. Some teams popped off for sure. I mean, Geek Fam, that's one team that I'm going to be looking at. We'll go into that a little bit later. And then there's some less desired teams. But you know what? Let's talk about some of the players. You can see, damn rude. I mean, 3,500 damage. And this team, Glitter, was just so aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously 3 out of the top 4 from Geek Fam up here. I mean, to be fair, Tony K, phenomenal performance, especially from the 4th place overall team, still being up here as the best, or number 3 in the damage. But I mean, Rude has the #1 highest damage on a first day performance so far. Geek Fam has been incredible, and you can also see that reflected here in their grenade use. One, obviously significantly
Yeah,
higher
maybe
than every
Mentos
other
now I
squad
have
up
to
here,
start a
but that's
reaction
just going to
channel.
speak to their aggression. It
करेंगे.
speaks their ability
I'm
to
thinking
really use
करेंगे.
utility incredibly well. And then that ended up being reflected in obviously their first place placement on the day, ahead of everybody else. I mean, you've got 3 out of the 4 in the top 4, most nades used 7. This is an incredible performance for day number 1.
4 दिन से ना मेरी बैंड बजी पड़ी है जुकाम और खांसी से, but I've been home. That's why I'm kind of trying to figure it out. इस streaming का system क्या रहता है?
Decided to just obliterate all of that and say, you know what, we're actually here. We're gonna be trying to get some chicken ears. We're gonna be trying to get those high placement besides just the high eliminations that we're getting. And when I say high eliminations, I mean GeekFam was winning right now. They have 51 eliminations. And when you compare it to GK Esports only sitting at 29. So a completely different team than what I've seen before, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm really
और कौन-कौन watch
enjoying
party कर रहा है, by the way?
the aggressiveness, and then some of the other teams, hopefully they'll be able to step it up. I mean, GK, they didn't end the day so well. Glitter, they ended up with the 9th place finish and only 1 elimination on one of those games, and then the next one was a 12th place finish with 1 elimination. I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking to change that.
Yeah, and we talk about that too, right? We talk about how momentum plays a factor into that, and on the flip side, teams that did close out the day really well. Another one that we'll probably be talking about is going to be T2K, Trade to Kill. I mean, they had multiple second place finishes. We saw the interview at the top of the show with T2K as well, and they were just really consistent across the board with no chicken dinners, still in the top 3 at the end of the day. And we talk about that a lot, Jukes. I heard you gasping before with excitement for what you were watching. Consistency is so important.
Oh, it's so huge. Every single time I see one of them squad wipes, you know, I get so pumped up. And not to mention yesterday, the first play that we saw, Iron Sight Car 98 from across the map. That was so dang sick. Let's take a look at the ratings. And you know what?
I don't know, Mentos Whitey, what
Earlier,
is your
this is our
definition of
boss man right
success?
now. It's crazy to see that grenade
I don't
usage
feel I'm that
ended up being
successful
the
yet
same
that I give
stats
out
as we
tips
see
to
here
people.
on the overall
But yeah,
ratings.
मेहनत करो.
Geek Fam, most nades used,
Hard
DK
work is
second,
everything.
And we see them here in first and second place here, 7.
Yeah, this team
मैं
has
काम
just been
कर दो.
battling it out, and I mean,
Today
at
we'll
one
do
point
something
we had a
else.
40-point
मैं
gap between second place and third place, so I'm glad to see that has kind of narrowed down a little bit more. Glitter mentioned it perfectly. T2K, they have been super consistent. FaZe Clan, though, this was a team that didn't really perform that well at the start of the day. They finished on a great note by getting that chicken dinner. We also saw 4 Angry Men. And then the teams that I was calling out earlier, I mean, D Savior.
I've attached a Discord watch party link now.
Right now, they're currently
Come join whosoever wants to join. We will have a chat.
Because those teams at the top are looking to get all the points.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at those bottom squads, they're the only ones with single-digit eliminations. That's not what they want, because now we're looking at the average eliminations, and Geek Fam literally has an average in what Xavier has in total.
Aggressiveness, right?
Ouch.
That's what we're talking about. And the damage that they're being able to output, even when they didn't have a great performance in regards to placement, they were still able to come out with those eliminations, and I think that's definitely what played out. A big difference between these two teams. With GK, I mentioned it earlier too, I'm really intrigued to see what kind of team we're going to be getting here as we do look at the top Aaron Guild performance. You can see Geek Fan, I mean, I'm not surprised to see them there. FaZe Clan, I am a little bit surprised to see them there as, you know what, I'll tell you why later. And then IHC, 16 ranking points, 21 elimination points, and GK. With the thing with GK, I have to tell you guys this real quick, is that there were 2 passive attacks.
Thank you, Mentos Whitey, for clearing it to Sahil.
Today and not just go for placement points.
I like it. I agree.
Can't go for placement points. You got to be able to go for both. You got to go for broke here. These are today's matches. This is the same good old cycle that we've seen multiple times in a row. But I think that's the championship formula here. You know, is that no matter what situation you in, what zone you get, you got to put up some points. You know, get those 8 points. Say, hey, you know what? There's no chance we're gonna get first place here. But let's just try to put something on the board. And then when you do get that zone, you can't just get a chicken dinner. You got to get that chicken dinner with like 15, 20 eliminations. That's what really sets that first place mark. And man, we saw Geek Fam, they did exactly that strategy yesterday, Seth.
They did, and it wasn't even just the chicken dinners. It was like the third place finish when they ended up in third place. They ended up with 12 eliminations. We saw them being able to get more points than the teams that were actually winning the games, and I think that's currently why they're at the top.
Well, you know what? Speaking of teams at the top, I got two of the top best analysts in the game right
Hello,
next to me. And these
Arceus.
are their teams to watch here going into match number 1. So I see you got some interesting picks there, Glitter. So why don't you break down your picks for us?
Okay, I mean, 7, we obviously agree on 4 Angry Men. I don't know your reasoning here, but for me, I mean, they started off the day fantastically. I think everybody had higher expectations of them, and it was just like what started to be a steady downfall that just kind of plummeted into not finishing above a double-digit placement after that. And I want to see them bounce back here today. I already talked about Time to Kill a little bit, how insanely consistent they were. 3 second-place finishes out of the 6 matches, and I want to see if they can finally close out a chicken. And then Geek Fam. We've seen teams at the top fall off. I want to see if they can continue this dominating performance or if it was a flash in the pan.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that for them too, because now with 4 Angry Men, this is my reasoning, okay? And the only reason why I picked them before this Aerial, yes, they won the first Aerial, but they just kept getting into
भाई साहिल तो ऐसे नाराज हो रहा है जैसे मैं कुछ कर सकता हूँ. I can't do anything, bro.
Just to that, are they going to be getting any of their players knocked super early on, or have they been able to go back, watch that tape, and maybe work something out that doesn't happen again? Now with Game Lord, they were steady in a way, and I know Imperium is going to love this that I'm talking about them. They were steady in a way that they are able to put themselves into position to actually strike at the end. They finished off the day with 2 very strong games. I'm trying to see if they're going to continue with that momentum, because if they can, I will like to see them at least top 5. And then last and not least, you Savior. You heard me talking about it earlier. Please, wake up. You can't do this.
Well, you know what? They need to wake up, and all of you watching need to wake up, because it's time for match number 1. Let's take it on over to our casters, Zute and Esproxy.
Thank you, Hot Jukes. We are back with day number 2 of week number 3. And if it goes to show, you know, day number 1 was great. Day number 2 is just going to get better. And 3 and 4, well, it just goes up from there, S-Proxy.
I mean, yesterday was a statement and a half that we saw from some of these teams. We saw a very explosive start from the likes of 4AM.
ईशान भाई इसका $4 million prize pool है total.
GK Esports bringing in that consistency, and that's going to be the key today. I mean, we mentioned Xavier, we mentioned Besiktas. I mean, with one of the craziest clutches that we've seen, not only as an individual with that 1v4 against Train to Kill, but then also in that 2v3 right at the end of Miramar. I mean, come on, they just brought that synergy, and if they can do that again today, then we might have a whole different storyline to follow.
So many different storylines already developing through the first day. The one I'm looking out for in particular, though, is the Geek Fam team, right? Geek Fam, we saw them pretty much play the same style all 6 matches, and they absolutely crushed it. It was the same consistency. They didn't change things up game from game. And even though in the last game, you know, they faltered a little bit, you know, going out early with only 3 eliminations, they stuck true to their playstyle. So that's what I really like to see coming into today, though. I want to see if they're going to stick with that and if it's going to keep working for them.
I mean, we mentioned a little bit of camera, you know, we were talking about those damage numbers briefly, and I mean, as a team, Geek Fam brought in 11.2 thousand damage, whereas second best, we're talking about a 6.7 thousand damage. That is insane, but it makes sense.
Bro, we can't wait for finals either, ST for
When
win.
you think about how
I know,
aggressive
bro.
they were playing, yeah, their placements don't really match that, but I mean, ultimately, we mentioned it before, even if Geek Fam goes
Which
down,
team do you think
at the
out of
very
yellow
least, they take out a couple
is
games with them
someone
back
that you
into the
really
lobby,
think
and
can,
that just thins out the competition, doesn't really give anyone a shot.
like, you know, be a
Geek
threat
Fam just rolls on up and says, well, your
to
territory's ours now.
other finalists?
Yeah, it was just so many eliminations, right? At one point in the tournament, we saw another team had 2 chicken dinners and Geek Fam with only 1, but they were actually in the lead. And that was only with like a few games, right? If this was over the span of like multiple games, one team having more chicken dinners and less points, that's understandable. But only in a couple of games, a team with an extra chicken dinner had less overall points. That just means the elimination points were really starting to stack up for the Geek Fam team.
I'm loving it, but there's also just so many opportunities for some of the other teams to bring on in. I mean, Vivo Keyed, we started off with that Erangel match. They drove straight into the Valley of Doom against Furious Gaming. But then they started picking up some of the pacing. I mean, I just go back to that match on Erangel with that horrible zone, that horrible terrain, and yet they were still trying to stick
HIV
it out. Still
RKS ये
trying to
कौन सी
stay
टीम है
alive, moving on
HIV?
in. Furious Gaming literally falling off the ridgeline with Game Lords. I mean, these teams have had to go against some tough terrain, and we had some very interesting zones yesterday. But now the question is, are we going to see a little bit more of that today, or are some of the teams that are sitting towards that bottom of the leaderboard going to pick up the pace starting today?
IHC is a good team.
Sticking alive or becoming alive, right? One team that really started to show up.
Do you think, bro? I think like last के 2 दिन सबसे ज़्यादा interesting होंगे. Today I just want to see who creates the lead. कल वाले momentum. अगर आप green group भी देखोगे ना, if you watch, if you know that exactly what happened there, पहले 2 दिन कोई और ही अलग team ऊपर थी, फिर भाई वापस नीचे आ गई थी. I want to see who creates that lead today. Yeah, same situation रहेगी. अभी meta वगैरह सब में adjust होने में time लग रहा है.
Making it in. Right afterwards, 14th place with only 3 eliminations. And then I think it was game 4. Game 4, they made the change. Game 4, they brought in Zyol instantly. 2nd place finish. 9 eliminations. 10th place finish, not that good, but 5 eliminations. We saw them go down 5.
तो अकीर भाई जीतने के बाद आ जाओ मुंबई गॉर्डल बूट कैंप. आ जाऊंगा यार. जीतने के बाद के जीतने से पहले जब भी टाइम मिलेगा मैं आ जाऊंगा. And any new signings in future? We just signed one more team, Inco Gaming. Inco जो हमारे साथ green group में थे. They are Brazilian champions. We just signed them. We signed their Call of Duty roster. We have Brawl Star team. हमारी जो है वो Brawl Star की team is going to Paris for the World Championship. What else?
They've shaked everything off from yesterday, and now they need to bring the action.
Yeah, so many teams, actually.
Yeah, let's see if game comes back, then maybe we'll be looking for a BGMI roster as well. That is definitely on top of our heads, but we want to see. But हमारा थोड़ा different strategy होती है यार. हम content oriented teams नहीं उठाते हैं. We primarily focus on performance based teams. Brands, branding, views वगैरह ये सब चीजें. Deals वगैरह don't matter to us if we have a competitive
It just seems like Erangel is the southern map of the day.
Geek show gunpower zabardast.
One way or another. At least this
Geek has a good gunpower, bro.
Eastern side, so some
I mean,
pretty good opportunities.
only gunpower doesn't matter, bro. You need strategy, rotation,
situation again.
Zone ki understanding.
Easy
It also
pickings for them.
matters.
Then
Sahil Rahman, love for Anantnag, thank you.
We know
If you're from my hometown, at least talk a bit smartly, bro.
4 a.m. generally
Where is Star Wars
seem to have been
bootcamp
joining them on
located?
the
We have a
Military Base
boot camp
Island,
in
but now it looks like a
Mongolia
straight
where
drop
the
for
players
400
stay,
men over towards
obviously.
Military Base.
Yeah.
We have
Yesterday, 4 a.m.
one
also
boot
got
camp
Bridge
in
Camp,
UAE
right?
as well.
Military base when
जो
the sun
खाली
was
पड़ा है.
very far up north.
Right
And they
now.
got Bridge Camp by Geek
पहले मैं
Fam,
खाता हूँ.
no less. Geek Fam, a team that likes playing, from the edge. Makes sense why Geek Fam didn't rotate in. We do have the first circle. It's going to be on the southeastern side. A bit of military base in the mix. And this is a little bit different of a drop. Now, these two teams, Falcons and Tem Entertainment, they've been sharing Yasnaya. But it's usually, we take the west side, you take the east side. However, this time around, looks like Tem Entertainment has stretched a little bit into the Falcons' territory. Not a full-blown engagement by any means, but seems like Tem Entertainment is starting to back up, maybe assert some quick dominance, apply some pressure, but they don't really want to engage into a fight either.
It's interesting.
December में आ जाओ भाई. December में I think I'm in UK. Then January most probably I'll be in Bali for the finals.
Yet we're still seeing like mini versions of Hot Tub.
After that maybe I'll see. Maybe उससे पहले I have to go for Umrah.
Getting those loose up and jumping into those earlier engagements, which it's unlikely that we would see that still, but yet here they are still proving a point. So Falcons and Tem Entertainment will be interesting to see if they do go head to head, if we will see that earlier engagement. We saw a few delayed engagements, if I could call it that, yesterday. Some of the teams taking a little bit longer to make their plays and either get out of the situation or get those final engagements. So hopefully today we see a little bit more of a quicker pace from these teams.
Also, stop crashing into things when you're driving. yesterday it was the military zone where we saw a car make it past the bridge, which
What
is
is
great,
left
and
to
then he
achieve
crashed
for
into the
Stalwarts if they
only
win
tree in
PMGC?
his way, and both players got eliminated. Right.
What
So
kind of a question is that, bro? I mean, like, we
oh,
have a
car
lot
crashing,
to achieve. We didn't
luckily
even
for these
start it.
guys,
Even if they win
they're not
PMGC, then you
gonna.
have to defend your title, right? And be
For
show
them,
some
they're not gonna,
consistency.
be shot at by an entire
Assalamu
team of.
alaikum,
It was
Nawaz bhai.
IHG actually,
What's up,
bridge
Tokir
camp,
bhai?
right?
All good, all
So
good.
crashing into things right now,
All good.
not too, not too punishing, but later on, gotta watch out for
You
where
see,
you're driving,
Stalwarts is not
especially
only
if you're the
PUBG,
driver. But it's tough
right?
sometimes, right? Because
PUBG
when
is
you're
just one
driving in
game.
the vehicle, you're able to third-person peek, meaning you could rotate your camera around while driving in a certain direction without affecting which way you drive. And when you're getting shot at, of course you want to see who's shooting you and from where, so you get a better idea of what's going
Guys,
on.
मैंने ऊपर ना
And that means you're
Discord
keeping your
की
eyes on the
watch
map,
party link डाली हुई
it
है.
becomes a deadly mistake sometimes.
You can come
That's where
and
the teamwork
join
has to come
that
in. You have to
link,
have your spotter, you have to have your
and you
driver.
can actually get
Second,
on the
if you're in
stream
that
with me.
passenger seat, your job is to spot out who's
Link
shooting
ऊपर
at you.
pin
But
किया हुआ
It's
है.
like keep
it's
your eyes
alright.
on the road. Don't worry about it.
आ जाओ.
Yeah, we don't care about what's happening on the music. Your job is to see who's shooting at us. That is the only job you have as a passenger. But hey, at least we'll see those teams maybe stepping it up. If not, Zute is coming after you. You heard it here first. But in terms of the two spots that we have on the map right now, at least with the early possible engagements, it's just Poliana that has that Falcons and Tem Entertainment action, and it was GK Esports and Rejects over towards Rozak, but Rejects has already disengaged and they've moved up a little bit closer towards Ruin. So I'm already liking that we're seeing that early pacing where they're like, look, it's not really worth it for us. Especially if you don't have loot, man. You can't go into a fight if you're like on the weapon disadvantage. Just back on out and try again a little bit later.
Yeah. It looks like Temen's tournament did back off. They did shift back to the western side of Yasnaya to continue looting. So maybe the initial drop was just to
I think
apply
is
some
group में there
pressure,
is
which I was
IHC
saying
Falcon
earlier, but not really looking for any sort of
and
engagement. Fights might start breaking out
4 a.m.
between those two
I think
teams,
these three teams will
as
come
the
up.
matches go on, when one
To be
team
honest,
becomes a little more desperate for
I think
points,
Geek will
or
do
when
the
one
same
team
thing
may
that
start
happened
feeling
with
a little bit more confident,
HVP.
as in, hey, we might as well
My
go
prediction for the
it.
game is
Looking at the map, we're about 5
we are
minutes in.
unstoppable
A
even
couple
now.
of
We are
teams
not
have
the
already
best team
started
yet, but yeah,
rotating
we are
in
the top 3
center
teams
of
in the
circle.
world.
Now, this first zone is actually, I would say, smaller than usual, right? Because a good portion of it, I'd say like 20 to 30%, is the military base area. And with the circle like this, I think everybody's pretty much counting out military base. So that eliminates the military base plus the water that is in play. So immediately, first circle, a lot less, viable playing territory.
And what's even worse for the likes of, let's say, IHC or 4AM, when they want to take that Eastern Bridge rotation, well, surprise, surprise, that happens to be the center of zone. I mean, we have already 3 teams situated within that opposite end, such as Nongshim Red Force. We've got Furious Gaming moving in. We've even got Genesis Dogma Gids that have moved in. FaZe moving down from Multa Power towards that bridge. I mean, it is stacked now. So for 4AM, they're going to make that trip on through. You can see right past Nongshim Red. Thankfully for them, it doesn't seem like Nongshim Red was quite ready for a little bit of that containment, but they will have a stock rotation to make immediately as soon as they reach the mainland.
Definitely agree. 4 a.m. Did make it past that bridge, didn't get camped. They find an open compound. Of course, they can't really get too further in because, as you were saying, many teams all set up.
So you were saying people say
4AM,
Nova would have
the
won the
biggest
league
concern
stage
was
if
getting bridge camps, right? Yesterday,
PK
they
could
ended the
have.
last game going
I don't
out
know,
to
bro.
the
What do you
Geek
mean?
Fam team because they were bridge camped. It was quite a good fight though on the bridge. It went back and forth. 4AM actually got the opening 2 knocks, but then Geek Fam held it down. And somehow,
Who, according to you,
someway,
is the
Geek
most
Fam
underrated player in the world?
There's a reason
In
why they have so many
Stalwart.
elimination points. They
Who
took the
people
fight back from a 2v4 and eliminated the entirety of the 4AM team. So 4AM definitely breathing a sigh of relief.
I mean, like, then we would have also
It's not gonna affect them on this
जो
first
आप
game.
पीके वाली एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं
No
वैसे
wonder
हम
you
भी
have
बोलते हैं अगर
BGC
उसने
to
हमें
move
नहीं
on
मारा
into today's
उसने हमें
games,
नहीं
right?
मारा
And
होता
I
इसने
mean,
हमें नहीं
brutal for
मारा
that
होता
Geek
तो
Fam.
हम भी शायद लीग स्टेज में
The
400
main
पॉइंट ले
factor
लेते
for me for Geek Fam and why they've been so consistent, why they've been so successful, is that confidence, that bravado when they jump into an engagement. It's like they
I
know
think
exactly what plan they've
globally
discussed. They all know their roles,
top
and
is
they just execute it
like,
time
you
in
know,
and
he
time
doesn't
out
get the
to such
credits
perfection.
for
We
the
talk
kind
about
of a player
individual
he is. Top
prowess,
is,
but then it has to be matched with
to be honest,
equal
like
amount of team
something
synergy.
else.
And Geek Fam for me right now,
Top is something.
Hopefully they keep it
Who
up
is the
because
most funny
they
player
are
in
just
the
hitting some
international team?
beautiful PUBG Mobile action, and if they can
Funny, I
continue
mean,
that,
like,
Look at
I
those
it's gonna
can't
be
damage
say
tough.
who is more funny.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
disgusting.
Um,
Actually,
that's
it's,
after one day.
oh,
I don't know
At
them
the
that personally, but
PMGC level, they're not pumping damage into chumps, right? This isn't your classic match where
I
you could rack up
think
like 2,000 to 3,000 in
action
one
is
game.
very funny.
Okay,
mm.
they're racking up that much damage
What
against the
does
best
Nova
teams
do
in
different
the world,
than
and that's a lot harder
that they're the
than
back door?
playing
It's
classic
because they're
matches.
like
And I want to draw a
they
comparison real quick
they
between
have more
Geek Fam
experience in the
and
game. They have
that's a good
5
shift
coaches,
all the way up to
5
the top of the
coaches,
forest area where
right?
the Pride
And
Rock is in
they have
play,
better understanding
right
of the
above
game. They
prison.
have
This is
been
gonna get
playing
interesting.
regularly. They
But
are
before
hard
things heat
work.
up, right? HP,
mean,
HVVP,
their
Geek Fam,
strategy,
very
their
similar play
understanding
styles.
of
You know,
the game
controlling
plays
the edge,
very,
fighting their way
very
in,
good.
dominant in eliminations. It seems like this style will get you in first place overall as long as you're executing it properly. And we saw with
Finals कब शुरू
HVVP,
होंगे?
you have one bad day trying
January
to
first
execute
week.
this style, which is quite difficult to pull off game after game. You quickly could drop down in the leaderboard, so we might see the same fate for Geek Fam.
You can still
just
say,
coming into
I
day
mean,
2.
like we don't know yet who's gonna win,
Four
who's
Angry
not
Men
gonna
right
win,
now
but
on a car
I mean,
chase. They chasing
final
Team
group
Entertainment.
pe
GK is
we'll
chasing
get to know
them.
a lot of things.
Yeah, just running through shelter like an absolute madman, trying to get that rotation and trying to regroup. Thankfully, it looks like they will be able to, but it's going to come down to what Team Entertainment will be able to do here. The line of sight looks pretty limited. So hopefully, Four Angry Men should be able to move on into center. I mean, for the likes of FaZe, they literally just rotated off Mill to Power, and now
We
it,
do
it might be an
deserve,
opportunity to
bro.
rotate
We
back.
do deserve
There's
to
that
win.
Pride Rock position that I was
We
talking about. Now,
definitely
4M,
do
we
deserve
saw
to
in
win.
game number 1 yesterday, they really
I mean,
prioritized
we hope we
these
win.
rotations.
Let's
Even
say
lost player
बाद में
on
पता
rotation
चले. I mean, like we will see that.
very early in the
We
very
can
first
say only
game.
that whether we deserve or not
But
deserve, we can only
they
say
ended
it
up
after
getting chipping in
seeing their
because of
play,
it. So
right?
once
Unfortunate
again,
things can
second
happen
circle
कि
pops up, they
circle
really
कहीं
gunning
और
for
बन रहा है,
central
कुछ
position,
कहीं और
and
हो रहा
we
है,
saw
and
on
like
the
you know
camera, so
rotation में
many
फंस जाता
teams
है
all
बंदा.
around them
So then we
taking
can
shots
say,
at
yeah, we
them,
deserve
but
to
it's a
win this, but
calculated risk, and hopefully it pays
you know,
off for them. They are
bad
pretty
luck with
much
the
somewhat
circle, so on
center,
and so
a little bit north of center, but
We
they're at a
will,
strong
bro.
position to work the rest of the map. So
फिलहाल
very
के
good
लिए
rotation by them. The Rejects team
अरे
taking things a
बीजे
little
के
bit
ना
slower
टर्की की
this time
टीम है.
around.
कल भी मैं
Rejects
देख रहा था,
also
पता नहीं
in the
like
very
इनका
first game
split बहुत ही
yesterday
अजीब
did
है.
similar, mad dash rotations, but it ended up costing them like the entire team
इसको
with
उड़ा
0
देगी, इनको
points.
उड़ा
So it
देगी.
looks like they're going to play
4
it
AM
slow now
आराम से.
as the new game plan coming into day 2.
Yeah,
Bro,
polarizing
TSM और
performances from
Cloud9
these
most
teams.
valuable
I like
esports
what you said in terms
organizations.
of that,
कैसे
that
money?
comparison
Over the
between
time, bro,
Geek
they
Fam
have
and HVVP. Also
injected
for
a lot of
HVVP,
capital into those
having a bad day on the
organizations.
literal last day, the literal last opportunity that you
Spent
have
some money.
to
We
put
just
up
started
points.
spending
I mean,
this year.
you couldn't have talked about like worse
So,
timing.
Yeah,
now
It
we
does
will
happen.
see.
It does happen though. You are in a PMGC stage,
There are a
and
lot
to
of
keep up
games,
that
bro.
level, even for
TSM
Geek
में
Fam, to keep up that level of
बहुत games.
aggression, that
एक
level
बार
of
आपके पास
engagement,
League of
and having
Legends,
that higher success rate,
uh,
it's unheard of. Over 4
आप
days
Dota
at a
वगैरह
PMGC
इनके slot
level,
मिल गए ना, then
we'll have to
your
wait and
net
see if
worth
they'll
is
be able to do
already
it. But
automatically like you
imagine if
have
they
that
do.
valuation is very
Imagine if they
high.
do. I feel like there's a world record around
Because
that.
इनके slots बहुत महंगे होते हैं.
22 points after
And
just one day. See what Geek Fam could do today. Speaking about Geek Fam, they are located
Yeah,
on the southwest
eventually.
side, pretty much on the edge. The only team
Eventually,
behind them is
eventually the name
IHC. Now,
gets there.
IHC versus Geek Fam, that
Nova
will be
का
a
नाम
very
नहीं है क्या
interesting
उसमें?
fight if
Nova
we do get
का
to see
I
it.
think
Both
I don't know which
teams
other games Nova
very
plays, bro.
aggressive, and they like to take their 4v4s.
Chinese
See
people
right
are
there
very
on the
secretive
southwest, IHC
about their
just now
business.
moving out of military base. Geek Fam edging in from the southwest as well, and the circle does pretty much pull off the eastern side. Milk to Power no longer in play, shifts a little bit towards the west. Everybody should be very familiar.
Nova players are
with
very
this
highly
terrain
paid.
here. There's a lot of different ridges to play in, and of course, on the eastern side, it's all high ground going uphill.
If you
On the
guys know,
west,
let me know.
pretty much all flatlands with a few compounds with the bunkers of shelter coming into play.
Can you imagine if we had a shelter final zone? Like the chaos of all of these teams shuffling into shelter, into the different levels, now trying to find one another, that zone
All the
closing on
different
in.
bunkers.
Dota का prize pool I
Which
think
bunker
like
do you wanna take?
The
$20
different
million
levels.
होता है शायद. I don't know. I remember.
I could,
20
if
की
it does
40 में
end around
depends.
shelter, we're gonna see like a whole.
Do follow FIFA World Cup 22?
pack of
Anyone?
cars
Man, bro, I'm I'm supporting
crashing
Portugal all
onto
the way.
different shelter
लेकिन कल बहुत मैच
sites.
अच्छा था, बहुत अच्छा मैच किया था पोर्टुगल का. I mean, like at one point I thought like Ghana वापस गोल कर देगी.
Imagine for the first game of the
वो
day,
भी
we
extra
have
time
that
में.
sort of an ending. We've already had a few treats. I mean, I've never seen such a Western, wrangle zone before yesterday. Like such an even 50-50 split between main island and military base island. Once again, we're treated to the eastern side of things, and now potentially a finish on shelter. I mean, come on, what more do you want?
Also, 64 players still alive. We are almost 14 minutes in.
वो भी मेसी के पोस्टर के सामने हाँ.
We saw like maybe 6-7 players go out by zone number 2 due to haphazard rotations, the nerves, the jitters. You know, they didn't get their timings.
Bro, घर कब आ रहे हो? आऊंगा तो तुझे नहीं बताऊंगा साहिल. तू पता नहीं मुझे रास्ते में पकड़ लेगा, बोलेगा बताओ मेरा गेम क्यों बैन हो गया. मेरा अकाउंट खुलवा दो. मैं क्या करूंगा फिर?
Now this time around, we're 14 minutes in and not a single player has gone down. Teams
That's a
are
good
definitely
picture.
playing way tighter and definitely, taking more precautions after day number 1. They see where they are in the leaderboards. They know what they need to do to keep up in the top, and they know what they need to do to try and rise up to the top.
I mean, it's crazy to think that we haven't dropped a single player. We haven't dropped a single team. We haven't dropped a single player. And again, I think it comes back to those early engagements.
Bro, आप कौन सा पानी पे? अरे भाई, मेरा गला बैठा हुआ है. Black water मतलब. I don't drink anything, bro.
Team so far, they've been following suit with that, which is lovely to see. And this is what we've been missing out of the chaos of yesterday. But yet, a wrangle might still prove to be a little chaotic depending on this next shift where we will be centering up. And shelter is still in play. Still an opportunity.
It's the shelter zone that we were just talking about. So that pretty much, that south side still has a huge, the hills are still in play. A good chunk of it is still the high ground hills. And then you start heading down into the shelter area. We have 64 up. There's not going to be 64 up after this circle closes.
Not at all. Rotations hitting on in. GK making that appearance now, and it looks like they spotted out at least a lone member here of Genesis Dogma, and this is what we were talking about yesterday. We saw this happen yesterday with Genesis. They didn't have that opportunity to save their teammate.
Yes, Skims में NSR बड़ा तोड़ रही थी लोगों को.
Unfortunately, getting caught out, and for Genesis, there's no road to recovery from this.
I'm quite confused.
अबे सब ले लिया भाई, Nectophile.
Might have been a split, and then this player got pushed, but from the way
Vix, I took
are already set up, it looks like they sent one player down.
Everything.
No support, and they are taken out. Now, Xavier getting into the mix of things with Nongsham Red and Geek Fam, of course, here.
YouTube Araham, Varechus.
They have one elimination already. All of Xavier in one tower right here, and Nongsham Red just finally gets taken out, and it's actually due to the side of Geek Fam. Geek Fam, oh, you know it's coming. This team's so
antibiotics पे हूँ दोस्त.
Feed. Multiple players of Xavier has gone down, and yeah, they're going in for the finish now.
Only Frankie up and alive, and we saw Frankie do some fantastic snipes, but here it comes, Geek Fam, they know what they've done, they've taken up two, they want that final
भाई ये
team
वो नहीं है,
wipe,
सर्दी लग गई है. क्या बोलते हैं, सर्दी जुकाम.
To finish a sentence, and then we immediately move on to FaZe, fighting for control of these hilltops, up against Genesis, and oh, what a tough fight.
Yeah, it's like a powder keg just went off. It's fighting all around, literally.
चलो guess लगाओ किसका chicken हो गया वाला. दिमाग लगा के, emotion से नहीं.
It's just all out mayhem. Everybody, a lot of teams deciding to fight for the high ground. Not many teams full sending it down to the shelter area. So prioritizing the high ground and working down. Of course, I don't think they expected this many teams, this much chaos up here. GD Gates right now trying to throw some nades over. FaZe did lose. No, FaZe had a player knocked, but they're up as a full team. Geek Fam finishing up their fight. Not even in the zone yet, right? They'll take fights wherever it comes.
We talked about that winning condition for Geek Fam, and it's that
Scrims में ना usually कोई भी team seriously नहीं खेलती है. I think NSR उस time पे seriously खेल रही थी Scrims में. Why they don't do that? Because they don't want to expose their strategies, the way of ways, like their rotation. They don't do everything proper.
And hopefully trying to do so.
That's why maybe they were killing it there.
But again, up against GK Esports, we can already see GK taking a little bit of actions. Genesis makes that stand, and so far they do well. They pick up two, but oh come on, Geek is here as well.
Yeah, this is a familiar scene. We literally just saw this like moments before. Geek Fam third party two teams. Once again, Geek Fam, third partying 2 teams. But they might have a taste of their own medicine as another team moving in for their third party. It's VK. Or not VK, sorry, Vivo Keed. Vivo Keed coming in, but a second too late. They actually get pushed back. And now Geek Fam sitting in the edge of zone in a decent position. And I think they still managed to keep 4 up to 5 eliminations.
This is ridiculous. Vivo Keed now trying to capitalize off of that chaos, but Geek Fam might be just a little bit too quick. That
Geek
vehicle
पागल
rotation
हो
come
गई है.
on in. We can see the push. We can see the attempt at applying that pressure from Diego, but HP are looking low. Snipes is down. They have lost a member in the meantime, so this is technically a 2-on-4 situation. Maybe a 2-on-3 if they can get the reses coming through.
Oh, look at all of those nades raining in. That's going to do it for Geek Fam. Geek Fam go out, but 7 eliminations. That's not too bad. And I mean, they fought maybe 5-6 teams on their way in and finally getting third party themselves. Very good, smart push by Vivo Key, taking advantage of that opportunity. IHC here saw them start popping off yesterday towards the later stages. They have made their way down to the shelter area.
Nade parade.
4 alive, looking very strong, very healthy as a team, and gatekeeping out the Furious Gaming team. Furious Gaming, I don't think they're going to make it past IHC here.
Again, IHC running
Geek
into
को
different,
HVVP
rosters.
syndrome हो
Zyle
गया.
replaced Godless yesterday. This time, both Godless and Zyle on the roster. And IHC looking pretty refreshed, looking pretty hyped. I mean, they're already picking up those 2 eliminations as Furious Gaming goes down. So this might be
I
a
think
different
IHC.
version of
Wait,
IHC,
wait,
at
wait,
least the
wait.
version that we were
IHC भी
expecting.
बाहर ही
We'll
है.
have to wait and see if they can bring through that performance with Vivo Keed now. After their wonderful success, need to make that rotation into center zone. And look at this outskirt, look at the vicinity. I mean, you've got GK Esports,
IHC
you've
is
got
very
Tech
good.
Entertainment, you've got Besiktas and 4 Angry Men right up ahead of you. Where do you go from here?
Pick your poison, right? Pick a team, take the fight. There's not much playable area left. There might be some pockets that, you know, on the very edge that Vivo Key could survive in, which it actually is not too bad of a choice, right? You don't know where the circle's going to go, and if you take a position on the high ground and a fight might be elongated, and then the circle is going to shift in a way where you don't have much control. Speaking of control, Besiktas right here controlling the low ground, which is probably better than the high ground, because the high ground, everyone can see you from up there. And more than likely, you're going to have to come down. So you're just going to be constantly in the sightlines and firing range of so many different teams. 4AM do get that revive up to 4 eliminations, looking a bit better than their performance towards the late stages of yesterday. IHC, of course, just constantly controlling the edge, fighting their way in.
Oh, the last member here of Satan being caught on art with Vivo Keyed in their rotation. It was only a matter of time as they head through that southern rotation. And currently they do find themselves pretty well centered up, so they pick their poison beautifully. And now Falcons up here against IHC, fighting for control of these edge points of shelter. IHC making quite an aggressive push.
Oh man, Falcons are just pretty much stuck down there. That's never a good look. Whenever you're fighting for these shelter positions, you want to be the team that's pushing. You want to be the team that's aggressive. Of course, don't get third-partied. You got to make sure that they don't get shot in the back by the reject team, which is looking like what's going to be starting to happen. IHC, one member is knocked. They will be getting that revive. Falcons, however, trying to fight back with the grenades. That's a good one. They do get another nade. Now's the time for Falcons to push out and do something, because if they don't do something now, they're going to get a full reset, and Falcons are already down to 2. Look at how low IHC is. Falcons needs to make the push. They will apply some pressure with that Molotov. Hopefully it's good for them. Otherwise, they're going to let IHC come back. And, oh, yeah, that Molotov nearly eliminated the entire team, and Icy goes down. That's what I like to see out of the Falcons team. Some punchback power, and Falcons defend beautifully against the 4-man team of IHC.
It's been long awaited. Unfortunately, though, their journey does not end. We see Yusef going down there to Vivo Keyed, who have a beautiful line of sight. And of course, with all the mayhem and the chaos that's just erupted, they know exactly where the action is. They know exactly where there are some potential eliminations around the corner. 4 Angry Men pushing on up here just on the outskirts of zone, now having to move into potentially either Vivo Keyed or Tem Entertainment, or take their chances with the Besiktas, who we know Besiktas are not strangers to any uphill battles. Falcon once again on the chopping block up here against Rejects, moving on in with that push.
Man, Rejects just slammed in here. Here's that parking garage I was talking about. Look at all those cars. So many cars. Falcon down to one player. Rejects now taking over this bunker position. Beautiful push by the Reject team. They just went for it. They realized what they had to do. 4AM trying to do the same thing, just going for it. However, they are now down to one member.
ये तीसरा सर्कल है ना
From the
शायद?
high ground to the
Yeah.
low ground on these flat open hillsides
Oh,
is definitely
nice.
not the advantage you want in terms of high ground. They're not only getting shot at by the team that's defending against them, which is Tem Entertainment, but I'm pretty sure Besiktas was raining in shots as well.
I mean, absolutely. After that clutch that they they brought on Miramar, they're absolutely no strangers here to these uphill battles. Train to Kill, hello, making an appearance here. On
Falcon का यूसुफ बहुत तगड़ा player है.
Looking to add a fourth, maybe even a fifth, as Vivo Keyed with their 8 eliminations. Am I reading that correctly? 8 eliminations for Vivo Keyed, moving in from that southern position.
4AM बाहर.
At 9, if he could get that, did he? I think he's no, he did not manage to steal it away. So close. 8 eliminations still for Vivo Keyed and a beautiful position. They managed to slice right down the middle of that high ground, using those rocks and smokes to very effective degree.
T2K ने किसकी 3 किले चुरा ली भाई? They were not even in a fight.
Rejects down to 3. Not fully in the circle. They should be okay. Just scooch on in just a little bit. Make sure you get those smokes down first, though. And the side of Game Lord and Train to Kill on the northern side, they've been sitting pretty quiet, very comfortable, avoiding a majority of the fights that are happening down on the south.
The only real competitors to them are, well, each other, but coming through from that side with that little bit of a ridge line.
Vivo Key, I mean, like,
moving down from that
yeah, I think T2K has a very good chance.
Lying themselves open basically for a few extra potential eliminations, either to Game Lords or Train to Kill. So the opportunities are there, but these teams will not be going down that easy. We can already see Vivo Keyed keeping their eye out on that horizon, and of course keeping their heads on a swivel because they know there's so many teams moving in from the southern portion of the zone down to the north. Tem Entertainment now, couple of shots heading through to Vivo Keyed, and Rejects just on the opposite end of that hilltop.
Circle shifts north once again, so everybody has to come off this hilltop now. A little bit of the southern side is in play, but that's pretty much just the roadside and just flat open terrain. I'm going to imagine all 3 teams on the south are going to suffer some sort of casualties. Meanwhile, the teams on the north sitting very comfortable. Train to Kill and Game Lord do get that circle towards them. Game Lord might lose that ridge in play, though, with his circle slightly shifting down south of them.
Train to Kill just getting a slight more of a zone blessing in this situation. And for Vivo Keyed, for Tem Entertainment, as soon as they go past those trees, their cover, it's not null and void. So Tem Entertainment now trying to make a dash on in, trying to close the gap a little bit closer, heading into more of an eastern approach. And this is going to be an interesting one now because they might actually have a perfect line of sight onto Vivo Keyed. There it is, Adrian down to a sliver of HP, nearly down to nothing. But they just managed to get behind that care package.
Great smokes for them to use right there. Zone slowly starting to choke teams in. You see Vivo Keyed losing one player, another player lock. Here comes the Rejects team. They have to make their play. Falcon finally gets taken out. Good job for Falcons with that solo player trying to make it up to the 6th place finish. Now it's Vivo Keyed versus the Rejects, but Vivo Keyed have to worry more about than just Rejects as Tem Entertainment firing him from the side.
I think everybody has to come down. So T2K has a very good chance of getting a lot of points in this one.
Rejects sitting comfortably. Tem Entertainment, however, same cannot be said for them.
I love the push from Rejects. That was quite a gamble, but now they find themselves on a similar approach to Train to Kill. Just absolutely hitting so many shots towards Tem Entertainment. And Tem Entertainment feeling the brunt from pretty much all 3 sides. Maybe Rejects can apply that pressure to Train to Kill, and that will give them the space and the timing needed to recover their losses. But for the time being, there it is. Tem Entertainment, Train to Kill, now picking up each other's pacing. Game Lords need to move on in. They need to join the action.
That is a nasty angle Duelo has on the Game Lord team. If he remains calm and fire off some more accurate shots, those are really good knocks that could be had. All he needs is smoke down to his left side. I don't know if he has a smoke, though. Maybe Divine has one. I think Divine did just pop out a smoke. If Duelo could get his left side smoked out so he doesn't have to worry about Train to Kill, he could have some really nasty shots onto this team. Game Lord, however, deploying smokes of their own, effectively obscuring the vision that we just saw Duelo have earlier. Now teams are firing back and forth. Every teams are taking shots at one another. Circle
No
closes
bro, इसके बाद
beautifully
open
into the
field है.
middle, forcing all of these teams to make some sort of move.
I like that. Really putting these teams through the gauntlet now
Yeah,
as they
looks
need
like
to snake it up
Tem
into the grasses. They
Tem can
will be
take his
losing
chicken.
majority of their respective ridgelines, majority of the cover that they've been holding onto so beautifully up until this point. But Tem Entertainment, I mean, I feel so sorry for them. They have just been getting punted lead after lead bullet, just going straight in their direction, not having any sort of time to recover. We can see they're right on top of each other, just trying to stay alive. And now Duelo comes on in and adds to the pressure gauge.
I feel sorry for that tree right there. That tree's been soaking up a lot of bullets as well. The only hard cover that they have, and the rock, but man, I think Tem Entertainment is about to bow out here. Too many teams raining in fire from all sides. Still got one player left here. If he can weather this a little bit longer, as Train to Kill getting, oh, when did the Train to Kill took out Game Lord? I was so focused on Tem Entertainment. Game Lord has just been
Bro, that's
eviscerated
a wrong
out of the match,
question.
evaporated.
Why do you
And
want
now,
me to
hold on,
say
take a look at this.
आपकी company का
RC
net
goes
worth क्या
out,
है?
and Tem
Zero.
Entertainment
Happy.
stays alive with 2, and they're going to bring it down to a 2v2.
But look at their meds, Tem Entertainment. They don't have
Oh,
much to work
I
with. They
can't
have
disclose
literally
that.
nothing. Now down to Mormon as
Not
Train to
necessary.
Kill are just on a rampage. They got 10 eliminations, and now they're looking to close it out for good. Down to Mormon, we can see nothing to do with meds, nothing. We've got
He
two
got the knock.
nades. That's it.
Tem Entertainment, he got the knock on the other player though. Legend is down. These 2 nades for the Hail Mary. Oh, he uses all 3. It's a little bit far. Can one bounce a little bit further? Oh, shooting the buggy, trying to blow that up maybe. Oh, they'll get the revive though. But no meds, is it worth the revive? That's the question. Oh, I think he went back and dropped him some grenades. He's prone in the open. Did Jane spot it out? Some shots raining right back, using his teammate as bait. Get some good damage in. But Jane's got one more first aid. I think Jane knows he's out in the open. But he does not want to risk firing off some shots and then getting hit back, as Jane almost went down earlier. Oh, good timing for Jane.
Oh, good chicken, bro. Good chicken, good chicken. Nice boo. Nice move.
Place coming into today and then getting that chicken dinner. That gap between second and third, that 20-point difference almost, is suddenly a lot smaller.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we were waiting for. Yesterday, as we mentioned, as our analyst talked about it, we only had a 40 points gap between that second and third at some points. That closed on up right towards the end. We had Train to Kill picking up the pacing, which is something we've been waiting for. We knew that they brought in some interesting
I think he tried to
opportunities for themselves. It was just that final execution
to
that they need
bait
to bring
his
through, and here it is.
knockdown
That winner
player
chicken dinner, but what an
bait him
absolutely
in, but he didn't take the
beautiful
bait,
showing
which
from
was
them
very
in that
smart.
final zone.
Honestly, this first game I liked a lot because it pretty much showed us all the teams, you know, that aren't in the top besides Train to Kill.
Senator और ज़यान भाई कब आएंगे? I
Everyone's
think
coming out swinging,
tomorrow,
but the team that
Saturday.
swings the hardest in this first game
कल
will
से
be
देखते
Train
हैं
to
साथ
Kill.
में. Hello, भाई लोग.
Train to Kill Esports.
Manager.
The first chicken dinner here of the day with 27 points on the board. TEM Entertainment, man.
भाई
Trying to
गलत
snake
मतलब
their way and take that one away from them, but just couldn't
ठीक
get
है
it done
भाई
at the end of the day. They ended with
ठीक
18
है भाई
points on the board. I'll tell you one thing, Seven. Train to
कैसन बा
Chain popped
ने
off in this
शेडो बा कैसन बा भाई मैनेजर क्या चपरासी बना दो कोई
I'm
फर्क नहीं
so glad you
पड़ता
brought him up.
as long as ST
Jane
से
put up 8 eliminations, and what's more impressive out of those eliminations is he was able to do that with just, I think it was 409 damage. Talk about being able to steal some eliminations. I am happy to see rejects there towards the top two, 15 points for them. That's going to be good. And then Vivo Key, we saw Vivo Key taking on the fight with Geek Fam. But with Geek Fam, only, this is what I was talking about, Glitter, earlier. Only 1 placement point, but 7 eliminations.
The aggression. It's the aggression all over again, and they were doing well in the eliminations. They just got caught out a little bit earlier than they would have liked, but you guys were just highlighting Jane. Phenomenal performance.
GK is Saudi.
8
GK
elims
is Saudi.
on 400 damage. That is efficiency, okay? 8 elims for and 34% team contribution. Plus, we also get Legend up here for T2K.
I think Thailand guy.
Geek still making an appearance.
Falcon or
because of
GK
all
is
those
Saudi.
elims. And then, like you were also saying, Seven, we had some Vivo Keyed popping off. Adrian with 6 of those elims. But listen, putting the teams to watch for a reason. T2K. All those second places, they paid off. We start off the day with a chicken dinner.
You called it. Glitter Damas is back.
Could be. Could be, in fact, back in. The fingers are on the head. She is charging up and ready to go here. And you can see right now, this is the actual fan vote leaderboard. So all you guys
तुम लोग router पे stream कर रहे हो क्या?
tokens and voted. So far, SPG is still up on top.
यस 4M चाइना में भी अच्छा नहीं खेली पीएल फाइनल्स में लकी थे वो जो क्वालिफाई हो गए अरे नहीं भाई इतना कैसा लकी हो जाएंगे
नहीं आई डू अग्री तूने पहल देखा था जिसमें फाइनल में क्वालिफाई हुए थे
क्वालिफायर नहीं देखा था मैंने
ब्रो जिसमें जो स्लॉट के लिए फाइनल्स है ना दे वर एट नंबर 6th और 7th स्पॉट अनफॉर्चुनेटली जो पहले वाली एजी वाज द टीम व्हिच आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग रियली टू कम आउट and like out of this they were playing really good so and के I think like कुछ matches में एक या दो matches में they started doing drop clashes with each other and so you should watch that was kind of funny thing which happened there so yeah ये उनमें से बेस्ट टीम्स नहीं थी जो पेल की टीम्स थी so I was expecting AG to come AG बहुत बढ़िया खेली थी
and they actually had a pretty sizable gap that they had to make up 7.
And the down roll spiral continues for
T2 का second आ गया
doing drop clashes with each other and so you should watch that was kind of funny thing which happened there so yeah ये उनमें से बेस्ट टीम्स नहीं थी जो पेल की टीम्स थी so I was expecting AG to come
गीक और गीके
अरे गीक इज मलेशियन टीम फ्लैग से अब मुझे पता चला मलेशिया अपने नेपाली भाई और नंबर 2 हां कष्ट छ राम्रो छ
अरे
हामी तुम्हार भालोबाशी
अरे तो बंगाली हो गया
ओ शिट व्हाट डू दे ओह सॉरी यार मिक्स हो गया भाई जितनी आती थी ना उस साइड की सारी बोल दी
माचिकने
Not sure if
हमें बस इतना ही आता है
but Miramar is coming up Hajix.
चिकने
Yeah, Myanmar's coming up here next. You know what I really like to see was TEM Entertainment. They got a nice little bump from where they were sitting on the leaderboards after a rough day number 1. So to see them start off strong, put some good points. Yeah, second place. I'm looking forward to see how they perform here for the rest of the day. Here at the top, Miramar performers. Geek Fan, I think, is going to be on the leaderboards of pretty much almost any one of these stands. But hey, we also see a team that you were calling out earlier, 7 up on here.
Which one? Which one?
Neo.
Out of all of them? Are you talking
Shadow.
Rejects?
फाइनल चलने देखो ना उधर जनवरी सब लोग बाली
Rejects right there.
Yeah.
इधर
I'm hoping
इधर
सिंगापुर बाली में हो रहा है ना फाइनल्स
इंडोनेशिया में
I'm actually going to be looking at Besiktas. This is a team that's currently in 12.
बाली किधर आता है
And if Miramar
मुझे क्या
is the
पता
strongest
It's a
match,
part of
they
Singapore
could
as well, bro,
start
but
off
it's a
the
different
day
place.
good.
Yes.
Miramar, no. Why not?
आइलैंड है ना बाली तो
Probably going to be my pick to watch.
Oh, bro.
इंडोनेशिया बे
इंडोनेशिया में वही तो
Fell out of it after this first match, and now they're heading into a map that they supposedly can do well on. So this is a perfect opportunity to bounce back.
मेरा बाप
Why don't we go ahead and take a look at y'all's team to watch here for match number 2?
गॉड किधर है?
You got Vivo Keyed
वहाँ
in
पे
there,
गॉड का है?
Glitter. I mean, they got some points
गॉड
in match
गया
number
बता
1. Do you
कूल
what
गया
are
वो.
you really expecting to see
क्या
from him here in match 2?
स्विमिंग सीख रहा
पूछ
है
रहा
वो?
Was the aggression? The reason I
हम
think
निकल गए थे.
भाई गॉड तो एकदम वैसा सा है रे. वो दिन गाते तो उसको भरा नहीं क्या?
that was
अपना अपना
just
स्विमिंग कर, तब
stepping
से गॉड स्विमिंग करना स्टार्ट कर
say
दी.
a night and day difference.
CR7
So
becomes
Z
the
God अभी
first men's
swimming
player
करता
in
है.
history.
Some sort of routine, they fix some mistakes, and it's working so far.
AN1
I want to
Astros.
see
This
if
is
they carry
Clutch
that
God.
on into Miramar, and then Game Lord said we both picked him.
नहीं वो शैडो है.
I
You wanna
mean,
go first? You
अबे
wanna
मैं
go
हूँ.
first?
शैडो सुपर
Super
शैडो.
Shadow है.
Keep going, Glitter.
तू एरिस्टोस का हिस्सा है क्या?
listen,
हाँ.
I
हाँ.
know it's my first day of
शैडो
playing,
ने इस वाले
but
पीसी
that's
से
I'm not
डिस्कॉर्ड ही
okay.
हटा दिया
The
और खुद
even
का
the
लॉगिन कर
casters
लिया.
from Zuti didn't even notice they died when they did die.
अच्छी वॉरज़ोन डाउनलोड करना है यार. वॉरज़ोन खेलते ना.
All of the
ये करवा के
actions
देना
that
और
go on
कहाँ से करूँ?
around you.
अबे
स्टीम
किसका
से करना.
टीम.
किसका होगा ये इधर?
अरे मेरा स्टीम अकाउंट है उधर लॉगिन.
Some
उससे
हाँ
मत
देख
कर.
वही तो बकचोदी होती
देख
है.
वो
मुझे
लॉगिन
पता.
कर लेगा शैडो, फिर उसके बाद डाउनलोड करके तेरे को ही खेलने नहीं देगा.
Nice. I'll be a little bit more hard. But you have
भाई
4
बहुत
minutes.
क्रेजी है पे वॉरज़ोन. कसम
25
से.
minutes into an actual game and you have 0 eliminations. Man, that is way too passive.
भाई तो एक गेम खेलेगा ना उसका फिर खेलते ही रहेगा बताएगा.
That's what I was talking about in the first
भाई मैं कल 12 बजे चालू किया रहेगा.
are getting those placement points.
नॉन स्टॉप 10
Warzone
घंटा
की
खेलेगा.
ग्राफिक रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है?
Trying to go for the top 3.
वॉरज़ोन का हो जाएगा आई गेस 2080 चाहिए उसके लिए.
Ah,
ग्राफिक कार्ड.
that's fine. I
हाँ.
use 3080.
अब 3080 में तो कोई भी गेम चल जाएगा दुनिया में.
To translate what
Yeah.
Seven said earlier.
Is 3090 available in the market yet or नहीं आया अभी?
3090
अरे अभी
आ गया, I guess.
4090 आ गया है.
क्या
हाँ.
बात कर रहे हैं?
It's tough to see that
उससे क्या
3090
करेगा
तो
बंदा?
zero. But you know what?
पागल बनाएगा.
4090 में तो भाई क्या ही स्मूथ चलेगा. एक 4090 और एक 240 हर्ट्ज मॉनिटर का था.
Right now,
लैग ही नहीं होगा
we got
जिंदगी में.
Miramar up next.
मेरे को तो कभी कभी
कितने
लगता
का
है
है?
3090 मैंने ज्यादा ले लिया. 3080
कितने का है? 4090 कितने का है?
पता नहीं होगा 5-6 लाख.
4090 पता है? नहीं.
कितना?
कम है.
1 लाख.
उतना नहीं है.
तो
उससे थोड़ा आई गेस वो शांतनु ने बताया था वो 2 के अप्रोक्स में था वो.
2 लाख.
और
रुक
हाँ
जा
और
मैं
मैंने
अपने
उस
बंदे से पूछता हूँ. रुक ऐसे रुक मैं अभी वो चैट.
और मैंने उससे ज्यादा में 3080 खरीदा है.
हाँ.
हाँ मैंने
भाई मैं 2 साल पहले बनाया था.
अरे वो मैंने
2080
अबे मैंने उस टाइम खरीदा था ना जब
I
क्रिप्टो पूरा बूम हो रहा था और सब ले रहे थे. ग्राफिक कार्ड नहीं मिल रहा था. उसमें से मैं भी एक था. ग्राफिक कार्ड नहीं मिल रहा, ग्राफिक कार्ड चाहिए.
There's a few more teams that have to join the party. There's a few more teams that have to join the fray and bring forth that performance that we know that they are capable of. If they were not capable of it, they would not be here on our second map of the day in Miramar for the PMGC.
तूने कौन सा क्रिप्टो बेच के ग्राफिक कार्ड ले लिया?
मैंने क्रिप्टो मुझे बस ग्राफिक कार्ड चाहिए था. शांतनु बोलता है महंगे में मिल रहा है पर ले ले.
Pretty good one, honestly, for a lot of these teams. Yesterday's Miramar games, I'm trying to recall how they actually.
जी मेरे को भी अपग्रेड करना पड़ेगा लग रहा है पीसी मेरे भी. बहुत आउटडेटेड हो गया मैं. 4090 डालता.
I feel like yesterday's Miramar was very unique. Taste of your typical Miramar games, which.
पता है इन लोगों को एक्सचेंज करना चाहिए था. ऐसे हर न्यू ग्राफिक कार्ड पे पुराना ग्राफिक कार्ड देकर न्यू वाला.
वो आईफोन वाली पॉलिसी.
हाँ ना.
Hopefully we get a match that's, you know, for the lack of a better.
देंगे भाई आईफोन तो भी 1 लाख का आता है. 2 लाख का ग्राफिक कार्ड देंगे.
It's like we've seen it before, but it's like we know, you know, more importantly, these teams know what they have to do.
अब बट भाई वो वॉरज़ोन खेलने का तो PUBG मोबाइल खेलने को ऐसा आलस आता है ना तो छोटा तो दिखता है.
Not really, you know, committing because there's like so many ridges and it's like, you know, maybe
है मेरे 4090 है यहाँ पे अवेलेबल. बट रुकना.
हाँ 4090 तो आ गया.
कितने का है वो?
चेक करो भेज रहे प्राइस.
ओकिर भाई से पूछो क्रिप्टो में किधर इन्वेस्ट करे. कौन से कॉइन भाई बंदा पूछ रहा है.
अभी हाथ भी मत लगाओ.
देख लो भाई.
मार्केट की टांगे ऊपर हो गई हैं और नीचे जाएगी.
Not as many ridges for use as
ओकिर भाई बोल दिया मत कर भाई कुछ.
For sure there's a lot of high ground, but it's more like do or die high ground, right? It's not a high ground with a lot of different, you know, ridge levels where it's like, okay, maybe we can play in this pocket and this team will play in that pocket.
Shadow.
This is more of a
7,000 दिरहम का 4090 मिल रहा है.
मैं 1.5 लाख मतलब
हाँ 1.5 लाख के आसपास।
यार दुबई में 1.5 लाख का है 4090
हाँ इंडिया में तो
भाई
और
तो
महंगा
इंडिया में
होगा।
बहुत रहेगा हाँ 2 तक रहेगा फिर आराम से
अबे मैंने रिसेंटली जो ये पीसी मंगाया ना
हाँ
तो
अनलीश योर रोर विद कैप्टन मेसी अरे भाई
इसने मुझे बोला था ये ना शांतनु मेरे को बोल रहा था कि भाई सेम पीसी अगर हम इंडिया में लेंगे ना तो ये लगभग डबल दैट प्राइस आएगा ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 70% ऊपर हो आएगा। आई वोंट टेल यू कि कितने का लाया बट या
teams definitely stepping it up, and again, it's that whole thing of where yesterday we were just talking
सीक्रेट
about
रख रहे हो
Norma
भाई
being the getting
तेरे
the
को
lead in
बात
the game,
टेक्स्ट पे बता
good
दूंगा ना,
consistent
यहाँ
later,
पे
and
पब्लिक
it
पे
was really
सामने
an
थोड़ी ना
opportunity
बोलना
for
होता है
teams to
कितने
jump
के लिए।
into any
अरे
sort of
मजाक कर रहा
tactical ability positions to get themselves set
मैं
up
तो
to
बूट कैंप
to
का
to
ग्राफिक कार्ड
win
डाल
out
लूंगा
because it was just it was such a hard shift.
क्या ही
Now,
है, निकाल
एक
लेंगे
पीसी
भाई
बंद है चल नहीं रहा
चल नहीं रहा है, निकाल लूंगा उसे घर पे आके लगा दूंगा
game lords like
यहाँ
Falcons
पे
for
मेरे
example
को एक बंदा
Fazenda
चैट में
Deltron.
बोल रहा
I
है
mean,
नेओ इज संस्कारी
congratulations, you
नाउ।
need to join the territory of
इतना
the
छोड़ दे
18
Goshen Red Force who love that Chumasura.
फ्रेंडली
You
स्ट्रीम
need to
करता है
join
वो 18
Fury
प्लस स्ट्रीम
and
बंद कर दी
फैमिली
उसने
फ्रेंडली स्ट्रीम है
फैमिली फ्रेंडली
it's gonna be
स्ट्रीम।
a fun time for it to
थोड़ा
join.
guys
2019 वाला नहीं होने दिया अभी ये।
क्या बोल रहे थे गाइस अब कैरेक्टर इंप्रूव कर रहा हूँ गाली नहीं दे रहा हूँ मैं
पेरेंटल गाइडेंस।
Yes. I want some more brandings. No गाली now. Nice English. भाई ये गाली के चक्कर में रेडबुल का रह गया मैं
क्या बात कर रहा है सीरियसली?
रेडबुल का डील आया था मेरे को बोलते बहुत गाली देता नहीं थी उसको
No,
रेडबुल एक
it's
हिट
not
बनने
the,
वाला
the
था
expectation here, but what is
थोड़ी दिया
good
तुमसे
is
गाली
that
दे
we are still sticking to some of those expected
चल
plays
रेडबुल
that
ले
we
गए
know
अभी
that go
मॉन्स्टर
our
वॉन्स्टर
way,
कुछ
right?
तो आ
But
जाए
at least
जी
there's
फ्यूल
some
आ जाए चल
normality
नहीं
there.
जी फ्यूल है नहीं ना
Also,
इंडिया में
GK Esports making an announcement
तो मतलब सिर्फ रेडबुल गाली वालों को नहीं लेता, बाकी सारे गाली देने वालों को
यस
लेता है।
crazy, but I agree with what you said. The first
मॉन्स्टर
team
एनर्जी तो
and
ले लेता
obviously
है
the
रेडबुल को तो
before
बहुत
that,
पड़ा है
you
अपने
know,
इमेज का
from
वो
that
नहीं लेता
advantage,
भाई
it's not a
थोड़ा
case of
भी
they
अब्यूज करो
they are
क्या
surrounded by like
मतलब
millions
थोड़ा
of
थोड़ा ठीक है ज्यादा
now we want to wait
तो
and
नहीं
see
लेते
who's
लोग
going to be that first
नियो
team
भाई
to
ने
take
ज्यादा ही
to
कर
set
दिए।
themselves up.
यस बच्ची
नियो
अभी
कॉन्ट्रोल देखूंगा तो सबके साथ रहता लाइन से।
तू क्या हेटर है क्या रे मेरा कभी कभी लगता है टीममेट नहीं हेटर है ज्यादा मेरा हाईलाइट करके और बोलते हैं टीम में
तू ही बोल रहा था इसलिए मैं बोल रहा थोड़ा मैं भी बोल दूं।
क्या मतलब थोड़ा थोड़ा नहीं बोला पर तू बराबर बोल दिया तो नहीं लेते लोग
नियो भाई ने ज्यादा ही कर दिए चलिए हेटर ही
यस
होगा मैं
बच्ची
तो।
हेटर
नियो
है भाई
कॉन्ट्रोल
टीएसएल
देखूंगा
के
तो
टाइम
सबके
से
साथ रहता लाइन से।
तो तू क्या हेटर है क्या रे मेरा कभी कभी लगता है
नहीं पक्का
टीममेट नहीं
हूँ,
हेटर है
कभी
ज्यादा
मोस्टली।
मेरा
नहीं
हाईलाइट करके और बोलते हैं टीम में शैडो बोला तो रहेगा गाइस बताओ तो अब बोलो कि नहीं बोला
अरे
कुछ
तू ही बोल रहा था।
बोला तो रहेगा ऐसा होता है क्या कि नहीं बोलेगा क्या मतलब थोड़ा थोड़ा नहीं बोला पर तू
भाई
बराबर
तुम्हारा
अपने
तुम्हारा
तो
सबसे
नहीं
बड़ा
लेते
हेटर था
लोग
भाई हमारे पास। नियो भाई ने ज्यादा ही कर
जरूरत
दिए
ही नहीं
चलिए
थी
हेटर ही
यस
होगी।
सबके साथ रहता है।
लैंडिंग्स के लिए फेक बनेगा फेक थोड़ी बन रहा है इंप्रूव कर रहा है इम्प्रोवाइज कर रहा हूँ गाइस कम गाली हाईलाइट करके और बोलते हैं टीम
Yeah, taking a page out of Geek Fam's
नहीं
strategy
वो
book,
ओरिजिनल
but
रहने का
they've been
भाई,
able to do that before, and
ओरिजिनल
we know on
ओजी।
Murmur, IC, if needs be, will take a swim, and they'll make sure they get those placements.
निकल जा रहा तो ठीक है
What I want to see
निकल
is,
जाएगा तो
you
नहीं
know,
निकल
IHC
जाएगा।
right now, they've
भाई स्वान तो ऐसा लगता है कि पूरा
they'll be
वो
taking
करता
a
है
more
बे
southern approach.
प्रॉपर
They've
मेकअप
shifted the
वेकअप
focus
बाल
as
भी
well
एकदम
into the zone, and Furious Gaming moving on
प्रिंस
from
ऑफ
the
पबजी
region might be able to miss them completely. So if
भाई
that's the
स्वान मारे
case,
ना यार
IHC
4M आ जाएगा
completely
ऊपर
left to
यार
their
तुझे
own
नहीं लगता
devices,
जो
and we
फॉर
see
एग्जांपल
what
चाइनीज
happens when
प्लेयर
you
नोवा
give a
वगैरह के
team
पैराबॉय के
that much
उनके वो
space, that
एडिटेड
much
पिक्चर्स
time
हैं,
to
उनने मेकअप
formulate a
करके
plan and
फोटोज
to
लगवाई हैं।
basically choose their
भाई
own
वो लोग तो
game
लगते ही
plan
इतने
before
गोरे
getting
भाई
engaged.
गोरा छोड़ना, गोरा
It's
इज
a very dangerous
कॉम्प्लेक्शन
thing
का
to do.
प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम है कि मैं तुझे बोल रहा हूँ लाइक वो पूरा
थोड़ा
मेकअप
तो
वेकअप
करते
डाल
रहेंगे
के, यू नो व्हाट आई
हाँ
मीन।
मेकअप ऑब्वियसली हाँ
आई थिंक
थोड़ा तो वो लोग
चाइनीज
ऐसा एनिमेटेड सा लगता है ना थोड़ा सा
एग्जैक्टली है, दे आर नॉट ओरिजिनल पिक्चर्स ब्रो।
भाई वो तो पैराबॉय को तो करेंगे वो तो मॉडल है चाइना का
तो भाई
उसका
मॉडल
तो
हो गया तो क्या हो गया, आईलाइनर लगाएंगे क्या?
लिपस्टिक भी लगाते पता है क्या
जापानीज बंदे लगाते
लड़के
हैं ना लिपस्टिक।
जो मॉडल वॉडल लिपस्टिक विपस्टिक लगाते हैं
इधर याद नहीं क्या अपने शूट के लिए क्या क्या हुआ था?
हाँ वो भी तो अभी भी तो लिपस्टिक लगाया था अपने को वो लगाते ही है
again,
वो
and
सब
I think that's why we're seeing that different, zone, that
भाई
different
और वो मतलब अभी
preferences from
इतना
these
बड़ा
teams in
प्लेयर है
that
वर्ल्ड का
region.
तो थोड़ा
Wrap
कैरी
up,
करता
though,
रहेगा
we
खुद को
saw some
पब्लिक में.
action over towards the 14-minute mark. Yes, here, 2 minutes in, we at least lost a player, but
अपन कैसे
both teams
कैसा
still
भी
alive
बाले
now
चलो
to finally
वो
see a
एकदम
little
टिप
bit
टॉप
of
होता रहेगा
advantage here on the
जॉनी जैसा.
7th minute marker. It is FaZe Clan
ये कौन है
opening
लाइक
up
इट
to
विंटोरेस मार बे.
Busy just clearing out the angles, getting a nice flanking
अबे
position.
टोनी के क्या खेलते
And
तो
not
पता
sure
नहीं
if FaZe
डाउन
right
चल
now
रहा है ऐसा
very
लग रहा
split up.
टोनी का बड़ा हो गया बे.
1 or 2
हाँ
minutes
देख
तभी तो
to
खेल
close
रहा
it
है.
out, but they're already
अच्छा अच्छा मैं छोटू सा था बे कितना.
worth it for us. We still want to get
लाला
ourselves
बोलते
set up.
तभी तो खेल रहा है.
अच्छा पहले ये 16 नहीं था वो
नहीं
नहीं
15 का था.
हाँ 5th मैन था इनका.
ओ बड़ा हो गया. अच्छा 17 को वगैरह अभी.
एस पावर है एस पावर.
एस पावर बट ये स्टिक की है फेस को.
by the time the second circle rolls
अच्छा
around. A lot of teams actually making it pretty deep into the center of the circle.
अबे आज किसका वर्ल्ड कप में मैच है भाई.
Skipping past all the high ground.
भाई कल का तो पोर्चुगल वर्सेस वो गाना देखता ना भाई
Like if there's a team up
कुछ
there
भी मैच
already,
था
it's
वो.
going to be tough trying to get up there. So a lot of teams aren't even going to peek their heads up there.
माइक ऑफ ऑन कर लिया गाइस मैंने माइक. अब ऑफ नहीं है माइक.
Which is technically even more center, so it's a better
अब एक 12:30 AM को है बे इनका मैच अर्जेंटीना का.
It's crazy to see. We basically got that.
किसका किसका
किसके किसके किसका किसका है अर्जेंटीना और
आज नहीं 27 को बे.
अच्छा आज किसका है वो बता ना.
Everywhere else, it's open for the taking. It's only really crazy.
भाई कल तू कसम से बोल रहा है ब्राजील का सेकंड गोल देखता ना रिचार्डसन का. मां कसम भाई.
Making their rotation as we can see on the map now. They will be.
अबे इतना जोन बन गया भाई खत्म.
हो गया भाई.
अभी वेल्स और ईरान का चल रहा है.
I've never seen this in my career.
और क्या है कतार का है और स्नेगल का है. भाई कितने हैं भाई.
I'm speechless.
It's beautiful. This is better than the ice cream I had yesterday that I was telling you
Oh,
about.
stop.
अबे नहीं हो.
Oh, here comes a mad dash of rotation.
इसमें ये बेस्ट ऑफ 3 है ना मैचेस में.
Visit the beautiful island of
बेस्ट ऑफ 3
राउंड 16 के लिए
आई गेस उसमें तो अर्जेंटीना ही हार चुका है.
हाँ और बाकी दो जीता तो कुछ चांस है इनका.
Just get slightly ahead of Tem Entertainment. That's going to work.
एक ग्रुप से कितनी टीम जाएंगी. 2 ना.
3
अबे
2.
अच्छा उस वाले से.
हाँ
मेरे को लगा इधर से तू बोल रहा है.
उसमें 4 ग्रुप है ना आई गेस.
4 नहीं एच तक ग्रुप है. एच तक ग्रुप है भाई. A B C D E F G H 8 ग्रुप से 8 ग्रुप
फिर
से
टॉप
4
16
हाँ
फिर टॉप 16 से टॉप 8 टॉप 4.
तो दो आई थिंक हर एक ग्रुप से दो टीम जाएगी फिर तो अर्जेंटीना का चांस है अगर दोनों जीत लिया तो बस.
अर्जेंटीना को हारना
भाई
ही
अर्जेंटीना जैसा खेल रही थी ना उस हिसाब से तो
हाँ भाई.
हाँ साउथ
नहीं लग
इंडिया
रहा है.
जो खेल रही थी ना भाई.
भाई पर वो क्या गोल मारा वो बंदे ने सऊदी वाले ने.
भाई तू कल का मैच देखता ना क्या सीन होता पता है क्या. पहले हाफ में कुछ गोल नहीं ठीक है.
हाँ
नेक्स्ट हाफ में रोनाल्डो को पेनल्टी मिला रोनाल्डो डाला पेनल्टी ठीक है. और उसके बाद घाना के जो कैप्टन था ना उसने गोल डाला.
हाँ उसने गोल डाला फिर वो जाके बात कर रहा था
हाँ,
अपना गोल
हाँ.
सेलिब्रेट कर रहा था.
वो फिर उसने 2 मिनट बाद बोला कि अभी सब्स्टिट्यूट हो जाता 1-1 हो गया. वो गया और वो सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है उधर अपने डगआउट में. और उतने में पोर्चुगल ने एक और गोल डाल दिया. उसका रिएक्शन देखा कि वो सेलिब्रेट कर रहा है फिर पीछे देखा गोल गया. उसका ऐसा मूड हो गया ना भाई. बॉटल फेंक दिया उसने. बोलते अभी तो 1 मिनट पहले आया था एक और गोल डाल दिया पोर्चुगल ने.
वो देखा मैं देखा. और फिर जब तीसरा गोल पड़ा ना उसने तो पूरा उसका वही हो गया था.
उसका पूरा मूड ऑफ हो गया था भाई ऑब्वियसली. अच्छा खेला बट पोर्चुगल.
पर गाना भी फुल ट्रायड कर.
अर्जेंटीना नहीं बे. अर्जेंटीना पता है क्या पूरा अकेला मेसी भाई. डी मारिया भी कुछ नहीं करता बे.
अबे उनका गेम देखकर तो मन ही नहीं किया मेरे को देखने का गेम.
हाँ
अजीब ही खेल रहे थे.
एकदम लेजी सा खेलते भाई एकदम हल्का. भाई ब्राजील का देखेगा ना फट जाती है बे. क्या खेलते वो ऐसा वन टच शूट ऐसा ही चलता रहता. कुछ पास विस नहीं बैठा लो डायरेक्ट. कल का देख ब्राजील वर्सेस इसका हाईलाइट भाई. कितने शॉट्स मारे उन लोगों ने.
वो लोग बहुत फास्ट गेम खेलते हैं वो लोग ढीला नहीं खेलते.
बहुत फास्ट.
And we still got teams rotating in from the blue zone because poor old Geek Fam. Look at that.
Oh, बच गया.
बचा बे.
Emchain फूट जाएगा पर वो
South right onto Los
फूटा.
What a crazy zone. I thought last week we had
ये देख वापस आया अभी फूट गया तो वापस आया बोलता है अभी
अबे
फूटा
क्या
है तो
जोन बना
आता
है
है
भाई ये
वापस
देखना
फिनिश भी हो जाएगा बे वो
भाई ब्रिज पे जोन बना है
नहीं
भाई
बच गया
teams rotating in from the blue zone because
अरे 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 फाल्कन वाला भाई तो सीधा घुस गया 4 बंदों से गया दुखी हो गया होगा वो इंशैन फूट जाएगा पर वो फूटा
तौकीर भाई इस चैनल के
ये देख वापस
पॉडकास्ट
आया
कब
अभी
से
फूट
शुरू
गया तो वापस
करेंगे
आया बोलता है अभी
अबे
फूटा
क्या
है
जोन
तो
बना
आता
है
है
भाई ये
वापस
देखना
पॉडकास्ट भी शुरू करेंगे
फिनिश भी हो जाएगा बे वो
भाई ब्रिज
इंटरेस्टिंग
पे जोन
इंटरेस्टिंग
बना है
लोग
नहीं बच
लेके
गया
आएंगे इधर पे अभी तो मैं
अरे
खाली
अरे
देख
अरे
रहा
5
हूँ
times FIFA champs Brazil
फाल्कन वाला भाई तो सीधा घुस गया
6th
4
World
बंदों
Cup
से
लेके
अबे
गया
फाल्कन
दुखी
कौन
हो
से
गया होगा
ये पे
कुछ
अच्छा खेली थी
ब्रो
बहुत टूर्नामेंट में
वायर
इसके पहले वाले
वायर देयर नो
PMGC में
गॉड लाइक इन गेम नेम फॉर
PMGC में आगे सेकंड आई थी फाल्कन
अबे कुछ ये था लफड़ा था वहां
सेकंड
पे
आई
यार
थी कि फर्स्ट आई
एवरीबॉडी
थी
वाज आल्सो
अबे
बिजी
जीत गए थे
फर्स्ट
लोग
जीता था
जीते वैम्पायर esports थे ना पागल
बे
अबे
वैम्पायर
नंबर
वो
2 पे
जीता
आए
था
थे नंबर 2 पे आए थे फाल्कन
और फिर वो
सेकंड
आफ्टर पार्टी भी तो था ना
वो
उसमें
उसमें वैम्पायर
उसमें
जीती
भी
थी
वैम्पायर
उसमें भी
जीती भाई
वैम्पायर जीती
वैम्पायर सब लेकर गई थी उधर
वैम्पायर पता नहीं क्या खा के आ गई थी भाई उस दिन
popping in some nice shots over
ये लोग
to
सेकंड आए थे और ST थर्ड आई थी ना आई गेस
एसटी
उसमें
थर्ड आई थी
down to 2.
उसमें हमारे हमारे देख नॉट एन एक्सक्यूज राइट बट हम हमारे साथ सबसे बड़ी बीटी हो गई थी हमारा 2 बार प्लेयर्स लॉग आउट हो गए थे मेन गेम में और वो भी
ओ
तीसरे
भाई
सर्कल पे और फिर पीका जो आईजीएल है ही कुडंट इवन लॉग इन बैक टू द गेम टू गाइड द टीम
हाँ
या और बाद में जब वी स्पोक टू द दोस गाइज और उन्होंने बोला कि नहीं अगर सिर्फ पैराशूट ग्लिच है तो उसको हम कंसिडर करते हैं हम सॉरी ऑफिशियल रूल बुक के हिसाब से बट वो देखते फिर बाद में एक बंदा बोलता है टेंसेंट से विल गिव यू गाइज सम गुडीज लाइक व्हाट
भाई अबे वो लोग चिपकाते हैं ना बट स्कीम चिपकाते हैं वो
अरे
लोग
कुछ ना कुछ चिपकाते हैं बट यार
हाँ हाँ उन लोग का ये है कि उतरने के टाइम पे 1-2 मिनट के अंदर कुछ ग्लिच हो रहा है तो वो री करेंगे उसके बाद अगर मिड गेम हो रहा है तो नहीं
अबे
करते
चाइना में तो भाई टॉप 8 आने के बाद रीस्टार्ट मारा है
अरे
हाँ
परसों
तो
किसी
अब
गेम का परसों किसी का हुआ था ना दे पीएमपीएल में हो गया था डीआरएस आई थिंक लाइक एक चिकन निकाल लिया था उन्हें डीआरएस गेमिंग ने सो वो गेम ही उनने नए से रीस्टार्ट करी थी बिकॉज कुछ प्लेयर्स ने कंप्लेन किया था कि ये हो गया and they didn't even come in top 3 top 4 at that time I don't know top 5 even
नहीं
लाला तू
बट
जा रहा है क्या
क्या
जा रहा है क्या तू गॉड बुला रहा है तेरे को
गॉड कहाँ बुला रहा है पूल बुला रहा है मुझे
हाँ
तैरने
हाँ
स्विमिंग
आता हूँ
प्रैक्टिस
ना
कर रहा है क्या
यस
माइकल
शार्क
फिलिप्स
बनना है
बनेगा
ब्रो
क्या
मुझे
तेरे को
शार्क
माइकल
शार्क
फिलिप्स बनेगा अच्छा
माइकल फिलिप्स नहीं भाई शार्क बनना है मुझे खाऊंगा मैं सबको
जा रहा है
पूल में रुकना बच्ची
मैं जा रहा
हाँ
जिम
चल
चल
मैं जाते
वर्कआउट
ही
करने आज आज मैं वर्कआउट
बाय
करने जा रहा हूँ
गाइस थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग इन बाय तौकीर बाय बाय न्यू बाय शैडो
बाय
बाय
ब्रो
चल चल वाह वाह वाह
see you bro
चल मैं भी जिम जाएगा आज पंप करेगा भाई अब गाली देना छोड़ दिया अभी शेप में आऊंगा फिर हेल्दी खाना खाऊंगा भाई ऑयली बहुत खाता हूँ
भाई नहीं ऑफिस टकला करा रहा है मजा आया
घंटा भाई मैं बाल कलर करा रहा जाके
अबे नियो तेरे को मैं नियो को जब लैंड पे मिला था ना इसकी तो हालत टाइट थी यार मेरे को लगा मरवर जाएगा इतना गेम को लेके स्ट्रेस में आ गया था and I was like dude they are going to perform this land definitely
तुम तो आगे हाँ हाँ तभी हाँ
हाँ भाई पूरा मेरे को लग गया हवा हवा आ गई इसकी जेब में छुट्टे डालो वरना उड़ उड़ जाएगा हवा के साथ तो हड्डियां
अरे
बची
अच्छा
थी
हो जब भी
मेरे
तब बाहर आए थे उधर
हाँ
लैंप पे हाँ भाई बहुत स्ट्रेस हो गया था अबे तभी होते जॉनी ये बात नहीं कर रहा था शैडो
हाँ हाँ
तभी हाँ भाई बहुत अपन ने मिरामर में चिकन मारा था 22 या 24 उसके पहले वाले उसके जस्ट एक मैच
उसके पहले
पहले
दो मैचेस
हाँ तभी भाई बहुत स्ट्रेस हो गया था
but no actually very good comeback यार in that whole land
वो लैंड
Perfectly
पूरा
गया था
हम लोग का फक ऑल गया था भाई
कौन सा no bro you
नहीं
guys
वो पूरा लीग में पूरा फक ऑल खेले थे हम लोग
yeah I know
एकदम एज पे गए हाँ फाइनल्स में तो कॉन्फिडेंस और मोमेंटम आया था अबे यार एक तो ये कैंपिंग वैम्पिंग नहीं जानता बैठो एक जगह पे 10 मिनट कैसे चलो अबे 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 लोग कौन 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 है अभी इस यूज में
यार आईसी चिकन निकालनी चाहिए ले गया
आईसी
आईसी के
एलेक्स ये लोग ने तो पूरा लाइनअप ही चेंज कर दिया।
ये जूस वाले थे ना पहले
हाँ ये लोग ने तो लाइनअप ही कर
डिसबैंड हो गई शायद जूस
Now Svan is the last member up for 4 a.m.
भाई प्राइम में थे ना जब वो अपने बाप रे बाप साउथ एशिया में तो जो पेलने के वो लोग
Now they are no longer 4 angry men, they are just one angry man. And same with the IHC. IHC down to
just World Cup they are unbeatable but
साउथ एशिया में अभी भी these guys are like very tough competition bro
कौन ये क्या
yeah IHC ना they are playing really good
अरे इंडिया भी आ जाना चाहिए यार वापस से साउथ एशिया में मजा आएगा
यार ग्लोबल मैच मेकिंग में मजा आ जाता
does mean that Game Lord will now drop to only one potential player for that rotation. Vivo Key, they had such a good start on Erangel, but I don't think alongside them and
I know they are in rank 336 matches unbeatable I know everything. अबे अर्जेंटीना unbeatable है तो क्या हो गया भाई हार गए ना भाई साउथ ईस्ट क्या सी
अर्जेंटीना अनबीटेबल था है नहीं
हो गया भाई उनका जीत
कल तूने देखा मैच
किसका
सी
हाँ भाई मस्त खेले उन लोग
only player who has scored in 5 World Cups
they managed to avoid the fight with Train to Kill, just circumventing that.
और उसके बाद मोस्ट मैन ऑफ द मैचेस है वर्ल्ड कप के अभी सबसे ज्यादा 7 लेके बैठा
उसको कहते वो एक क्लासिक एग्जांपल है रोनाल्डो हार्ड
भाई
वर्क
उसको
बीट्स टैलेंट एनी डे
भाई वो इतना क्रिटिसाइज करते तो भी वो रिकॉर्ड बनाते ही रहता है ये बोल रहा है डैड ए मेसी के फैन क्या सीन
मेसी के लिए बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती
बोलना पड़ेगा भाई वक्त आ चुका है बोलने की
बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती
बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती भाई गॉड गिफ्टेड है भाई वो
अबे लगता है तो क्या
अबे
वो
तो पानी में बैठ रहे हैं
पानी में बैठ गया गाड़ी विंटोरेस कह रहे हैं भाई तो वन साइडेड जोन है बे जिस पे बन गया वो मार ही देगा बे आरसी पे तो भाई ये भाई
नेट भी फेंक रहे तो
विंटोरेस
तो नहीं बचा है
MR5 को भी दिया
back over here towards Nongshim Red to see if they can find a different way through. Vivo Keith, one of
अच्छा इसको वो हो रहा है इसको लेजिट वैसा दिख रहा है हाँ दिख रहा है उसको बंदा ग्लिच हो रहा है
अबे
इतना
टोनी ने क्या किया उसी गाड़ी में बैठ गया
Doom's a bit of a surprise, trying to take out that shot, trying to take out that pressure from the vehicle, but now out in the water they all are.
अबे
So will be looking for
अच्छा इसको नहीं स्पॉट कर पा रहे क्या गाड़ी वाले को
onto Tony K.
गया टोनी गया
यार आरसी के पास तो मतलब फ्री की किल्स आ गई भाई वहां
फ्री किल्स
10
तो निकलते जाएंगे इधर से
टपा टप
ओपन जाके भाई लेट के मार भाई फटी में खेल रहे हैं
बोले एक और किल अभी एनर से डूम्स को भी मारेगा
आरसी
एक और किल
फैल्कन भी गया फैल्कन गया अरे डूब के मत मार किल दे भाई कौन है तू वालो
नहीं देगा किल नहीं देगा
अभी इन लोगों को घर छोड़ के उधर जाना चाहिए रिच पे जाके लेट के 10 किल मार दिया
दे 10 किल
वो गेम लॉर्ड वाले हैं ना उस साइड से
स्मोक का आराम से T2K इनको वाइप कर दिया
अबे फैल्कन को भी पकड़ लिया
11 भाई फ्री किल्स
we were talking about those 4-man teams. It was Tim Entertainment alongside Besiktas that made that trip down to Los Igos. It is no longer Tim.
ये एक और गया
13 मारेंगे भाई
Unfortunately, feel the brunt of
ये एक और मिलेगा ये पान में जो तेरा
क्या किस्मत है भाई इनकी
पहले अच्छा पोजीशन ले लिए
ये भी गया ऊपर आएगा
भाई 20 किल चिकन मार दिए तो ये लोग तो डायरेक्ट टॉप 4 अभी इनके हो गए 61 ये लोग आगे 4th है अभी लोग
won't be easy
और
either. It's almost like
प्लेसमेंट पॉइंट
T2K के कितने बचे
T2K तो पूरा चौक पोजी में 3 बचे
a lot of fighting out on the outskirts though as teams finally
अरे पानी में चले गए ये मरेगा
अच्छा पुश के भी T2K
ये मरेगा पानी में
गया गेम लॉर्ड वाला गया
This team has been
अगर इसने
struggling
spot किया
a
तो
lot
कर
throughout
लेगा
the
कर
2
लेगा
days, and this is definitely a struggle bus in of itself. But they've made it pretty far, all
इनका
things
संदेश
considered.
अच्छा
So
खेलता है
many
T2K
teams
का
already not being able to make it to its end
संदेश
during late season.
वो कितना टाइम से खेल रहा है हम लोग के टाइम से
Here's the question here. Do we play that
तो तू
outskirts
अभी
zone?
लोग
तू
अच्छा
तो
खेलना
अभी भी
स्टार्ट कर
खेल रहा है
दिए
भाई
For
अबे
Genesis,
फोरम का बंदा
they might
जिंदा
have
है
had a
भाई एक
slower
बंदा
pace,
स्वान
and this is
Swan.
बैठा है
definitely a
जोन
struggle bus in of itself. But they've made it pretty far, all things considered. So many teams already not being able to
ऐसा
make it to
किस्मत
this
मेरा
point.
होता है
I mean,
होगा
here's
भाई
the question
होगा
now. Do you play that outskirts zone? Was it up to the early eliminations for Genesis? They might have had a slow rotation, but just choosing that timing right and
अबे
managing to
आरसी
win.
तो पूरा
Or
जोन
was
ले
it
लेगी
something else that might have been happening in land?
अबे
Maybe why they were rewarded with
सी
Sunlight
आरसी
moving on
आरसी
to Los Higos. Now though, it's coming down to this potential of that open finish. You know, will it end up in the open side or will it actually shift towards Besiktas?
मुझे लगता है
Because certainly,
4am वाला
now knowing that they
एटलीस्ट
have full control of the turret, they have all the push lines. If they can take out the Xavier,
टॉप 3 निकाल लेगा इसकी
the
पोजीशन
loss from
अच्छी
a
है
member of the Xavier, then they
अब
have
सब
full
आपस में मर गए
control of this
मर जाएंगे
portion.
They are aware of that last member of D Xavier as
unless
well, which
RC
is
नहीं
really
RC
good.
decided to move in so they
That's
will
the worst
find
thing
him
that could happen to a
भाई
formidable team, getting caught by a
फाल्कन तो
solo
मेजर
player
छुप कर रहा है
and losing one player.
बहुत ज्यादा
But they'll control this territory for now. They're playing very cautious. They could play more aggressive, honestly, take more territory. But like I said, that one player of D Xavier, if they were a little bit overextended, they could have easily lost one or maybe even two players going from a 4-man down to a 2-man. So
यार
playing it
जितना
rather
मुझे
more cautious and not
ये ना
pushing
जोन
there
जितना फेवर
is
में इसके बीजेके के
keeping
हुआ
their
ना
sights
I was
pretty much.
expecting
The
them to
only
be at least
4-man
top
team,
3
Rejects
but
and
they're
Train
still
to Kill
choking
with 3. Those are the only two other teams
बीजे के क्या
हाँ बीजेके
अगर तुम लोग उधर बैठा है ना
two others down to
हाँ
lose.
उधर है वो लोग
अबे
भाई उन
डबल
लोग
के
को
स्पॉट पे बैठे हैं लोग
पर उन लोग को बहुत केस निकालने चाहिए पता है क्या वो राइट पे जितने दिख रहे हैं सब मारने चाहिए
मारने तो चाहिए लेकिन कल भी अगर तू देखेगा कल भी सेम सिचुएशन थी जोन सारे इनके फेवर में कुछ भी नहीं कर पाए
चोक कर रहे थे
या
हाँ होता है कभी कभी ऐसा जोन आता है बाहर से कोई मार के चला जाता है कुछ और हो जाता है भाई हमारे साथ तो बहुत होता है
Just was no other option. These teams really did not have another option to play a different style, to bring in a different form of energy. Miramar has just been, it has been ruthless. That's the best way I can say it. And now Genesis Dogma coming on through here from this northern side. The moment they stand up, it looks like Train to Kill are, well, trained on their position, waiting for those pixels to move.
Circles slowly crunching in.
भाई जे वॉकिंग वाला तो हर जगह पे अपना स्टोर खोल रहा है बाप रे दुबई में भी खोल रहा है अभी
जे वॉकिंग वो क्या है ब्रांड है कोई
हाँ मतलब इंडिया का डिजाइनर ब्रांड है स्ट्रीट वेयर बहुत फेमस है सेलेब वेलेब्स पहनते हैं
अरे
वो
अरे
तो
दुबई इज नॉट ए
इंडिया में
बिग
तो
डील ब्रो दुबई में मुंबई से सस्ता दुकान खुल जाएगा
हाँ
अरे 100% मतलब तेरा घर भी मुंबई से सस्ता है यहाँ पे इफ यू वांट टू बाय
बस यहाँ पे तो बहुत खोला है अभी दुबई में आएगा दुबई में आ रहा है वो 88 से 14 तो आएगा दुबई में भी खुल रहा है जे वॉकिंग क्रिश्चियन डियोर बन जाएगा थोड़ा सा
As if it can't get any more south, the last zone will go on the
ये देखिए,
south side of Los Higos.
खुद भी
Not
पानी
just
में
Los
जाएगा
Higos, the south side of Los Higos, mind you.
It has literally just been
10
the worst
eliminated.
possible
ये
opportunities for any teams moving in from that northern side, and this is what I was talking
और
about.
टीटी देगा मारना पड़ेगा
Just
इसे
holding in that southern side. they
अगर
are in
आरसी ने
full
ये
control
चिकन
now,
निकाल लिया
at
ना
least of a
आई
portion of it.
थिंक
However, the
क्या
Xavier
टॉप
आ
3
जाएंगे वो लोग टॉप 3
players
टॉप 3 आ
still
हाँ
alive,
जाएंगे
so that could be a
भाई स्वान
potential
सुमुड़ी
threat,
में
could
देख
be a potential thorn in their side. Train to Kill now
निकल
moving
रहा है
on
जोन
in from that northern end, trying to find an opportunity here up
भाई
against
स्वान
the
मारने पे आ
Xavier.
गया ना फिर तो ऑर्डर वॉर्डर भी फेल है भाई
Zone.
उसको टीम ही नहीं अच्छा मिल रहा
Oh, I don't think he wants to fight his way in. I think he's gonna just
इसके पूरे प्लेयर चेंज हुए ना अभी
crawl his
सब
way
चेंज हुए
very
सब
slowly to the tippy
मेन
edge
उन लोग का सुख था बे
and wait a
तेरे को पता है ऐसा
little
देखा है
bit
ना
longer.
बेस्ट आईजीएल
Lamborghini, he's kind of
जो
safe there
असॉल्टर
for
भी
as
सुख
long
ही
as
रहेगा
Jinx
भाई
doesn't decide to push him.
एमवीपी भी बनता है भाई
अबे छोड़
अलग
दे
Use Besiktas
अलग
as a
आईजीएल है भाई
shield
वो
on his right-hand side, which is why he's
सुख
taking
अभी
it.
किसमें
He wants to act big enough
ये
to keep them
टीसी
occupied so they don't think about pushing him.
टीसी में था ना उसके पहले तो
But here comes Train to
नहीं
Kill
टीसी
going
में ही
for the
था
push,
टीसी में
and
नहीं था
अबे
he's
टीसी
actually
में भी था
versus
बे
Furious Gaming in
तो अभी
the
टीसी में ही होगा
in the
अभी
city of
टीसी
Los
द चोजन में
Higos.
था
These
पहले
are
इसके
just
पहले
way
एलन वैलन के
too
साथ
fast if they want to
हाँ
take
उसी
full
में
control
अभी
and push
टीसी
right
में
now while the fight is
अबे रख
somewhat
भाई
isolated.
What a potential
हमारे
absolutely
आईजीएल को
leaping
पता ही
game
नहीं
here
कौन
for
कौन सी
Rejects,
टीम
running
है
already with 13 eliminations, just trying to close that gap onto Furious Gaming, who are having all of their nades prepped and ready, which is the only real helping factor here, as a 2 on-3 scenario is about to ensue. The action comes on through.
भाई और किल उठा है भाई.
अरे कोई मुझे बता रहे सुक रिटायर्ड?
अबे हाँ फक भाई सुक तो रिटायर हो गया लॉल.
वे रिटायर हो गया.
रिटायर हो गया वो. आई गेस वो टीसी में गया फिर उसको अच्छा नहीं लगा उधर. फिर वो रिटायर हो
Is he
गया.
one of those what is it called 5 coaches of Nova now or no?
ना
उनने कुछ 2 प्लेयर उठाए थे ना एज कोचेस.
वो नहीं पता पर वो रिटायर तो हो गया. बराबर बोला उसने स्टोरी डाला था रिटायरमेंट का. भाई बट वो बेस्ट आइडियल था भाई वर्ल्ड का. मतलब जिमी है पर जिमी के प्लेयर्स भी अच्छे इसलिए जिमी अच्छा करता है. सुख तो भाई वन साइड कैरी करने का. भाई पेल दिया रे.
भाई आरसी तो
14 आरसी का चिकन होएगा मेरे को लग रहा है. 14 और 7 और है. 3 भी मार दिए 17 किल चिकन. भाई सॉन भी आ रहे थे. सॉन ने अगर लैम्बोर्गिनी को मार दिया तो भाई 4
टीसी में उसको बेंच कर रहे थे. Is that true?
नहीं हुआ है. अबे पर उसे एलजीडी में है सुख.
एलजीडी में क्या है?
सुख गया एलजीडी में रिटायरमेंट का. अभी आई गेस वापस खेल रहा है एलजीडी में.
टीसी में भी अभी प्रेजेंट में भी हो.
ने बोला कि पहली बार क्वालिफाई नहीं किया तो ऐसा लग रहा है रिटायर को जाओ बट रिटायर नहीं किया वो. अच्छा हाँ आई गेस वो फर्स्ट
हम
टाइम.
लोग ब्रेक लिया था 6 महीने का खेलने के लिए.
अब ब्रेक तो राइजन ने भी लिया. अभी नहीं रहा वापस से. ब्रेक पे ही चला गया राइजन.
अबे गया स्वान गया यार.
अभी टीसी में हो. टाइटन स्पोर्ट्स क्लब में हो प्रेजेंट में.
ये जंप पंच वाली आदत अभी भी नहीं गई ना इनकी.
भाई वो तो हैबिट ही हो गया. भाई डीएक्स के पास बहुत अच्छा पोज है. स्वान तो एकदम कैसे बचा है.
I mean, they just got the perfect timing after the chaos, but now it's
गया स्वान गया.
down to those decisions.
15 किल हो गए.
The last remaining member here from 4 Angry Men leaves us down to our 4 teams. We still have that strike left from the Xavier. Rejects, they look to be on a literal rampage.
देखिए बीजेके वाले कैसे हाथ देंगे.
Now finds Besiktas.
16 किल हो गया. चिकन हो गया आरसी का.
अगर अभी नॉक पे पुश किया ना तो अच्छा हो जाएगा. भाई वो डीएक्स वाले को देख.
अरे दबाओ भाई.
अगर बीटी दे दी ना उसने. अरे नेड फुटा.
अरे देना कमिटी नहीं करते हुए तो आधा ना आधा मार के भाग गया. बस दिया भाई. 20 किल दिया है क्या? हाँ भाई 20 किल चिकन.
भाई क्या कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्ट हो गया. वो ये गया नेड गया बराबर. मार.
अरे भाई गांव में डाला है किधर. गया बच्ची नहीं सकता.
दिख गया.
ये ना इसको जब ये लोग 2 फाइट कर रहे हैं तब इसको पीछे से मारना था. पता है क्या एक हाथ को.
ये टॉप 3 आए टॉप 2 आए.
टॉप 3 आई गेस. नहीं टॉप 3 तो आराम से.
नियो का स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो गया. नियो भाई की स्क्रीन फ्रीज हो गया तुम्हारा.
अच्छी वाला जिंदगी फ्रीज होना बाकी है बस. सब फ्रीज हो रहा है.
भाई बोल रहा है बंदा. एक बोलता है एलजीडी में सुखी है सुख नहीं है.
सुखी है. भाई मैं गाली जरा छोड़ दिया पर तुम मजबूर कर दो गाली देने पे. कभी सूखी ये वो क्या है भाई. तुमको ही नहीं पता हमको ज्ञान दे रहे आके. चलो मैं भी जा रहा. ठीक है चलो तौकीर भाई.
बाय ब्रो.
चलो यार है क्या फिर मैं भी जाता पूल.
अच्छा मैं भी जा रहा.
चलो तौकीर भाई बाय.
चलो बाय ब्रो.
I'm happy to see those placement points, but as we've been saying, you can't just solely rely on those placements. You need to hit it strong with those eliminations. I mean, look at this. Rejects
वो ज्ञान दे
topping
रहे
up
आके
with all four of their players in this
चलो मैं भी
fantastic
जा रहा
showing of
ठीक है
Burma, picking
ठीक
up
है
such a
चलो तौकीर भाई
ridiculous
बाय
Bye bro,
amount of
bye bro.
damage,
चलो
as
चलो
यार
well
है क्या
as
फिर
the
मैं भी
amount
जाता
of
हूँ कूल
eliminations.
चल मैं भी जा
Oh,
रहा
it was just a beautiful
चलो तौकीर भाई
showing
बाय
from
बाय
Chalo,
them.
bye bro.
Like you said, that would win a chicken dinner on such an unlikely map. Rely on those placements. You need to hit it
You
strong
notice
with
next
those
to Rage,
eliminations.
he's
I
got
mean,
those
look at this.
binoculars on
Rejects
top
ज्ञान
right.
दे रहे आके
That's how he got all those eliminations. He was
चलो मैं भी जा रहा
showing off
ठीक है
his shit
ठीक है
with
चलो तौकीर भाई बाय
Bye bro, bye bro.
चलो
very good
यार है क्या
games
फिर मैं भी जाता
out
हूँ
of
कूल
the rejects. A
चल मैं भी जा
Lost
रहा
Egos finish, a
चलो तौकीर भाई बाय
Chalo,
South
bye bro.
Egos finish. Never seen before. I can't wait to see what happens next.
ये
Rejects
echo कहाँ से आ रहा है?
strong.
भाई आपका एजुकेशन क्या है? I have done MSc International Business and Marketing research. ये कहाँ से हो रहा है? अब ठीक है.
We talked about him a little bit earlier, the Team Reject, and look at what they did in match number 2. 35 total points, 20 eliminations. I think
ST
this
आपकी
is
टीम है
a
क्या? हाँ
record
भाई मेरी है.
for Group Yellow. If
Zayan
not
founded
a
it, I came
record
in
for
later.
the whole PMGC. 7? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Zayan is the man.
You are absolutely right in regards to Group Yellow. I will have to go back and watch some of the other teams because we did get some pretty high elims. Nonetheless, though, this team, they really didn't have to travel that much. By the way, in regards to the top 5, they were the team that least had to travel, and that's because they decided to rotate super early to Los Egos, and it ended up working out for them wonderfully. And then look at the stats from these players right here. I mean, Regico being able to put up 9 eliminations, 1300 damage, and then Sun HP from Besiktas being able to put up 700 damage, but he's not gonna appreciate that conversion as he was only able to put up.
ओवेस को डिस्कॉर्ड पे ले लो भाई, अकेले बोर हो जाओगे.
You know what?
ओवेस
This
का
is
है.
probably the most perfect comparison we could have gotten storylines wise. We talked about them because
अरे
they
मैं
started
बोर
off
नहीं
right
होता
next to
भाई.
each other on the leaderboard at the top of
It's
the day.
fine.
Then,
I'll just
you
watch
know,
one
little
more
bit of
game and then
separation.
we'll also
Besiktas
bounce.
drops down.
Hello, I'm a die-hard fan of
Reject go up,
Stalwart
and
as well
now,
as
I
God.
mean,
Like, how you feel when
insane
ST
performance
qualified
from
too, bro? Of
Skyrocketed,
course,
but
I
you
felt
have to
great,
give a
bro.
little bit of credit to Besiktas because
It was
they
out of the
went
world
like
feeling.
sponges. 20 elims. They still got 8. That's actually a lot considering how many were taken away from Blood.
That's true, without a doubt. I mean, that is tough, especially considering when you see Reject just go and pop in everybody. To still steal 8 eliminations there when you really need them, hey, I don't think you can really complain too much. But I mean, I guarantee you,
I'm a big
we're
fan
gonna
of
see
ST.
these
Who's there for
leaderboards
us?
change
Thank you, bro.
big time. When you have a team take 20 eliminations and a chicken dinner, oh yeah, that's a big difference. And we're gonna see that big difference right in a little bit.
Assalamu
After this
alaikum,
break.
bhai. Kya hal chal? Walaikum salam. All good, bro. कंपैरिजन में कहाँ ग्रीन ग्रुप, कहाँ है कंपटीशन ही कुछ अलग था यार ग्रीन ग्रुप में. आई थिंक इस बार जो जीतेगी भी ना टीम वो ग्रीन ग्रुप से ही जीतेगी. I hope we win, but I know that green group से ही जीतेगी. I'm not trying to like disrespect any other team out there, but what I have seen, I mean like what we have observed in the green group, the gameplay is the tough competition and kind of mentality change कर दी सभी players का. कुछ बता दो कि ST कैसा perform कर. See bro, गॉडल ST का fan. किस कौन हेटर होगा बेवकूफ इतना जो इस टाइम पे भी मतलब he will come and give hate to ST. मतलब he's not a hater, he's a dumb fuck in short. So I mean coming out of that group and coming out on top, number one spot is not an easy thing. And बिना शोर मचाए. So yeah, you know what I mean.
Being able to jump 5 spots there for Rejects, I mean, that's what one amazing game could definitely do to you. And I'm also going to be looking at the top. I mean, Geek Fam really hasn't had, to be fair though, that Miramar didn't help them out because they had such an enormous...
आ जाएगा यार, एक्शन भी फॉर्म में आ जाएगा. देखो हर एक प्लेयर, आप टीम के सभी प्लेयर्स को you cannot push them to play like aggressive all the time. So if एक बंदा मार रहा है, दूसरा आराम से. How's the device experience? It's a horrible device, bro. I haven't heard a good review from any player.
Here we see a little bit of movement
Anyone,
down there
not just my team, but anyone rather.
Nothing crazy, but
इस बार
what
की
I'm
लॉजी में
loving
बहुत
is that I
कंपटीशन
think
है.
we're
लास्ट
seeing
2
a
साल
lot
से
more
ग्रुप ग्रीन इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट
aggression
ग्रुप.
out of some of
Okay.
the teams that
By the way,
were just a
ग्रुप
tad bit
ग्रीन
quiet. I
हमेशा
mean,
यही ग्रुप
to be
नहीं
fair,
होता
this
है, ये लॉटरी
last
बेस्ड होता है.
Miramar
इस साल
was
का
what Rejects did well
जब
on, and then
वो
when they
ड्रॉ
went to the
बना था, यू
Sandhawk
कैन
match,
से
they
ऊपर वाले का
fell
करना था
off
कि सारी टॉप
just a
मतलब
little bit,
PMGC
because
रीजनल
on team
विनर्स
Reject
ऑल
had
केम
to
इनटू
rise
वन
up to
पर्टिकुलर
7 for
ग्रुप.
consistency's sake.
Yeah, with the Xavier, I'm actually going to be seeing if they're going to go
होते हैं भाई कुछ, बल्कि ST से नहीं गॉडल से जलते हैं क्योंकि कोलैब. अबे कोलैब वोलैब को साइड में छोड़ो, बट पॉइंट इज
looking at the
that
drops, we gotta talk about
it doesn't make
Beacon.
sense
There's
that
a couple
anybody giving
teams
hate
there.
right
It
now.
was FaZe Clan and it was Besiktas. FaZe Clan ended up winning that fight, but they did end up losing 2 players. I wonder if those teams are going to be readjusting. And you can also see a bit of a hot drop too. Top northwest hot team. You can see Falcons. And
I think ये वाला जोन जो है ये
I mean, there's lots of possibilities.
Python gas
Python,
zone है, I guess.
IHC, and Reject down there. I mean, there could be, especially if you're coming off a crazy amount of elims like that.
I want to see what happens at
I'd
the
be a little
boot
bit
camp
worried.
drop clash.
Oh, big time. I mean, that Xavier Falcons, position is going to be tough if they hot drop each other in hot tid because number one, they are really depending on that zone going to that island, and not to mention they're both on the bottom of the leaderboard, so let them fight it out early. It's just not a win-win situation either way. But moving on, let's take a look at y'all's team to watch here for this next match, the Jungle. My most favorite match of the day. Favorite one to watch, least favorite to play competitively. Seven, I see you got some GK on there, Besiktas and Geek Man. Why'd you pick them?
GK, I mean, this is that last map was the 4th map that they just haven't really been able to perform well. Like
favorite one to watch, least favorite to play competitively. Seven, I see you got some GK on there, Besiktas and Geek Man. Why'd you pick them?
GK, I mean, this is that last map was the 4th map that
Top is a dangerous player. Top is the most dangerous player that can ever come to anyone's mind. People don't know Top yet.
This will be a great way to just break that bad scratch from Besiktas. You heard me talk about the top earlier. And then with Geek Fam, I'm pretty sure they're going to feel the pressure a little bit, Glitter, of some of those teams currently trying to hunt them down in first place.
Yeah, and we kind of alluded to that a little bit too. Like, to be fair, they didn't have the most favorable drop when it comes to where the zone was on the last map. But we did want to keep our eyes on them to see if they were going to be consistently dominant like they were yesterday. And they have slowed down just a tad. I think Sandhawks are a really good opportunity to kind of ramp that back up. It's always going to be extra chaotic. And FaZe, in the last game, I mean, they were just aggressive, okay? They had kind of picked up a little bit. It might not have been the chicken dinner, but they had kind of turned on that aggression. I want to see that carry through, especially in Sandhawk. Get a really strong performance out of them And then, of course, Reject after that. Just insanity. I want to see if they can keep doing it.
Take a look at some of the players here in the battle lobby. They are getting locked, loaded, ready to go. Here coming up soon. Sandhawk is always just so pressure intense. How fast that zone goes now with the update as well, where the healing strategy is no longer a thing. That zone damage is even more powerful than ever before. And speaking of powerful, it's time to move on over to two of the most powerful casters in the game. Let's move it on over to Zute and S-Proxy.
Thank you, Jukes. Well, if S-Proxy and I had a power, it is the power to create crazy zone endings, because, yeah. Los Higos,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, we were saying, I don't think we've seen that happen in a competitive match of PUBG Mobile yet.
इस बार zone का meta change हुआ है. What do you think? What are your opinions? Good, but it's very good, bro. It's very fair.
A Los Higos finish. Let's see if
It's
that
very
power
good
comes
that
into
the meta
play here. I
changed.
mean, what could be the craziest ending on Sandhawk that we have not seen?
But it will now change across everywhere from here. PMPL में भी यही होगा. PEL में भी यही होगा. हर एक चीज में यही meta use होगा. Because before this,
maybe Docs ending
Chinese teams को advantage होती थी because meta उनके हिसाब से they were experienced.
To the right of the S, like that pier. That's one place I haven't seen it in before. I've seen it in like above the D in Docs, which is pretty far down there, but I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. But the first thing that we got to settle out first is this bootcamp hot drop that's about to play out.
Oh, yes, indeed. Moving on into the action already. As we talked about it, you know, in terms of the hot drops, we didn't see that on
Sandhawk heal battle was...
Let's not count Miramar, because Miramar was ridiculous. But
बेचारे NGX वाले.
that action here on bootcamp, are these teams once again going to jump in?
Maybe not, but Besiktas actually, yeah, giving this location up over to the side of FaZe. If I could recall correctly, Besiktas yesterday opened 2 knocks onto FaZe, making it a 4v2, and then they lost, and we were talking about the killer mentality, right? That's just something that it was pretty evident that the Besiktas team...
Yeah, bro, they were just doing heal battles in Sandhawk.
They should not hot drop, and they gave it up. Same with Genesis Dogma, another team yesterday on the hot drops that we were watching, and we were just really puzzled, like, this is not how you contest for a drop shot. They played so passive to a point where it was a mistake. Like, clear cut, like, they're not playing it correctly by any means. It's not even a playstyle question. It was just like, you are not playing this correctly. So both teams at least recognizing the fact, like, hey, we are not a hot drop team. This is not what we do. This is not what we're comfortable with. We're going to just give it up.
भाई BGMI आने के बाद फिर से वो होगा invitational ही होगा Indian teams को. Because again global matchmaking है ही नहीं.
Straight up adapt. Rejects coming off the back of a very strong game will go down to 3 members early on to the side of Furious Gaming. A little bit of a split contested drop here. A little bit interesting.
It's quite interesting, especially when with the fact is that we're talking about Rejects now losing 1 member right off the bat, pretty much right off the bat, with 2.5 minutes into the Sandhawk, and we know Sandhawk, it is third-party central, so you want to have as many numbers possible just to be able to contest all of the chaos.
कभी हुआ है आप ओनर एंड एसटी प्लेयर्स के बीच में किसी टॉपिक पे डिफरेंट ओपिनियन चले रिलेटेड टू एनीथिंग फिर झगड़ा weird question. We have a very simple formula in our organization. अपने काम से काम रखो. कोच कोचिंग करता है, मैनेजमेंट करती है. मैं तो मैनेजमेंट में भी नहीं हूँ भाई. इनको वर्सेस एसटी बूट कैंप इन ग्रैंड फाइनल्स. इनको अभी क्वालिफाई तो हो जाए ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के लिए.
Very close to boot camp. They had to take a rotation out to try and join the rest of their team. They're over towards Camp Alpha, and now they're gone.
A lot of split drop fighting right now. Here's Gaming ended up taking down another player of the Rejects, so Rejects now down to 2. Besiktas improvising a new drop, a new split, do get themselves caught against the Xavier and potentially even the likes of Falcon. They're doing like 2 on the northeast of the bridge on the north side and then 2 west of the bridge. So it's a good split if they could get away with it, but it extends a little bit too much into the Xavier's territory, and they're not going to be happy about that. And then with Rejects, They're doing a split, south of boot
Influence
camp.
came in.
They dropping the trifecta.
Yeah, we will see.
That bridge compound crossing. Then they drop south of boot camp, and then a little bit southeast of boot camp. Problem is, Furious Gaming, they do a Y quarry split. They do 2 players, like, quarry-ish area, and then 2 further west of quarry, and those 2 players, ended up conflicting with the 2 of rejects. So that's how we're getting all of these little eliminations coming across the board. And rejects, another player knocked. Rejects down to 1. Yesterday, they had polarizing performances too. I think yesterday they had one really great game. I think a chicken dinner even, I think. And then nowhere to be seen for the rest of the matches. Today, they get a huge chicken. Now they're about to be the first team eliminated.
I'm getting some deja vu. We're getting crazy zones. We're getting Regis with some polarizing performances. It's all coming down to the same pattern
ST
here. And
की
now,
drop
I mean,
में किसी
Justice,
टीम
well,
bro triple
rotate,
class SMG ST
leave
came
the
in.
situation, go
Bro,
hide
I
in the
know my
grasses. I mean,
team very
there's really
well.
no
They are
option.
not that
And
stupid.
unfortunately, we talk about this time and
You
time
know
out. We've
that
had
they
a
will
lot of
start
teams going for those fantastic
just for their
placement points.
ego's sake.
And
They'll
that's
start
great. Don't get me wrong,
risking
that is fantastic, the fact that they're getting up into those
the
higher
whole
placements. But
tournament.
you need those foundational points. You need those eliminations to back that up. I mean, at a stage like PMGC, one or the other is not going to cut it. We need both. We need full throttle running up that overall leaderboard. So it hurts to see this happen for Rejects, but it is Knock. We know there's a little bit of craziness. Rejects had that interesting engagement with Furious Gaming, and then just from there on, unfortunately, running into team after team. So we're not really seeing a single team stepping up in terms of the elimination points. It's been relatively, well spread across, at least the eliminations from Rejects. So wait and see who's going to be that first team to step on up. Some rotations now needing to come through, as well as we can see the likes of Game Lords right alongside Train to Kill and 4 Angry Men moving on in from that northeastern side. Do you think they're going to be alright? I do see Nongshim Red Force as
Yes,
a
bro.
straight
Senator
shot
MP का
right ahead of 4
supremacy.
Angry Men,
Yes.
and they're kind of sticking around that outskirt, almost as if they're waiting
और
for
हमारा
a team
एक
to
ही
make that
कोच है.
rotation.
नोवा की तरह 5
It's
कोच नहीं है
gonna
हमारे.
come down to
You
just
get it? And
the
still
next shift.
that
I
guy
think
is
both teams aren't gonna even
very
bother
smart
really
person.
breaking into the first
So
circle.
nobody as an
They're gonna
owner
be
or
rotating
anything
towards that lane,
has
but off the next shift,
no
he's gonna
credentials to
try
go and
which way to
question him
swing.
on anything.
Something interesting I want to bring up in comparison from week 2, the group of death, and this week is Stalwarts. Godlike Stalwarts actually very similar performance like the likes of Rejects. They were polarizing too. I remember day 1 we were talking about, oh, they're doing okay. They were like 5th or something like that. The next day, nowhere to be seen. Very polarizing performances. I'm pretty sure Seven on the desk, if he's listening, he could agree because we were both talking about it. They would go up and then they would go down extremely hard and then nowhere to be seen. They lose players early on. They lose 1, they lose 2. Go down to 2-man, first team down to 2, just like the Rejects. And, well, Godlike Stalwarts ended up being the first place team overall in the group of death. I'm not saying, the Rejects team have the similar caliber or experience to pull off something like that. But, hey, just, you never know. It happened to Godlike Stalwarts, so, yeah, up in the air.
Opportunities always there. We know PUBG Mobile and the likes of RNG is always going to just bring in some interesting performances. I mean, speaking of those interesting performances, Train to Kill now down to 2 as Legend's been knocked, and now that recovery has to happen here. A few rotations means that IHC did at least pick up one of the members there. Train to Kill now clapping back on the likes of Game Lords who made that late rotation, and Train to Kill has been delayed as well. So now we are seeing a little bit of an opportunity as IHC fight GK Esports. Almost an immediate elimination for Gaith and Satan down to a sliver of HP.
Yeah, I think that nade's gonna... Yeah, ooh, actually shot by a different team
नहीं
there.
भाई नोवा ने घर
Alex trying to
चलाने
go
के
for the
लिए अलग और
confirmation
गाड़ी
as fast
चलाने
as
के
he
लिए अलग कोच
can.
रखा हुआ. I mean
He
like
knew that was... Oh, he got it!
yeah,
Alex
they
jumping
have
over the car. Yeah, Alex
they
jumping
have
over the car
like
with the DBS.
अबे
He got it.
nice
That's like
nice
Alex
nice
talking about,
nice.
He just knows. He hears the shots coming in from the other side. He knows that knock just went down. He's like, we want this point. Insling brings out the DBS
Oh,
and
beautiful.
runs it and guns it and gets that 1 point. 1 point can make a crucial difference here.
Oh nice. IHC ने kill नहीं चुराने दी. Very nice.
Running in with the vehicles, it is Genesis Dogma Gids up here against Tem Entertainment, and now Tem Entertainment, at least the duo of Tem Entertainment, need to step it on up. We have a 1-2 split, at least for the time being, as Baby steps on out to try and delay Genesis Dogma. But Geek Fam doing what Geek Fam do best. The third parties are here.
Dang, Geek Fam was just getting into a fight with IHC's fight earlier with the other team that rolled on in. What team was that? It was GK. GK rolled on in down to one player. Now Genesis Dogma here. Oh, that's Tem Entertainment taken out actually. Tem Entertainment was a team defending. Genesis
Geek
Dogma
चुरा गया kill.
That's the most aggressive I've seen Genesis Dogma. It works out for them, at least securing that compound. But Geek's gonna have something different to say about that. It's not Geek that picks up the point though.
भाई godlike है घातक. godlike को दुबई से ऐसा कौन कोच जो godlike की कोचिंग कर सके भाई.
Dogma losing another player
already.
Oof. It is disgusting, but it is fantastic to pick up these amount of points right off the bat. IHC once again stepping up. And I mean, we talked about that change of roster.
वहाँ से IHC किल चुरा रहा है अब किन से?
The first few games of today, and it
ये
seems
सैंडविच
like
होगी
IHC
गेम
found
लॉर्ड.
a groove.
गेम लॉर्ड है या GD है? GD.
Has anything to say about it?
So many different angles.
Means which 16 teams do you think in PMGC finals, bro? Come on, it's very difficult. मुझे ये ग्रुप में देखना है कौन कौन आएगी. बाकी तो already finalize हो चुकी है. I think IHC आएगी. ठीक है, RC ने खेला. Geek आएगी. Falcon का बहुत मुश्किल लग रहा है, but again we can't say anything. बेड़ा कर रखा है. IHC का गया एक.
Geek Fam, they have the zone. They have 4. They could also sit back, but they're so far spread out on Ruins that they're able to third party 2 to 3 fights to pick up scrap points whenever possible. Next zone shifts. It does go up north right into the heart of Ruins. It could end around there. It could even go up a little bit to the northeast.
T2K आ सकती है. T2K is doing pretty well.
Last one up for the rejects. Maybe he could squeeze out some placement points if he gets circle blessed long enough.
It's going to be that question that has to come through here. And I like that, just the aggression that we're seeing once again. Geek Fam, one of those teams that we've said have been so confident, those teams that have not been afraid of taking the engagement. So it's good to see the likes of Genesis Dogma also picking up that pacing a little bit. But we have to see that consistency follow through. We saw with Geek Fam, I mean, in the first couple of games, we didn't have a single movement on our top 3. That last game, our top 3 didn't make a single movement on the overall leaderboard. Now it is an opportunity to climb back in. You can't give any of these teams space to work, or they will close that gap up against you.
Red Force coming in with
भाई पहले तो तुम्हें ये नहीं पता है कोच क्या है और एनालिस्ट क्या है. एनालिस्ट is separate, coach is different.
RC could do this. Justice, he's got the DBS. He gets another one. The third player, though, from out on top will get the elimination. Good try by the Rejects team. FaZe Ventores, though. Spot. Oh. Wait. Did Dooms accidentally throw a Molotov instead of a smoke?
I don't know if that was FaZe, maybe.
No, it showed...
I think it was Dooms.
Yeah, it showed Dooms Molotov.
ले आरसी ने 20 किल का चिकन निकाला, दूसरी में 15वें स्पॉट पे बाहर हो गई.
I mean, they dropped Satan, brought in with QX. This is not the impact that you were looking for.
Yeah, and also it's just you mollied your down teammate, which you could have revived and get back up to 3 and near the center. Man, Nongstrom Red Force, it just seems like they've been having so many troubles. Here we have a little car chase happening. You don't see this in Sandhawk almost ever. Game Lord with the YOLO full send rotation straight into the hearts. Well, not the heart of Ruins, but on the outskirts of Ruins. One player will go down. Last player desperately trying to set off that smoke. Can he get it down in time? Give him some cover, give him some reprieve. Too many shots from too many different angles. And man, with IHC's sight train on you, they will not let up. IHC up to 6 eliminations now.
But as if that was enough for Game Lord, Geek Fam also reached in from Ruins. They put themselves in a perfect crossfire.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
Regardless of what IHC would have done.
इसमें मैं पूरा IHC को support कर रहा हूँ. IHC is one of my favorites, bro, in South Asia. देखा है मैंने इनको खेलते हुए. पूरा PMPL में मैंने इनको फॉलो किया है.
Lamborghini, we saw what they did
They're
on
very
Nova.
good team.
Will they be able
Mongolia
to
से है
close it
ये
up
भी.
against Falcons who just drive on by?
Nice little swing by right there. I like it. I respect it. Falcons. Looking strong. Falcons, man. This team's also been struggling a lot. Looks like they're playing a bit more loose, a bit
Falcon
more
को BT देगा.
confident, and it's working out for now as they pick up those 2 elimination points so far. Next zone shifts. It does come off
गया
of the North
Lamborghini भी.
Island. I think everyone on the North were ready for this shift, so let's see what their plan is. 4 a.m. meanwhile swinging in from the western side. 4 a.m. started all the way on the northeast, so they did a full, complete wraparound. Working out so far, but can they get further?
Ooh.
What a
Okay.
nice shots with the silencer as well. That QBU with the silencer, oh, sounds so nice.
But अगर Falcon form में आ गया ना, it's gonna be a pretty good
now,
fight.
I
mean, like it'll be pretty
had the
good.
drive-by from Falcons. That took out Lamborghini. Now, T-Duck out here, the nade. Oh, sliver of HP. You're out of the blue. And they can't even get around. They're just going to go down. No other option. I mean, at this point in time, Falcons have their number, and Xavier will go
Falcon
down.
एक बार form में आ गया ना, I think they will rip through the time, through the charts. They're a they're very capable of even taking like freaking 60-70 points a day, bro. 4M को क्या हो रहा है भाई? 4AM को जूते पड़ रहे हैं भाई इसमें ग्रुप पे.
Right there. Genesis Dogma will find this shack. Playing for now. Geek Fam do want to close in on this, but they're also dealing with Furious Gaming the whole time, and that's a player knocked out of the Geek Fam team. That's just going to slow things down for Geek Fam. They're going to go back and reset as GK Hope comes in, and I think he saw that burning car. I was like, that's taken. Ends up getting taken out by the 4 a.m. team instead. GK, once again, slipping on the leaderboards. Eliminated very early. No placement points, no elimination points.
At the very least, for our top 3, you know, GK going out, but we still have Train to Kill, we still have Geek Fam, and we have Furious Gaming, who decided that, you know, pole position is looking real nice right now. Let's just see if we can take out Geek Fam as Genesis Dogma chime in as well. Geek now stuck in between a rock and a literal hard place, as all of the teams in the vicinity are moving in for those potential third parties, just spreading out the damage. Rude down and knocks. Geek Fam snipes, trying to rotate out for that res. Look at this, right behind that tree. And we've seen what these trees have been able to do today, Zute. It's not some good cover to work with.
Yeah. I feel like if Aiden had, it was a Genesis Dogma player, if he had a little bit more trigger discipline, he could have waited for the next stretch of crossing, which was less trees in between the second and third one, and probably got knocked. But him firing off the shots right there, getting a little trigger happy, will incite that player to drop down smokes to get the crossover, to get the revive. So Geek Fam will go back up to 3, losing their 4-player strength, which would have been crucial in a match like this coming out of Ruins. They would have had they want full force control. Circle did shift north off of Ruins though. So we'll see the likes of IHC have to make a play, Geek Fam, Furious Gaming, GD Gids, and everyone else coming in from the eastern side of things.
Longsham Red Force still in this at least for another second before FaZe Clan move on in. Picking up at least an elimination or 2 or 3 as they move on forward. And now they're going to be coming through from that eastern side rotation. The only other player really in contention for them would have been Train to Kill, but bam, there they are. They are out for the count. So in terms of our top 3, it's only Geek Fam left, up with 5 eliminations, still moving on in from Ruins, right up ahead of Furious Gaming.
4 a.m. looking strong right now. All of 4 a.m. still up, coming in from the west. Geek Fam trying to do what they can with 3, and it's working so far. IHC did make that drive over. They find some sort of cover. One player knocked, should be will get revived. Constantly have to deal with it. GD gets, yeah, that shack being taken completely ruins Geek Fam's plans, and now they are getting pieced apart by everyone from every which angle. Geek Fam went from third-partying every team to having every team look at them, taking shots at them, yeah, from his backside, from his left side, from his right side. Nowhere for Snipes to go.
Snipes about to get sniped as all the teams are moving on in. Furious Gaming still need to get themselves in the zone. Falcons going out at least with 5 eliminations. Here it pops off now as Furious Gaming, they turn it all around up to a IHC at least before Alex steps on in and confirms the entirety of Furious Gaming. But it's not going to stop there. Snipe still somehow as a solo fighting back against the entire mountain that they need to climb here. IHC holding them down, keeping him locked in. Rotations are going to be tough.
Genesis Dogma still alive. 4 a.m. controlling the western side very beautifully. They do know Genesis Dogma is down there, and they know it's more than one player.
आप गॉड लाइक के बूट कैंप कब आ रहे हो? वहाँ अभी प्लान नहीं हो रहा, आके करेंगे क्या दोस्त? वैसे ही रोज बात होती है.
Will they commit to a full push? Face here, taking some shots, and Geek finally gets taken down, and it's by 4 a.m. of all teams. 4 a.m. up to 4 eliminations. About to be 5. Svan with that QBU. I think it just got stolen potentially. Yeah, it was Besiktas that picked up that.
I am loving what IHC are bringing into this action. 9 eliminations, but they still have to find a very good entry into the zone. Alex now being caught on out by Genesis Dogma. This is a good amount of energy that we're seeing from them, but they're taking this fight right along the ridgeline away from 4 angry men who seem to have smelt blood. It looks like they're pushing on up. They want that third-party opportunity.
Peeking up and over, they get the finish. They take care of their flanks. Very well done by the 4 a.m. team. Zayol, last one up for the side of IHC. He can potentially make the run over since Genesis Dogma is taken care of. 4 a.m. now focused on their front side, no longer concerned about the southern region. 4 a.m. starting to push into, Vivo Key coming into the mix. One of their players gets knocked. I think he went up above the water and went for the knock on Svan, but instantly the support was there. The trade was good.
IHC, they were holding strong. In comes 4 beautiful shots from FaZe Clan as they close that one out. IHC will go down though with those 9 eliminations. 4 angry men holding onto the coastal line here from that western edge of the zone, just confirming Vivo Key. So I mean, in terms of what we're looking at in the zone, it's Besiktas in center that have been extremely quiet. They haven't been picking up these eliminations or capitalizing off of those third-party opportunities, and now FaZe and Falcons will join our 4 remaining teams in the zone, and it is looking good in terms of the positioning for Besiktas, but will they be able to capitalize and pick up the eliminations?
Oh man, Svan with his QBU still so deadly. Just 1 headshot, 2 headshots, and that player is down and out. It's going to be shaping up to be a beautiful ending. Usually Sandhawk is a lot more chaotic, but with the way the layout is, it's going to be a more methodical approach. Of course, Besiktas in the dead center in a strong position. But no matter how strong your position is, if you're getting pushed in from multiple sides by multiple teams, it becomes very tricky. FaZe lose 1 member trying to cross over, making a play. 4 a.m. just playing it conservative, playing really well here. FaZe can do breach into the compound. It's not fully yet in circle, and they lost 1. Now the Falcons trying to do something. Falcons get
Bro, how would I know? Valorant, my screen freezes.
Back, and the blue is pressing in closer
4 a.m. looking good, 4 a.m. looking good, 4 a.m. looking good. FaZe taking Badla, gaya FaZe. Sorry, I'm saying FaZe, Falcon.
Another player down. Falcons down to 1, and 4 a.m. should go for the isolated push here.
भाई दो साइड से फाइट ले रहे हैं.
About FaZe Clan, with good reason. FaZe Clan pushing up now. Besiktas, can they get the knock? They get 1, but one of them go down. FaZe Clan finish out by 4 a.m. of all teams. 4 a.m. isn't just only focusing on Falcon. They're focusing on everybody. They're taking names, and it's not just one team's name. It's 1 team down, 2 team, 3 team.
4 a.m. का chicken है भाई.
So strong. Besiktas now down to the last 2 players, and 4 a.m. have a good idea. They get the re-knock. They push him for the final swipe. And
ये क्या कर दिया इन्होंने भाई?
Chicken dinner. The distance traveled also by this team. The fact that they won this match, starting from the hard northeast, wrapping all the way down to the south, wrapping back down to the southwest, then back up north, all the way into ruins. Those are some
gorgeous finish.
Yeah, those are some rotations if I've ever seen them. We often say Sandhawk is not a game of rotations. Well, if anyone can prove that wrong, 4 a.m. just pretty much won that game off of beautiful rotations, isolating their backside every time, striking in at the most optimal positions that set them up for good engagements as well. I don't think they were at any point at the chances of being third party. They
इनका
always have
नाम
some
ही है
sort of
4
ridge to
Angry
work
Men.
with, and it's just map knowledge and rotations coming in for this Sandhawk match for 4 a.m. to get a big chicken dinner.
For making that showing, making that statement once again, bringing in a beautiful amount of eliminations. You can see it's so well spread up. It's only really WWX moving on in with the better eliminations alongside Queen Sheng. So it was a very good team effort, I would say, bringing in such a beautiful showing, bringing in that winner chicken dinner, 4 a.m. I mean, in terms of the distance traveled, they did have to work. As you mentioned, look at that, 11,000 meters worth of distance traveled, right alongside Falcons, actually, who similar had that approach into that final moment, but just couldn't quite find the angle to work with.
11,000 on a map of Sandhawk, by the way. Sandhawk, it's a small map. If you could travel 11,000 on Sandhawk, that really does say something. But man, what says even more is the fact that 4 a.m., well, I mean, they're once again back with a strong chicken dinner. Can they continue?
Yeah, good momentum, bro. Let's see how they carry the momentum forward. That'll be interesting. Finally, something exciting is happening in Group Yellow. Yellow, yellow, dirty fellow.
And the 4 Angry Men just got angrier. 30 total points after being a little bit quiet here for a little bit here in Group Yellow. Finally getting another chicken dinner once again. And then Team Falcons finally showing up and getting 16 points on the board here, 7.
What impressed me the most about 4 Angry Men was the rotation. They were able to wrap around from the south and bring it all the way to the west. They were willing to take some damage from the blue zone, but it ended up working out for them because they were able to put themselves in such a great position next to that bridge on the west. I love to see those plays and love the bounce back too. I mean, this team, Glitter, they really didn't perform that well yesterday in the Sandhawk. They ended up, I think, with a 12th place finish and 0 eliminations.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons, not this specific map per se, but this was one of the reasons we called them out at the top of the show, okay? Now, we get to look at the top performers here, and it's going to be half of 4 a.m. as first and second place. IHC making a performance, and Geek, we called Geek out, wanted to see them have a little bit of a resurgence, and they're bringing it back, but I mean, okay, across the board, we've got 5 elims and 5 elims on Ching-Chen and WWX combined. Over 1k damage, though, but almost equal team contribution, and we wanted this. We were waiting for this. We knew they were capable of it, and like you said, Sandhawk was a map where they struggled. This is good. Figuring out Sandhawk now with the new zone and everything, this could be a huge gain for them.
I just love that rotation.
Absolutely.
I can't get over it.
Dude, me neither. I mean, when you're able to make a play like that, you know it's got to hype the squad up, especially after your team hasn't been performing the way that they've been expected, you know? So to be able to pull something like that out right when it's needed, that's that clutch factor. And you know what? One team that we talked about a little bit earlier, 7, was Rejects, right? They had a good pop-off performance here. So I think it's time we talk to one of the players, and let's go ahead and move on over to an interview with the excellent Tash Bunny.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2022 PUBG Mobile Global Championship League Stage Yellow Group. And we're halfway through the night already, but before we continue, let's have a chat with the team who opened the day with a chicken dinner, Reject from Japan. And with me, I have Reiji Oko. Okay, you got a little bit embarrassed there. Hi Reiji, how are you?
Hi, hello. I'm fine.
Oh, genki desu ka? That's how you say how are you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I have a question for you. My first question for you is, how do you think is your team's form today? Are you confident on getting the top 3 in the total ranking?
はい、今日の出来具合を見た感じで、トップ3に入れるかのちょっと 感想いただきたいです。
入れます。
I think I can get into top 3.
Okay, he thinks he can get into top 3. So what do you think is the hardest thing that you have to do in order to get into top 3?
Okay. 第3位トップ3位に入るようにするには何が一番大変だと思いますか？
生き残ってポイントを取ることです。
For he said that to survive and to earn the point will be the very difficult part for him.
All right, surviving and getting points. Of course, you have to talk about that sweet spot. But for now, my last question for you is, you won the winner chicken dinner on the second match for today, but you were quickly eliminated on the third match. So does this unstable result affect your mood, and how will you guys adjust next?
はい、2回目の試合では、結構いいスコアを取ったと思うんですけども、3回目の試合ですぐに負けてしまったと思うんですけど、その中でSorry, what was the question?
Sorry, so it's you got this winner chicken dinner on the second match for today, but you were quickly eliminated on the third match. So does this unstable result affect your mood, and how are you guys will be adjusting?
そうですね。2回目の試合では結構トップの方に入ったと思うんですけど、3回目ではすぐに負けてしまったと思うんですけど、それはどのように今の結果を影響するかっていうのと、どのようにしてそれを回復するかをお聞きしたいです。
まあ運が悪かっただけなのであんまり気にしてないです。
Okay, so he said it was a bad luck. It was just a bad luck, so he don't actually care. Yeah.
Oh, bad luck, and he doesn't care. At least he's gonna go GG, go next. I'm very excited about that. Now we're gonna be going into the fourth match of the night. How do you say goodbye in Japanese?
Goodbye 日本語でなんて言いますか？
Sayonara, everyone, and we'll see you guys back on the desk.
Sayonara. Well, hello, dude. Welcome back, everybody here. What a great interview right there. What was your real takeaway from that one, Seven?
I love that he said he didn't care and he just tossed it out to bad luck. I appreciate that, and you know what? It is bad luck because earlier they had some amazing luck in Miramar when they were able to put up all those eliminations in the chicken dinner.
True.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and that's a good way to kind of get over all the issues with your team, right? Just say, hey, it's just bad luck, baby. You know, it's good luck.
Happens.
Our hotel partner, right? Our hotel partner here for PMGC, Pullman, Kuala Lumpur, Banksar. Our world is your playground right there. And yeah, it does happen, Seven. Sometimes you just got to brush it off. Say, hey, dude, you know what? It happens. Hey, you know what? Let's talk about Prime Gaming, of course, our platinum sponsor for PMGC. Guys, they've got a whole bunch of great in-game content, Prime benefits, as well as you can get some PUBG Mobile in-game items. So go ahead and check out Prime Gaming today. Alrighty then. So, Glitter, I think it's time we take a look at the overall rankings, baby. Let's see who is on top of this thing. It's Geek Fam still, but look, we are definitely seeing some changes for Angry Ben. Now in third place.
That's a big jump up for them. I'm glad that we were able to take a look at this because that's a huge jump up for 4 Angry Men getting themselves in assaults. I mean, still very close now. Now they're at 90. GK's down at 89. Reject at 85. That top 8 is slowly really shrinking down as far as any sort of like cushion goes with those points. So I think it's going to be become a really close race. But now Vivo Keed is going to be dropping down. And on the second page, 7, Tem, not looking so great.
Tam is not looking so great. Furious Gaming is actually not looking so great. Furious Gaming is starting to give me vibes of Evos from last week when they were just not taking advantage of them actually being within the top 11, and then everybody was able to catch up, and that's exactly what everything is currently happening. I mean, the gap right now between those teams is really not that much. One game, and we're going to be seeing a lot of switches there.
Yeah, and now's the time to do it, especially before we go into day 3, and I'm just hoping we don't see, GK act like HVVP from last week as well. Starting off strong and falling off towards the end. But hey, you know what? Still a lot of PUBG Mobile left to be played here. We got another match coming right up, and it's time to take a look at y'all's teams to watch. So 7, of course you got Geek Fam on there. They're doing great, but could be doing better. Am I right or wrong?
At 100%. could be doing better. I'm actually going to be looking at 4 Angry Men because they didn't perform that well in the second half of the day, especially when it came to Erangel. We saw how they were able to turn it around just now in Sandhog. They didn't do so well yesterday. Today, they won. What is 4 Angry Men going to be bringing for us here in the next Erangels? And then for Tem, I mean, we talked about it. This team currently sitting in 13th place. I'm pretty sure not where they want to be. They want to be able to close that gap a little bit more. And why not take advantage of it? And I know you have Tem as well on your teams to watch, Glitter.
Yeah, I want to see a bounce back from them. We saw clearly like these moments where they're very, very capable of having some solid performances. They're just not on the consistent side today so far. But also, I really like what we're seeing out of FaZe. I feel like they started off the day a little bit quiet, a little bit slow, but they've really picked up their aggression. They've picked up their position and their rotations. I want to see what they can do now in the second half. Back on Erangel and see if they can improve from the first time around.
FaZe up! FaZe up! Let's see who's going to be up here in this next match, everybody. It's about that time. Let's take it on over to our casters.
4 a.m. back in the leading for the top 3. They just barely make it in, though. GK has been slipping quite a bit. 3 performances so far, not up to par with their day 1. Day 1 to day 2, things can change up a lot, and we're seeing that now.
We talked about it. Don't give these teams an inch. They will take you for a mile. 4 a.m. now finally catching up, closing that gap, getting closer and closer to the top spots. And they don't seem to be stopping anytime soon. But like our analyst mentioned, that second half of yesterday didn't quite look like the performance we were expecting. And there's a little bit of a danger for that to happen once again. But I am loving the fact that we are seeing a few more names jumping up to the fray. We're talking about more teams in contention for those top spots.
Players definitely warmed up by now. 3 matches in. I love the shots of the because we could see a similar move.
अजीबो गरीब
across all of them, regardless
language
of
है
where they
दुनिया
are.
में.
So everyone's really focused right now.
I don't know what
Everyone's
you mean.
really serious. I remember like day 1 before the matches started, the player cams, players were like laughing, having a good time, enjoying themselves, relaxing. But now it's like, it's serious mode. Like, they've been practicing and training all year for this moment. And this is not your standard grind either. You know, all the players here most likely, you know, play the game for fun too. So even after practice and after training, after scrims, they're probably playing the game just for fun too. So they've been playing this game 24/7 almost, leading up to this moment. And this is where they get to display it for the entire world to watch. As we come into game number 4, back onto Erangel. This playing path a little bit skewed to the north. We might see something interesting happen as far as teams, you know, dropping to the southwest goes. Might have some rotation skirmishes, you know, when they fight for those vehicles. But besides that, we should be heading into a regular game. I mean, I feel like Erangel typically doesn't really promote hot drops, even with playing paths being a little bit skewed.
Yeah, there's a few potentials out there, but again, just based off the first wrangle that we had, that pacing that these teams brought in, they weren't looking for those hot drops. You know, if there was by chance a potential for the hot drop, which what we saw there over towards the Snipoliana, the teams would pull back. They didn't want to immediately jump into that engagement. They wanted to give themselves so much time to work with and bring their strategies to their best potential. I mean, what did we have? Like 14 minutes before we finally saw that first elimination, before we finally saw some action. And now with that centered zone, we are giving these teams the best possible opportunity to bring forth their best performances, to bring forth what they are planning to showcase and how they might make those final jumps up into the top slots of the overall standings.
No crazy circles this time around, at least in terms of the first circle. Might see some crazy shifts, but besides that, it's going to be a pretty standard game of Erangel. Nothing like the Miramar one we had. Boy.
No.
By the way, if you guys are just tuning in or you missed the Miramar match, it was game number 2, right? You guys might want to just rewind back real quick. Game number 2, just take a look at where that circle ended. I'll give you a hint if you're too lazy. Los Higos, south of Los Higos. As we do get a knock between Vivo Keed and IHC. IHC actually picking up in a first blood. So this isn't a full out hot drop, but both teams try to stretch as far as they can from the plane path to South George Pole And one player of Vivo Kid did not make it to the other side of the road, and Zayol actually taking quite a bit of damage. Look at his helmet and vest. Came down to a very close isolated 1v1. So Zayol just getting the better of that, which I don't know. I see that as two different ways. He had teammates around him, could have isolated and did a 2v1. Instead, he did a 1v1 and almost lost just based on the armor damage. So a little bit risky, but hey, it's IHC. If they're feeling confident, if they're feeling it, I mean, go for it. As Divine, getting caught out. There's those rotation skirmishes I was talking about. Game Lord setting up a nice little trap onto Divine there.
I mean, similar to what we saw on Sandhawk, however, like these players are getting isolated. These players are alone. I mean, taking Divine that late rotation on up, obviously trying to, you know, recoup with the rest of their squad, but as a result, getting caught out on alone and really no opportunity for Rejects to do anything about it. So hopefully they'll regroup, keep that tight, you know, keep that tight knit, you know, pattern that we saw on Erangel, the first Erangel of the day, so that we can bring forth the longevity of these teams. I mean, you know, Glitter mentioned it. We were talking about Tame Entertainment. They've shown those brilliant moments today. They've shown those glimmers of hope, but we need more, and arguably we want more from all of these teams. We want to see them climbing to the top of heights that they'd never managed to reach before.
Definitely agree. We're 3 games in, and one of my questions was Geek Fam's consistency, right? Playing from the edge and fighting their way in. That Miramar game, I'll toss out the window. Like, that one...
It doesn't count. It's not a map.
Yeah, we'll give them a hard pass. That Sandhawk, they did pretty well. They stuck true to fighting their way in. Just ended up getting crossfired by too many teams. It happens sometimes. They picked up quite a few eliminations in game 1.
Yeah.
They third-partied 2 teams, like 2 to 3 times, and finally got third-party themselves. Sometimes it happens. I think Geek Fam, as far as playstyle consistency goes, they're sticking true to that style. And hey, they've managed to hold first place. You know, less could be said of GK, which not as consistent as Geek Fam. So I think Geek Fam, they just need one of those zone shifts where, I mean, it goes off of them, but it's in a nicer way for them to manage isolated 4v4s or just third parties where they don't get third party themselves. And I think we'll see Geek Fam spring back up in a bigger lead, maybe with this game, maybe with the next game, but they're looking good so far. They just need that one decent game to really, you know, give them a little bit of a bolster.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree with that. I mean, Train to Kill, I also just want to say that they've brought in that consistency today. You know, it hasn't been ridiculous games from them. It hasn't been, you know, absolutely crazy performances, but it's been that somewhat consistent. I mean, they started the day off with, what, 65 points? Now heading on that one away from the triple-digit marker.
Who do you think will get chicken dinner in this one?
Very close to that pole position, and if they keep up that performance, we could be actually seeing them taking pole position potentially.
इस मैच में टॉप 5 आना पड़ेगा 4 AM को at least 10 से 12 finishes.
Once again, if they can keep that consistent, I mean, it's been the same question for Geek Fam. If Geek Fam can keep up that dominance consistently throughout this week, then yes, we're talking about Geek Fam going all the way, but it's a hard pressured game. Again, I mean, I would say yes, Geek Fam have been consistent, but the rest of the teams, they've stepped up. They have stepped up to catch up to that pole position.
We're about 6 minutes in now. Only one casualty in South George. That on to the backs of Viva Keat against IHC. Few teams rotating in. We don't see as many teams rotating in early because this, you know, this zone is so ambiguous almost. Being the center of Erangel. No real clear distinctions in terms of, you know, territory. The first Erangel game, we had a very eastern zone, right? So we immediately saw a lot of teams take the high ground of South Prison. Here, just smack in the middle. I mean, there's a high ground smack in the middle, but could easily go down to the low ground on the south or the north or dip over to
यार जो positioning advantage BJK को मिले है ना हर बार हर मैच में I mean, they couldn't convert it. That's a shame.
I would agree with that. I mean,
जितनी
especially the fact
एडवांटेज
that
इनको
lots
मिल
of the
रही थी
teams already
पोजीशनिंग की
clustered into the center zone. They need to be careful of those rotations, especially the pathings that they're going to be taking. A lot of teams, as we can see, rejects sitting up in the buildings, having those, you know, those scopes out, waiting for some of those rotations just to give a few welcoming packages along the way. This is how they get those foundational points, and this is a prime opportunity to do exactly that. Some of the first teams who have dropped center, they've looted, and now they're set up, and they're waiting for those opportunities that are looming in around the corners.
I love the way 4AM scouted that compound, by the way. That compound usually a very popular one. Hard to tell if there's anybody there. You can hide your vehicles. But 4AM pulled up on the very north side of Rozhok. Using that vantage point, they had one person covered, scout out for vehicles, scout out for movement, didn't see anything, and those slide right in quite easily and comfortably. Not super center of circle, so probably why it's not taken, but that's how you make progress into these matches. Good scouting, good rotation pathing, and you won't lose any players, and you'll keep all 4 up. 62 players up. Going into the next circle shift. Will this one give a more distinction on what kind of game we might be seeing? Does go hard down to the south, so now it's pretty much divided on the high ground and the low ground. Now teams will definitely prefer one or the other. There's some very strong compounds on the low ground that's more central, that if you take it now, you might be heavily rewarded for it. So we might see some clashes there in this new circle.
Potential here for Pachinki and Farm. We had a request for a Pachinki zone on Erangel yesterday. It's a little late. Maybe it might happen today. Maybe we might finally get those answers. But these rotations with that center clash that we saw with the teams, 4 Angry Men right alongside D Xavier, who just seemed to be losing out on the luck, as we were talking about in that interview, just not having the opportunities. But
वो PMWA में LGD थी ना शायद चाइनीज टीम, उनकी तरह खेल रही है. मतलब जब उनका थोड़ा वो कॉन्फिडेंस वापस LSG और LGD, I don't remember the name. So then they started like मिरामार में मुझे एक मैप पे याद है, बाइक के पीछे चढ़ गए, गोल गोल घूम के पूरे बॉलीवुड स्टाइल में गोलियां मार रहे हैं.
On the southwest side of the center. Compound's a strong compound as a launching off point, though, because they will have kind of control of the ridge to scout further in. As Geek Fam getting into fight with Yokeed. He's solo and isolated, actually deciding to challenge really quickly. Gone down early there before the rest of his team could get there, but he applies damn rude, does apply the pressure onto Yokeed, essentially slowing it down, giving him time for his teammates to get there, and just in the nick of time, his teammates will get the trade. Diego swings out wide, will get one. Potentially almost getting the second one. It's getting a little bit dicey for Geek Fam here. They might want to commit another player down here to help, but that will essentially give up the high ground for them, and they are getting third party. They do have all 4 players down here, actually. Will there be a third party? Diego, last one up for the team. He gets another one. The 2-piece. One more to make it the 3-piece, and that will be a full squad wipe onto the side of Geek Fam. Yuhai, the last player up. Previous team BTR, we've heard in his interview, he's looking forward to challenge BTR, his old team in Yuhai, showing why he got picked up by Geek Fam, showing his prowess. This Yuhai player, by the way, since his debut has been making a lot of splashes and waves, and that was like about 2 years ago. So good to see him progressing with that nice drop shot, that nice clutch, getting the full entire reset onto 4 players of Geek Fam. That is huge.
Rejects moving on in with that. We saw at least one extra knock coming through from the side of Rejects onto Geek Fam, and now IHC keeping their eyes peeled on exactly that position. Hopefully closing the gap. We can see Falcons and Train to Kill in the meantime finding one another. This is happening over towards that northern side of the zone. Train to Kill wanting to move on into the zone, wanting to get good position, but will invest just a tiny bit into this engagement. However, with that shift now, this adds that timer into this engagement. This adds that extra pressure point because they want to get a shift up into that northern side. And then whichever team makes it, will be the controlling team of that northern edge.
No teams playing the Potato Hill area. That's crazy. I think teams were having PTSD of the southern shifts on Miramar. So when they saw that southern circle, everyone was like, okay, we're playing on the south side of this central circle. We're not messing around anymore. Yeah, but that's a hard shift back up north. So a lot of open territory. Which team's going to be able to scout it out effectively to know the strongest position on that potato hill? Pretty much wide open.
क्रिप्टो की इकोनॉमी में इतना डिप क्यों आया सर?
Might be Furious
क्रिप्टो की
Gaming with the G-Trigger making that
मार्केट कैप
rotation. In
में
the
इतना
meanwhile,
डिप
D
इसलिए आया है
Xavier
बिकॉज
picking up
इट वाज
good
एन
amount of
हाइपर
damage, now
लेवरेज
picking up those
मार्केट
2
इन्फ्लेशन
eliminations,
ज़्यादा
so
थी,
a little bit more energy coming
मैक्रो
through for them, but
इकोनॉमी
this could
टुक
be huge.
टम्बल.
We've been
जैसे
waiting
कि
to see
अगर
something coming through from D
इस
Xavier
तरीके से होता है
as
कि
a former team
how
making
this
it to the
basically
PMG Grand
works
Finals.
is
We expect that
whenever there
performance.
is
We expect this
like
from 4 Angry Men fighting
extreme
victorious.
inflation
Tony K
CPI
down
जिसे
to
हम
half.
बोलते हैं.
As 4AM
So
will just not
when that
let
CPI
up
is
the
really
pressure.
high,
It is the valley of
price
doom and
inflation is
death if
really high,
anyone
so
should find themselves
banks
here.
क्या करते हैं, रिजर्व
Phase
गवर्नमेंट्स क्या
forced to
फेडरल
rotate
रिजर्व्स
into
क्या
the
करते हैं, they
trenches,
increase the interest rates.
being neighbors to
So
also a
when
bit
that increases, it's
rejects
a
and
sign
rejects
of,
down to 2.
what do you call it?
Last game he called it bad luck.
It is basically a sign of
I can say it's
recession
a little
in
bit
a
of
way.
bad luck and
तो
more
उसमें क्या
so
होता है,
ill
उस इन्फ्लेशन
preparation.
को कर्ब करने
This
के
time
लिए
around down to
रेट्स
2
बढ़ानी
players.
पड़ती है. रेट
Again,
जैसे ही बढ़ती है, then
can't
people
always
kind
go
of
with
like, the
bad luck.
market takes
There's
stumble,
some mistakes to
and
be learned
government
from
wants to
here
be like,
as
to
they
have
are
federal
hope
government really
he gets
wants
circle blessed there.
to
They're
like, have
pretty
that
central, a
bloodbath
little
in the
bit west of
market.
the center.
As
4AM's
long as
actually
there is
dead
that
center of the new
bloodbath,
circle.
पैसा जितना मार्केट
Playing
से
that
बाहर
valley
निकलेगा, लोगों
position.
की जेबों
Very
से
nice
जितना बाहर
find for
निकलेगा,
4AM.
उतना ज़्यादा बेहतर है.
I like this the way 4AM has
So
been playing.
eventually,
I think
when that
they
kept
will go for those hard
happening, then इसके
rotations, those
बीच में
calculated
पहले
risk rotations.
Terra Luna का
Previously,
crash, which
I've
was
always
around
recalled
40 billion
4AM like
dollars
2-3
wiped out of
years
the
ago. Their
market.
style was always
Then we
play it
saw
slow,
FTX.
edge it,
Then we
fight their way
saw
in. With
उससे
this new
पहले भी कोई
style
और
of
हुआ
being
था.
able to
I
flex
forgot the
that,
name.
go for rotations or
Celsius
fight
भी उस
their
time
way
पे
in when they
bankrupt हो
have
गया
to,
था.
has been proving
Later on
to
figured
work
out
out
that
for
how
them pretty
these
well.
all these major crypto 3 Arrow
I like it.
Capital
Again,
was
those
over
gambles that they're
leveraged.
able to take, but then
So
with that added information,
these
they
were the
don't just rush into
factors
the
why
opportunity. Like you
crypto
said, it's
especially
calculated. They get
dipped.
that information, they
But
get
now
that
you have
scouting
to
party, they
remember
know
when there is a
exactly
threat to
where those teams will
recession,
be rotating in,
तो
and then
सबसे
they
पहले
make
क्या होता है,
use
सबसे
of
पहले
an
जो low
area
cap
of a
economies
vicinity and
होती है
territory
वो
like
hit
this
होती
one.
है,
Any team
right?
that
So
unfortunately might
low
find
cap
themselves
economy
there,
कौन सी
it is
है?
going to be a hard
Crypto.
run.
ठीक है,
Furious
low cap
Gaming now
economy
moving on, and
मतलब
from that
जिसकी
potato hill,
total
we have
cap
a
value
line of
कम
sight
हो,
down towards 4AM, just
जैसे
looking
कि
for a couple of shots,
सबसे बड़ा
looking for those
asset
potential
classes
connections.
real
And that
estate
zone is
या
going to provide them extra time to do
commodities,
so.
फिर उसके
4AM
बाद ये.
Furious Gaming
So
loving
this is
their
like
positions
around a
into this one.
$1 trillion economy in total.
I really like
So
the way
it's
the
very
circle
easy
is in
for it
general.
to get
It's a very
hit
small
first.
circle, but
Then
there's so much dynamics
mid-range
going on. You
commodities
have the
take a
high
hit.
ground of
उसके
potato
बाद
hill,
आता है
this
जो
deep gully dip
जो
by 4AM
उसका
that's
मतलब है, मतलब जो
extending the
आप
front
फटाफट
coast
से
to the
लिक्विडेट
west,
कर
and then
सकते हो.
from
आपके पास
steady
अगर बिटकॉइन
compounds
है
on
ना,
the left-hand zone
तो ये
here
आप 15
all
मिनट
have a
15
strong
सेकंड के अंदर
position to
लिक्विडेट कर
have
सकते हो,
teams
बेच
work
सकते
their
हो.
way in
तो
to
इसलिए
any
जल्दी हिट
subsequent
लेता है.
circle
गोल्ड
shift.
हो
So
गया,
a
उसके
lot of
लिए
teams with a good chance to pick up points and potentially even still close out a chicken
So
dinner.
yeah,
It
उसके
all comes down
comparison
to
में अगर आप gold
execution at this
देखोगे,
point
real
with
estate
each
देखोगे, real estate
respective
comes
team
in the
in their
end
positions.
because it's not easy to liquidate या
It's going to be
cash
an
out
interesting
करना
one. That
easy नहीं
is
होता है, लगता
absolutely
है
for sure.
time
Just the, as
बेचने
you
में.
said, the dynamic that we have in the territory available is going to mean these teams are going to have some tough choices up ahead of them. Geek Fam giving a bit of a welcoming gift here to Game Lords as they immediately take that rotation hard to the west. Again, this is a rotation they need to make into zone. Both of these teams fighting on the outskirts as slowly but surely we will see that pressure forcing them into
Have
the
you tried
chaos. So
intraday?
Geek
If
just
yes,
applying
then
the
is it
pressure.
worth
Oh,
taking?
10
No, I
Entertainment,
haven't
they
tried
found
it, but
Genesis
I
Dogma.
know it's not
And look at the numbers
worth
that they're
risk
working with.
taking. That's why I didn't try it.
It's a 4v4, which could easily break into third party, especially whenever Geek Fam is involved. But Geek Fam, they're going to go for a rotation instead to look for what to play in. And oh no, the bunker trenches. Or not the bunker trenches, just the Oh, Reiji. A little bit of bad luck there.
Superhero shots, bro. Your favorite team other than your own team.
Oh, Reiji with a nice shot with the UMP peeking
I
out over the
like
top, gets one
Fireflux.
knock. forced to fall
Really
back
like
because there's a
Fireflux.
lot of teams everywhere
Fireflux is my
with
second
sight
favorite.
lines that could third party this. Yeah, he's going to use the util instead. Good job. It's actually FaZe using the util. Reiji will eat the nade instead. The rest of Geek Fam going to start funneling in here. Rejects down to 1, throws down the smoke, should be able to get that revive, but meanwhile, look at that battle ensue on the high ground, the hilltops, between Tim Entertainment, Genesis Dogma, and...
I mean,
Fable.
Singapore is a
One
financial
speed
hub,
team's fighting. 10
right?
Entertainment
So
is out. Now it's
Flipkart
down to
जैसी
the 2
Indian
teams.
bound
I'm
companies
surprised
अपने
Geek Fam wasn't the
plus
one staying
tax
up
को
there.
लेके
Except for
some
Barbie, really close to
relaxations
down.
there on
Into the trenches,
like
and they still
east to
have 3
service.
up and still making progress.
I mean,
Another good nade onto Reiji.
That was all
Yeah,
thanks
those
to
are mainly
Game
the
Lord.
reason.
We're
Why do
seeing that
people otherwise
hunter
shift to
instinct
Dubai?
coming
There is
through
no
now,
oil
that
here, there is
aggression
no
that we've
nothing
been
here. It's way
lacking.
smaller
And Geek Fam
population. People come
somehow
here to save
turning
tax,
the
bro.
tide onto rejects. That is them completely
Trade easy
eliminated.
है,
Back into the
diversity है,
storyline here with
availability
Game
है.
Lord. They did
There are
so well
lot
up
of
against Tame
benefits.
Entertainment, but there was that looming threat of Genesis Dogma. Victor finding that nade onto Booms is going to allow them that extra space as they try. And they try to make that flanking opportunity. But Genesis are holding on to every vicinity, every angle, every line of sight they have on lockdown. Now it is Victor up against trying to straggle back, trying to give that buffer zone. They need that time to recoup.
Yeah, Game Lord looking like they were the aggressors all of a sudden, now being aggressed on down to one member. He's going to have to go somewhere, find some place to play from. As GK, this team has been awfully quiet today. Looking good on the initial defense against Besiktas. Besiktas pushing in with the 4-man team, instantly cut down to 2. Now getting shot in the back by, I think that was still the GK team getting an angle there. Now Besiktas down to 1. This should be easy cleanup, easy finish. GK showing us why they were first place yesterday. Clinical defense right there, picking up the 4 Besiktas without having a single player even knocked.
I love that you mentioned that. Exactly that. They didn't drop a single player. Even the HP bars in general, it looks like they just brushed off a couple of those bullets like it was nothing. And that's great because they have a heavy road ahead of them. That zone has shifted towards that western side, just slightly anchoring towards the north, which means that rotation will need to come through. Nongshim Red Force is towards the east, and right up ahead of them, we can see the likes of 4 Angry Men and the Valley of Doom and Death that they have been planning. But now, a little bit of a distraction here. We've got a few rotations in. We've got GK Esports moving in. We've got Nongshim Red Force as well. So 4 Angry Men will have quite a lot ahead of them quite soon.
4 AM with the prone. Nice spray down. Meanwhile, on the northeast side, they have the Falcons and Train to Kill trying to get the high ground. Furious Gaming sitting comfortably, able to just keep both teams back. Satan does go down, gets confirmed. As GK, they crash in. They get a run over for the opening. But GK, not enough members left alive to fully commit to this. We'll let 4 AM get the reset unless if Genesis Dogma decides to get a nasty third-party timing in here. Looks like they're thinking about it. They're getting closer.
UTV, it's awesome. लगता है तुम WhatsApp news ज़्यादा देखते हो. It's not possible to have 90% of the transportation in the world on EV. You cannot produce that amount of lithium in the world.
I don't know why, I don't know where, but
You
somehow,
understand,
some
bro?
way,
To
4 Angry
create
Men
those
have
kinds of
turned this one
batteries.
around for the time being. Genesis now trying to make that flanking
WhatsApp news कम
opportunity
देखा
right
करो.
alongside Train to Kill. We can see all of the surrounding teams now filtering in, filtering all of that damage center. As King Shen might be in some danger here. Genesis Dogma trying everything to try turn this battle around and get a good position in zone. Meanwhile, Falcons in that rotation up against Furious Gaming. It seems to be all down to Milos right now, holding the ridgeline, waiting and trying to stay alive for the likes of Furious Gaming before the rotations move
Superhero shots.
I love the
Bro, what do
aggression
you
out of the
think?
Falcons.
Can
This is a
ST
team
defend the
that has
throne
the
in grand
experience.
finals?
I don't think
We
they've had
haven't
the
sat on
confidence
the
so
throne
far
yet, bro,
yesterday and today, but
to
you see
defend it
here,
in the
they're
grand
coming out in
finals. Yes, we
spades right now,
performed good
taking
in the league
this
stages, but
prime position
हम
away
grand
from
finals में
Furious Gaming
देखेंगे.
with a very, very coordinated push effort from the entire team. They do get backstabbed a little bit by Nongshim Red Force, so
ये interesting होगी
just as I
NSR और
was
Falcon की
complimenting them,
fight.
things are starting to fall apart.
इस scrims
They
में भी
still
बहुत
bring it
बड़े.
back though with 2 players up. Oh, now just down to 1 player. Falcons. Powerful. Last one up. Nongshim Red Force. Well, good for them. Looks like they have the confidence to start fighting and third-party teams as well. Down to 3, but they have a prime location on this high ground.
Again, it's just like we're having the teams that have
सर
been
ये
so
वाले
quiet
headphone से
suddenly
headache
step
हो
up
जाता
all
है
in
ज़्यादा.
tandem, all in
Yeah,
a
I know,
beautiful
bro.
choir
नहीं,
as
actually
they're
I've
moving
been
on
down with
into this
flu, fever,
crescendo
whatnot
that is going to be this
since
next zone. Now waiting, GK
I don't know
Esports
how
just
many
prepping
days.
a beautiful nade, trying to find that connection
4
onto 4
days
Angry
now.
Men, give them that space in the similar
So that's why I
fashion.
don't keep it
Nongshim
on
Red
for.
Force, they move on in with those utilities that they've been saving. They've been quiet. They want to take out the Falcons, who are reigning through with those 5 eliminations, and they are just 1 connection away. It's powerful mix of dash, but this dash is right in front of Furious Gaming. They have an opportunity to chime on in.
Oh, Falcon. They never dealt with the last Falcon player there alone. Will go down. Nongshim Red Force should be able to get that revive as well. GK, another player goes down. Ragnar, last one up. They spot the vehicle, so they do have a good idea where the last player could be. And 4 a.m., well, they're always going to clear out their flanks, clear out their sides. And the 4 people trained on that sight line, that is GK eliminated. 4 a.m. potential maybe for back-to-back chicken dinners as Geek Fam here. Now their time to strike, and oh man, they're just so good at fighting. They came in here as the third team to show up, weathering the defense of both. It was what? It was
Rejects
and Rejects.
FaZe.
Yeah.
The Xavier even took a couple of pot shots at them as they made the rotation in. Everyone had an opportunity to take out the likes of Geek Fam, yet they're still in the conversation. Longshore
So I predict the winner of this match. I think लगता है फिर से 4 AM ही जीतेगी.
Ooh, Ching Chen. That would have been
4
huge for Nongshim Red Force if they managed
4
to
AM
confirm that.
भड़क गई भाई.
Knock and confirmation on 4 AM would be crucial because they're so
4
resilient.
AM
IHC
पूरा
finally
भड़की
making
हुई
their
है
play.
अभी.
They were playing out of Pachinki the whole time, just biding their time, waiting to see where the zone would shift to. And now they strike, and when they strike hard. They strike hard onto the 2-2 split of D Xavier, and that's going to punish them. D Xavier, they're going to just give it up. They're not going to try and push right back off of the knocks that their teammates had, and they're going to allow for IHC to get a full reset.
It has been the story of the game makers, not just the game players. You can stay passive all you want, but at some point or another, these teams are going to be finding you. We need that aggression. We need these teams picking their engagements. You can see 4 a.m., they started that engagement with Noxian Red Force. And why did they start it? Because they knew they had an opportunity to finish it. Now they pick up those engagements. Now they pick up those eliminations. And now they can pull it back. They can reset before they move on into anything else. Before they move on into Geek Fam, D Xavier, IHC, they have options, and it's because they have made their options.
I love that you put it that way. They have made their options, not gifted to them. They fought for it, which allows for them to open up the playbook, so to say. Next zone, about to shift. Will it go to the high ground, or will it drop to the low ground where the compounds are? IHC, a deadly force to be reckoned with, having still 4. Geek Fam with only 3. Also, just as deadly. We've seen their fighting prowess. Mika is knocked that can and should be a revive if they have the smoke utils to smoke and cross over to him. Furious Gaming still has 1. Zone shifts on out. It does go mostly to the low ground. Let's see if
इसमें ये देखना पड़ेगा ये
dedicated push here. Actually, no, they still have some of the
ये अच्छी
circle to
फाइट
play with
लगेगी
for
इसमें
now
भाई.
on the high ground.
बोला था भाई हाँ चाइनीज टीम्स का कभी कोई भरोसा नहीं है. Geek doesn't stand a chance here, bro.
Geek Fam have lost the zone, I think, in the trenches.
And again, they're moving on into
They
those
have
trenches. As soon as they
the
exit those
high
trenches,
advantage, but
they
they
give
have to
that
come
line of sight
down,
over to
so
4 angry men
it'll be
who,
worth
for the
watching.
time being, have been trained on their position.
तो अगर
You
भाई
can
आप
see
क्रिकेट
now
देखते हो क्या?
some
बिल्कुल
movement
देखता हूँ
happening
भाई.
here for Angry Men, sending out some action
व्हाट्सएप
over
न्यूज़ नहीं देखता
towards
रे, मजाक
IHC,
कर रहा
but
था यार. मिडल
Godless
ईस्ट का
with the turnaround.
आपकी
This is the
कंट्री का
combination of Godless
डायरेक्ट
and Zara
फायदा
we
है.
were missing yesterday.
हमारा फायदा
Now
तब
they
है
get treated to it.
जब
Will they
हमारी
be able
कंट्री
to leverage this
for an instance if
into
there is
anything
I mean
more?
like
Will they be able to
I
leverage
won't go
themselves
deeper into the
into the
subject, but
final
within
zone?
4 to
For
5
Angry
years
Men,
I
they
do
need to turn their
feel
attention off to some
that
of these
India is in a
threats.
place and position right now where they can be one of the top leaders in economy in the world.
So glad to see that both of them
It completely depends on the government how they policy
Fam
it.
suffers another knock. It's just going to be constant.
They have a very good
onslaught
advantage
for the Blue Zone
above
versus
Europe in
out
this
of the
market,
goalie. I don't know
and
if
I like how
the
their
team has a working vehicle.
how their
I'd
external
love to see
ministry
them
is
go for a
functioning right
crash,
now.
and they do
It
have
looks
a
pretty
working
positive
vehicle.
for us.
That's probably
Let's see.
their best option at this point, because smokes are only going to do so much. When everyone's spamming the smokes, you are bound to catch stray bullets.
Ooh, King Sheng trying to do exactly that. Damn Root just somehow narrowly escaping all of those extra sprays that are just going through. But Geek Fam, surely but surely, they are
Come
moving
on,
up. They are
I'd
trying to find another
say.
position. Oh, here's Savon though with the line of
They
sight that we've been missing
compound
before
पे
Angry
आए,
Men,
yeah.
looking like they
But they
might
will have
finish
to
it
leave
up.
the compound,
But we've
I
still got a
guess.
few more teams that might change that storyline, that might actually go for that steal.
Another knock onto Geek Fam. They are just really weathering the storm. Can they survive right there on the edge? Is that circle just deep enough to get them into the zone of the trench?
Yeah, 4 AM को वहाँ पे थोड़ा problem हो सकती है because they have to come down that
Once again,
mountain, right?
damage.
So
New circuit pops on out,
that's when
so
you
they
become
will
an
be
easy
safe for
pick.
this one, but the next
But
one they are surely done for as the
depends.
circle actually favors 4AM. It keeps them on the high ground for another zone, and the last one, well, we're pretty much it. We're gonna head into the 9th circle, and it's gonna close right in between 4AM, IHC, and DX Xavier.
My question here is IHC, right? They're just on the outskirts of the zone. They know that DX Xavier are right up ahead of them in that compound. Where's that push? Where are they going to take that control? How are they going to alleviate the pressure that they're going to be feeling in that final zone?
IHC
Here
is
it is.
giving.
I've been
Okay.
asking for it. IHC making that move into DX Xavier.
Out in spades right now.
How are they going to alleviate the pressure that they're going to be feeling in that final zone? Here it is. I've been asking for it. IHC making that move into DX Xavier.
Yeah, I think IHC was so slow to make that push because there could be very well be two teams there with those two different buildings. So they don't want to push too early and third party, but after this much time has passed, I think they've been able to tell, okay, it's just the last two remaining players of DX Xavier. Defam now making the play, getting into the zone, but man, yeah, just crossfired and angled from too many teams and people. They will go down. And nice try out for the side of Defam. IHC. Oh my gosh, Furious Gaming. We totally forgot about Furious Gaming in the backlines. That could have been at least 2 knocks, but he whiffs it. He gets 1 down, he gets like 2 down to 1 HP. And now IHC getting a full reset on the heels.
And now it's a 4v1. I mean, it's all 4 players of IHC trained on Milo Van's position. They know exactly where their threats lie, but DX Xavier still up and at him. And 4 angry men, we can't forget about them like we did with Furious Gaming. They're still involved in this contention. IHC will have their focus split just for this time being because they've got DX Xavier right up ahead of them in this compound that they need for cover into this next phase.
Ooh, good knock. Oh, an even better finish. That is a huge setback for the likes of 4AM, because more than likely they were going to have to try and push and third party this fight. But 4AM, yeah, now down to 3. They're going to go down. They're going to leave 1 behind for the Overwatch fire. But, Furious Gaming looking to spoil 4AM here. That nade does not connect. And there's a chance, okay, I was going to say, there's a chance they don't know if Milovan is here, but now they definitely know. Those DP shots right now. IHC taking the fight on the inside, gets the finish onto DX Xavier. However, they do lose 1 player. No, do they lose more than 1 player? Furious Gaming taken out. Emchain with a nice defense there. Yeah, IHC lost 1 player, so it's down to a 3v3. IHC with the blue zone pushing in on their backs. 4AM with the prime positioning inside the center of the circle and the angles. But IHC,
this is prime.
Any team can win this 3v3 at a disadvantage, it would be Prime 8 IHC. How are they going to do this? Are they going to clear out the tree with the grenades? Oh, Godless. He has an idea. Blue zone coming in. Makes a toss, gets the knock.
Yes!
It's good.
अब तो मतलब आसानी से नेड दे देंगे.
Actually, Emchain or Goodshao got the trade with the weapon, goes for the confirmation. That's a little bit risky.
Oh, nice.
Like that. They get another
Oh,
knock.
missed.
I think Godless got the knock. No, Godless going for the knock.
4AM का chicken, भाई.
Forced to push out. 4AM making the decisive play to drive down while IHC was just finishing up their fight. It looked a little shaky when IHC took down Savan and got the confirmation, but a back-to-back chicken dinner. A super extremely tough game on Sanhok for 4AM to navigate this time around with 2 very precise rotations. They will nab the chicken dinner, and I think 4AM, they should be shooting up to first place after that one.
The question is, have they broken that streak? 7 posed the question. They didn't look so good yesterday in the second half of the day, especially over towards a Wrangle. Here we go, completely completely refreshed 4 angry men moving on up, potentially, like you said, to that pole position.
Chinese team को आगे माता.
Putting up with the winner chicken dinner from Sanhok over to the winner chicken dinner on a Wrangle, and their beautiful performance with that setup in the valley. They are bringing home a very surprising performance here for everyone, or at least the expected performance that we were waiting for on day number 1.
4AM looking so good right now. China overall looking very strong. Nova finished in 2nd. In week 1, LGD almost made the top 3. Unfortunately for them, they were knocked down to 4th. And 4AM, Well, there's still a very long road ahead of them, but that road's looking brighter and brighter with a
You know, their
back-to-back
gameplay is
ship.
very, their positioning is very similar, or you can say gameplay is very similar to how Nova plays, right? दो बंदे एक साइड से प्रेस करते हैं, एक बंदा एंगल पकड़ता है. They did the same thing with IHC right now. However, IHC did manage to get that flank guy knocked out, but yeah. Hi, bye. When Gordel ST jersey gonna reveal? Ask Cronton that. ये पहले क्लियर करते हैं. True. They clear first and then they move.
And just like that, four
अभी
angry
मुझे
men
total
bust
overall
out
point table
another
लेना.
chicken
ISC
dinner
22
here
points.
today in day number 2. You know, this squad has got to be feeling themselves.
I think reject की वही सिर्फ एक गेम बेटर की है जहाँ पे उनको मतलब नदी के सारी वो 20 किलें फ्री की मिल गई. लाइक 3 टीम्स क्रॉस कर रही थी, उनने 3 टीम को उड़ा दिया और एक टीम को आगे पुश दे दिया था.
The split that four angry men has done in the previous match and now in this match that just happened.
I think like it's a shame for Besiktas and Reject. Both of them are like getting so much of advantage yet they are not performing.
Getting those different angles, and I'm actually surprised that Furious
Chinese meta है भाई, हाँ भाई.
to do anything in regards to those four angry men players being right in front of him, Glitter, because he could have easily at least knocked one down.
Listen, we heard the caster saying it. This was the performance out of Four Angry Men that we were looking for from yesterday. And we wanted to see if they'd be able to bounce back because they had a slow second half of the day. They bounced back.
You told that jersey gonna be in BTR style. When did I say that?
We were talking about this while we were watching the game too, Jukes.
BTR
IHC
style?
out of nowhere just started tearing it up. And when you have teams at the top like Four Angry Men that are getting all of those elos to be able to do the performance that IHC did is yet again impressive.
It's so impressive, especially right now at this stage, the perfect time in order to do it, because now that we're at day 2, right, you gotta bounce back strong because they only got a few games left here in this group, and we'll find a little bit more about this information when we come back right after a quick break.
भाई एसटी और गॉर्डल के प्लेयर्स का मीट कब होगा? ब्रो अभी देखो, अभी पहले पीएमडब्ल्यू आई था, फिर पीएमजीसी था, फिर पीएमजीसी गया, अभी पीएमजीसी खत्म भी नहीं हुआ. सो हाउ आर यू गोना create that meet? I mean like it's very hard, but we'll see bro, we'll see what happens.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And before we get started, I gotta give a big, thank you to Sony, the official smartphone here.
Yeah, we will see, bro. We'll see. We'll create one Devil Monster. We will look into that jersey thing soon. वो focus में नहीं है अभी, but we're working on it.
Total cooling system and multiple ports for intensive gaming and streaming. And you could tell, man, these guys, these four angry men, they are getting angrier and angrier as this show goes on. And I want to see just how angry they have gotten with this overall rankings. And quite angry.
24 AM कुत्ता बना दिया था सारी टीम्स को बस. NV last day अच्छा comeback कर रही थी, वरना 4 AM जीत गई थी first
I did not.
PMGC.
I actually thought it was
Yeah, I mean,
maybe second place, but I guess the chicken.
I didn't follow that one, 2020 वाला. But yeah, I've heard about it.
Okay, well, here, let's talk about him a little bit more. 59 eliminations. I'll actually go a little bit more in depth into that because it's really impressive what they've been able to do in the past 2 matches. Geek Fam, though, I mean, it's not the Geek Fam that
4 AM first spot पे Geek second,
match, but I want to see
T2K third,
this next Mirror. You can see
IHC 4.
That's good. Remember, that was a team that I was hoping
लो
that would be able to
इन्होंने
take advantage.
एनवी वाला ये कर दिया भाई.
See that game lore. They're continuing with that passionate. They have been getting more eliminations.
72 elimination by Geek.
They can't find a happy
72.
medium, Glitter. It's either some eliminations and no placement points, or some placement points and no eliminations.
Yeah, and then
Umar
down there at the
Farouk,
bottom, I
much
know
love
it's
to
not big,
God
but I
LST
heard you kind
from
of mention
Kulgam,
it too, Jukes.
Kashmir.
Tem
Thank you,
falls
bro.
even farther. Deke Xavier actually jumps above them, which, you know, the points are still very close, and we say it all the time, one match could change it, but I think it's more kind of the
Comeback तो है.
that mental hit that we talk about a lot too.
I mean, at the end of the day, top 3 is the goal. Okay, no matter what, like all these teams want to get into top 3, nothing short of that. For fourth place, might as well be last place to a lot of these players here. You know, at the end of the day, if you see Tem drop that low, if they want to bounce back and try to get that top 3, it is still possible with how many games we have left to be played. But I think we need to see something out of them right now in this Miramar match, because 4 Angry Men are heating up, right? Geek Fam is heating up as well, and I don't think they have any
And then 4 and be like kills. I don't like it. I avoid, but kills like me, I can't avoid.
Glad you mentioned 4 Angry Men too, because I want to actually talk about them a little bit more, especially in regards to eliminations. In 8 matches, that team was able to get 28 eliminations. In this past 2 matches that they have won, they have already gotten 31 eliminations. So if those teams towards the bottom do want to make a push, I mean, it's going to have to be now, especially with the performances that 4 Angry Men is being able to put up. Now we're going to be going into Miramar. I tend to expect a great match out of Besiktas. You can see their south landing spot right there. And also, I'm going to be looking forward to this Xavier. We finally saw a little bit of a wake-up call out of them. And we're able to move up to 14th place, making that gap even closer, Glitter. And GK, same story continues. They're just nowhere to be found after yesterday.
Yeah, it's
Do you know about Godlike Global
point,
announcement is
I
going
see
to
if they
reveal
can
in 15
continue.
days?
Go for the
Oh, I don't have an idea, to be
of the
honest.
chicken
I don't know
dinners.
what their
You know,
announcement
can they
is.
get the back-to-back-to-back? Because right now they look a little bit unstoppable. But to be fair, they just tied Geek Fam for first, and Geek Fam was one of our top Miramar performers. So Geek Fam is one of my teams to watch for this next match. And then IHC, they're starting to look a little bit more solid. They're kind of stepping up, getting a little bit more comfortably aggressive. And I don't want that to go away. I need that to stay here.
Yeah, stay right here where you're at. And you know what? I love this part of the tournament because once you hit day 2, those first day jitters by now are gone, right? Like that whole initial just stress of, oh my gosh, we're here, we're live, the land, that they should have gotten used to that by now. So now we're going to start seeing the true potential from some of these teams. And I think IHC is one of those squads that, you know, had that initial nervousness, are starting to finally start putting a performance, but you can't let go of that pedal. You got to put the gas heavy on. And
क्या लगता है 2 साल का चाइनीज चैंपियन कर्स टूटेगा कि नहीं इस साल? टूटेगा भाई, टूटेगा. ट्राई तो पूरी करेंगे तोड़ने की. प्लेयर्स पूरा 100% दे रहे हैं, मेहनत कर रहे हैं. चिराग गार्ग जॉनी का मीटअप व्लॉग देखा? हाँ भाई देखा मैंने, बहुत प्यारा था. So happy to see so many people showing love for him. I mean, they have always shown love for Johnny, and which is good. भाई आपने भी कभी खेला है PUBG? हाँ यार, मतलब अभी भी खेलता हूँ, but just like when I'm bored, but I'm not a good player. I suck.
Almost, you know, getting to the
Noob.
halfway point of this week number 3.
We just passed the halfway points of the day into potentially the halfway points, of course, at the end of the day, of the whole week. So these teams, yeah, if you want to talk about that pivotal moment, that point that these teams know that it's do or die, it's you need to bring that performance now or it's going to be never. I feel like we've already passed it, but I'm going to say it's at the end of today. If we don't get to that halfway point and you're not feeling comfortable for the last 2 days, we saw what happened with HVVP in last week when they were pole position holders for 3 days in a row yet still in that last day, we had miracles happen. We had teams stepping up. We are having teams step up today, and they are bringing through force that if you don't calm it down, if you don't bring your A game on right now, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah, speaking about bringing on your A game on right now, right? The teams are feeling that pressure. We just saw a couple of seconds ago, Xavier, they made a sub. Xavier, one of the teams that we talked about at the beginning before any matches started, a team to kind of look out for based on their previous performances. He subbed out T-Duck for Vicoy, or Vichoy. So, Xavier, they're feeling that pressure. They need to make a change, and it's not just Xavier. We've already seen a few teams do some sub-outs, sub-ins, and I think it was better to do it early. One team, the very first team almost, I think, if I'm not mistaken, to do a sub was IHC, and that's been working out so well for them that they recognized the problem early on, and they tried to fix it with a sub. These other teams following suit might be a little bit too late, but we're not at the halfway point just yet. There's still hope, there's still time for these teams to work out their kinks, whether it be with the current roster that needs to synergize better, or maybe bring in a new player.
IHC, I mean, Zyle, I feel like is holding the title of Super Sub right now. Remember, as soon as they jumped into that game, first up, the first elimination we had on that map, also, who did it go to? Zyle, bringing in that energy, almost making a statement as soon as their feet hit the ground, that IHC, the storyline, it's going to change. The chapter has opened, and now the same thing has to be said. We've had two subs in today. It was Nongshan Red Force and now Xavier. We need that performance to match. We need that energy to move on back in.
Playing path quite heavily favoring the western side. A lot of teams splitting out to the east. Not too bad though. It's better to probably stretch to the east and stretch to the north from a southern playing path, because a lot of road access ways all run from east to west, and which means a lot more car vehicle spawns for teams to work with to try and stretch further to the east, unlike, you know, the opposite way around. We saw the circle pop up. The circle will be actually favoring more of the eastern side. Los Leones dead center of that new zone pretty much. Taking a look at the mini-map. No hard hot drop contestants, but once again, with the playing path being so far west, we might see some scattered split drop fights or rotational fights.
Yeah, moving on in from that western side, I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to happen. Again, we had that ridiculous murmur on the first point of the day. Actually, it follows through as to what happened yesterday. Yesterday's first murmur was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. The second murmur was a little bit, you know, it was skewed.
गाइस जो भी नया है ना अभी यहाँ पे चैट में और जो तब से बैठा है फटाफट लाइक मारो भाई लाइक मारो लाइक मारो लाइक
In
मारो
those maps, what it came down to were the first teams to, again, same
That
as
the way you
Rositas,
say it?
making position, making that call, making that opportunity and that early rotation to put yourself into the best possible footing. Again, not a lot of information this early on into the zone, but I would like to see a few more teams taking a hold of that eastern side. I mean, we had the flag path, we know what the zone is going to be pulling. They have that information. Let's make use of that eastern side.
We're riding with Snipes here, driving in FPP mode. I almost feel like it's better to drive in FPP mode, because then you're forced to keep your eyes on the road, right? Whereas in third person, you can, like,
there's
not,
trees.
Yeah, you can not keep your eyes on the road.
You are coming up for these players and their driving skills, Zute. You are the guardian of the drive today. You're like, listen, if you're crashing, get out. Next driver, like, either go FPP or, like, stop. Just use your passenger to your advantage here. But again, just for a reminder, if any players watch this back, if you drive bad, Zute is coming for you.
Oh, I've had my fair share of mishaps with driving, especially on the competitive stages. It's honestly the worst feeling there is. But it happens. It happens to the best of them. And I don't think I've seen a single tournament yet where there hasn't been any driving mistakes caught on camera. So it's a part of the game. Even if you're
watching.
Yeah. The observers are watching, and even if you play this game 24/7, those trees, they literally do sometimes spawn out of nowhere, I gotta say.
And the observers they're just waiting for those moments. They're waiting for that reel, for the funny moments. They're waiting to catch those points.
The observers are like, we're gonna plot down a tree right here,
right
now.
now.
It's like, I swear that tree was not there before. Yeah.
Oh, it is beautiful. But I mean, hey, looking at the performances that we've seen so far today, beautiful from four angry men to climb to the top of that pole position. Tied, of course, with the Geek Fam, who has been bringing in a similar performance in terms of the aggression they're wanting to show, but those placement and that positional not the awareness, rather just the rotations that they've been making. I mean, they had no business, and I will say this happily, they had no business surviving those trenches. They pulled up into three teams, they had a fourth and a fifth team shooting at them, and somehow, some way, they stay alive long enough to make an impact. Same with Ruins on Sandhog. I mean, Snipes was literally getting shot from every possible direction, and yet they still make that impact at the very least with the eliminations.
Who do you think will get chicken in
Fam,
this
like
one?
I said, if the circles shift in a way where it's just slightly more favorable for them to entry in on, that's the game where they pick up a lot of placement points plus elimination points. When the circles shift in a way that's a little bit trickier to deal with, I mean, they'll still make it work. A very strong, resilient team. But I just don't feel, the only thing they're missing, if we want to do a direct comparison, right, with 4AM that just overtook them, is they don't have those clinical, surgical rotations, but that's just not their play style. We saw, 4AM make some really long stretch of rotations on both Erangel games and the Sandhawk game. That's more so in their playbook, and that either, rewards them really big, or sometimes they'll lose players on
सर्कल
rotation.
दिखा दो यार.
That's the risk that runs with it. Geek Fam, you
सर्कल
don't lose
देखने
players on
गए.
rotation because they just take it slow from the edge. Nice knock, though, from the FaZe team. It's a long-range knock, but BK, Evo Keed here, caught in between two different teams that could get very dicey for them as Game Lord's committing to the push-up here. Evo Keed fighting on both fronts now.
CeeLo and Diego now trying to hold the line here, going to find that initial knock and then find that initial damage, but it is Victor from Game Lords to actually confirm that knock. And now Game Lords trying to scramble Diego, returning the favor. And again, this is a good hold, but it's a little bit too split up from Vivo Key. They, again, as you mentioned, they had a second team to worry about, so I don't blame them that their focus was split between either FaZe or Game Lord. Running that 2-2 split, they're losing out to the numbers advantage.
The flank players need to create a better buffer zone, which was not done. Now they're getting shot in from behind, pushed in from behind. FaZe getting into the mix of things. I don't know if Game Lord realizes Vivo Keed was in a fight with the likes of FaZe. FaZe might actually just continue to pressure this fight in. FaZe wants more. Game Lord looks like
क्या हो गया? तो बसड़ हो गई इधर पे.
out a little bit to get better positioning here. And that is
PK eliminated.
Crunched in by both FaZe and Game Lord. It's like sharks in a shark tank right there, and they were fish food.
Pretty much. You mentioned earlier about that performance from Geek Fam, and it's hilarious that we're talking about, now it's coming down to those rotations. Yesterday, we were talking the storyline that the way in which Geek Fam have been playing, their winning condition is them not having zone. Their winning condition is them having to fight into zone, being that outskirts team, and now it's coming down to that rotation. So that stark difference in the storylines also is coming through because
Game Lord बीच में I think फंस जाएगा. वो FaZe Clan will try and give them a push again.
In day number one, Geek Fam
if they are anywhere close visible.
Think about, now we're having a
and यहाँ से T2 game को अंदर आने नहीं देगी.
Four angry men running out with perfect rotations.
T2 has a compound.
Storyline, so they do need to make those small adjustments to give them that edge once again.
I completely agree with you there.
IHC का chicken है, bro. I want IHC to have that chicken, bro. I do think they have the chicken, but I think rotation. Let's see how 4 AM का rotation क्या रहेगा. उसके बाद पता चलेगा.
So much opportunities for teams to, really mount a strong defense with good sight lines, and there's still so much left to play. It's almost looking like the end game of the Erangel, where very dynamic difference, throughout the map, and each point that each team takes up has pivotal ways for them to play it, for them to maximize points and potentially get a win. It all comes down to execution once again. Every spot has its advantages and disadvantages for sure. Which team is going to
देखना बसिकतास के पास फिर से positioning होगी, लेकिन फिर से वो उसको convert, मतलब they won't be able to take
Talking
advantage
about
of it.
our current quote-unquote elimination leaders, not that
Bro,
there's a lot of eliminations that have
I
happened.
think
It's Flames,
NSR
it's
ka
Dreadlords, it's Genesis
guys, I
Dogmatics.
think NSR का
Three
one of the
teams that,
biggest
again,
fault in
from
this
FaZe,
whole
there's that
PMGC
consistency
was
from
that इनने
Genesis and
अपने आप को
Dreadlords
इतना expose
lacking a
कर
little
दिया
bit
ना
of that
scrims
engagement
में.
and lacking a little bit of that
Like
killer instinct
everybody
that
knows
we're
their
talking about.
moves
You know, we
now.
mentioned on
They
Arango,
were
maybe your
killing it
options
in
might be
NSR and they thought
being
अरे
the
ये तो
game makers instead of
lobby
just
को उड़ा
playing the
देंगे
game.
वो कर देंगे ये देंगे
Ensuring
but
that you're the ones choosing
they were
that
actually
engagement. You're
doing
forcing
they are
that
actually
engagement. You're
playing their
forcing another
original
team
gameplay so
into a
everybody
awkward
read
position
and
instead of
studied
being
them
the
very
ones
well.
forced into it.
And scrims में कोई भी team जो है वो अपनी strategies reveal नहीं करती है.
Right now, hopefully they find it throughout the course of today, throughout the course of this game. And sometimes, you know, on the flip side, it could be the rotation instincts, right? I don't know what there's killer instincts and then the rotational instincts, because for sure 4 a.m. has really, you know, picked up on the rotational instincts, really capitalizing on every rotation they make. But I mean, that just comes down to pure experience and constant studying of other teams.
So again,
And
bro, if you could change
IHC
one,
getting
there are a
lot
lot of things I would love to change about myself, man.
at a showdown
It's not
just
that
last
I'm
match. You can see
a
it's pretty even.
narcissistic guy
Yes, he
who
got the
thinks
knock, but
everything about
instantly
me is
he's shot down
perfect.
to
There are a
half
lot of
health and his
things
level 3 helmet quite banged up.
that I would like to change. I actually like, you know,
Good
trust
return
people
here from
easily.
4 a.m.
That's
And
what I
again,
would
they
change.
don't need to jump into this engagement. I mean, IHC, they're very split up. You can see Zayol is actually just keeping a good
I
eye out
trust
on
people on
you know,
their
the likes of that
words.
northern side for those rotations, while a few of those IHC members, only 3 in particular, are focusing towards 4 angry men. So it'll be interesting to see how long they keep that stalemate. If for now they just want that information, they just want that opportunity to apply pressure rather than getting into that engagement, because we're still waiting for that zone shift. We're still waiting to see where that pressure is going to be coming through from. And right now, most of our teams are centered up towards that eastern side of the zone, towards the north and towards the east. Those are our polarizing points. We can see it there. It's almost like they're drawing us a compass.
Next circle does go a little bit further to the west. Picado could come into play here. Team IHC has a nice slew of options to play for with good sight lines. 4 a.m. is going to make another rotation, probably further up north to that compound that will isolate them down into the center. And I would say not the strongest of positions as far as play options out of it. But with this being so late in the game and with it being quite central, they might just be able to make good use of that spot.
Bro, he just missed a spray on 4 a.m. I don't think they're gonna let it slide that easy.
Right here, pressing into
Oh, very good nade.
And Red Force, and they get a nice little pre-nade onto one of the players.
यार Falcon को क्या हो गया यार इसमें? PMWI में they were. What the hell is wrong with them?
So definitely getting the better end of this fight.
But they've got
अच्छा
those two
sandwich
initial
हो
knocks.
गई.
Now it's slow it down. You've got that numbers advantage. Now you don't need to push out. If anything, you can just constantly apply the pressure. Look at that. Boom's having to take a run away. That gives
One
them
more.
an
If you could
open
star in a
position. That
movie,
gives them
what
an open
movie it would
opportunity
be?
to take another engagement. But what they are really happy for right now is that they've picked up those 2 eliminations without dropping a player. That's going to be huge for them moving
My
on into the next
own
engagement. Whereas
biography.
for Falcons,
No,
it's
I'm
not looking
kidding.
great.
I don't know.
Yeah, Falcons going for it.
Actually, if I could replace a role in a movie, if it was any other movie, I would really love to do.
This Falcons team, very
What's the name of this movie?
I would have to
Fences.
say, as far as
I'd like to play
been able to
Denzel Washington in Fences, which I know
So,
that like
53 points only.
आसपास भी नहीं आ सकता, but if I could do a role,
Even in a strong
that's a
central
crazy.
position, it's probably not going to get the next
IC के पास हर बार पोजीशन अच्छा है होता है, बस वो पोजीशन को कन्वर्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं. Yeah, bro, you're right.
IHC meanwhile just chilling on the western
But
side.
IHC still tries, bro. They take it to the end.
It's always in a good spot.
Unlike basic tasks, they are not even able to convert anything.
Just continuously laying out pressure 360 around, all from this vantage point that they're holding.
I'm liking it though. Already, we talked about it. They picked up those 2 initial eliminations. Oh, might be on the cusp of not just the 3rd, but they're already looking at their 4th, as Yuhai is just down to a sliver of HP. And it's forcing the likes of a team like Geek Fam to rethink their options, to rethink their position. All of a sudden now they're being pressured, looking at a potential regroup, running that 2-2 split that Geek Fam are working with now. If anything, the 2 of Rude and Yuhai, they are isolated. they are in a little bit of trouble, especially when we start to think about Train to Kill. Moving on into their position, you can see already the first member of Train to Kill, they're getting closer.
इस मैच से लग रहा है कि कुछ तो मारेगी ये IHC. Yeah, they have a very good position, bro. Their back is clear. They have the compound. They have the ridge.
Allow Geek Fam to peek up to look for info
They
to
have.
put pressure onto Train to Kill.
Yeah, let's see, bro.
So
उनका
with
को
Geek
knock
Fam
हो गया है
not
क्या कोई
creating
player?
any presence 'cause they're constantly
IHC
pinned
का.
down, that
हाँ
gives
एक
Train
player
to
knock
Kill,
है लेकिन
you know,
उनका.
more opportunity and comfortability to press
ओए
closer to
तेरी
Geek Fam on the
nice.
next shift if they do fight that way. But for
Nice
Train to
trade.
Kill, they got another team to worry about, and for them, this might be an easier fight as they've already picked up an open to Tem, one of the players of Tem Entertainment.
सबसे crucial इसमें पता है क्या होता है? Like a lot of teams they make a mistake is like they don't
Stay
clear
alive
the
long
back.
enough to make an impact. Same
When
with
you are
Ruins
playing,
on
a
Sandbox.
lot of
I mean,
teams
Snipes
try
is
and
literally
play
getting shot
edge,
from every
but वो
possible
edge तो खेलते हैं
direction,
लेकिन back clear
and yet
नहीं
they
करते.
still make that impact at the very least with the eliminations.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like if Geek Fam, like I said, if the circles shift in a way where it's
ज़्यादा
just
split
slightly
भारी ना पड़
unfavorable
जाए.
for them to entry in on,
True.
that's the game where they
Have
pick
to
up
run now,
a
bro.
lot of
Will
those
come live
points.
tomorrow.
Plus
Most
elimination
probably I'll
wise,
come
if the
tomorrow.
circles shift in a way that's a
Maybe
little
with
bit trickier to
Senator,
deal with, I mean, they'll still
Jargal वगैरह
make it
बाकी लोगों के साथ ज़यान भी शायद आए.
a very strong, resilient team. But I just don't feel, the only thing they're missing if we want to do a direct comparison, right, with 4AM that just overtook them is they don't have those clinical, surgical rotations, but that's just not their play style. We saw, 4AM make some really long stretch of rotations on both Erangel games and the Sandhawk game. That's more so in their playbook, and that either, rewards them really big, or sometimes they'll lose players on rotation. That's the risk that runs with it. Geek Fam, they don't lose players on rotation because they just take it slow from the edge. Nice knock, though, onto Geek Fam. Now, Geek Fam have to push into Train to Kill, and it's going to be a lot more difficult when they're constantly getting pressured by the likes of FaZe. Looking on the western side of things, few players have made rotations deep down to the center. Xavier, successful defense onto Game Lord. Where's the rest of the Game Lord team split up? There's only one player left up from Game Lords. The last player actually up north in Picado. Trying to do a 1-1 split here to just maximize their chances of getting the zone, but man, I don't think they were expecting a team to push them there.
Xavier actually running a 2-1 split as well, but unfortunately one of those hopefuls fighting the two of Xavier will meet the end and mean that you have Game Lords down to only one. Akashi will reign that flag high, hopefully, for a few more zones, get some good placements. You can see Nongshim Red now feeling the pressure, Train to Kill with that rotation. Lovely line of here from Sandesh, who can apply that extra bit of pressure while the rest of the team moves on in.
Nongshim Red looking like they're in a decent spot, to be honest. They're the ones essentially that's controlling the flanks of Train to Kill now. And they do push them away. Train to Kill do find a nicer position.
बर्गर बॉय
if they are able
मैं
to
तुझे मॉड दे देते लेकिन तू बातें थोड़ी टेढ़ी करते है बट स्टिल I'll give you one chance. ले ऐश कर.
Let's see if they are able to execute this properly. A team that's been struggling all week long so far. Now they're gonna face a tough challenge.
यार IHC के पास स्किल कैसे नहीं है अभी तक कोई?
Nongshim Red feeling some pressure all of a sudden. There's a turnaround. There's a reach around here from Geek Fam. And it's a nice little bit of energy to see them. They have been pinned down for so long. It's just good to see that they're picking up these eliminations already too, but those confirmations are just out of reach. Nongshim Red Force now being forced on forwards. I don't know if they have time for that res. I'll have to wait and see. In the meanwhile, ooh, look at this Besiktas.
Yeah, I think this is it. This is when IHC should really convert, but they have a good split. Like they need to clear. They need to make sure that RC जो है वो right side से पूरा push ना दे to hold them, like to make sure that they don't take rotation on their side. That's why they have done a larger split. That's why IC is there. So दो teams है वहाँ से. But अब ये देखना है कि इनको कौन सा side पहले clear होता है. I think left would have been safer. But they're in a good spot. They're in a good position.
On a warpath, fighting their flanks and fighting the front side. They're going to be looking to take care of Nongshim Red Force and then taking care of the likes of GK. GK's already hurt. And wait a second, it looks like Train to Kill getting some knocks onto the Geek Fam team. I thought that was Besiktas getting more damage into multitudes of teams here.
Well, they definitely have the option here, but Mika coming through from Geek Fam, trying to hold the line as the solo member and just getting absolutely shot. You can beeline as much as you want, zigzag all you want, but you've got two teams trained on your position. Now Nongshim Red Force, they initially wanted to go for that push, but that elimination from Geek Fam is going to provide them potentially a secondary option. This is still risky though, right in front of like what, 3-4 teams? Oh.
I think Nosham Red Force is going to go down there. Yep. Last player of Nosham Red Force does indeed get eliminated. Furious Gaming has pushed into the likes of GK and looking very successful. Down to 1v1, swings out again, and Hope will be the last hope. Can he get the revives before Besiktas pushes in? Has Besiktas been keeping track of the elimination feed? They got one confirmed onto the likes of GK, and then they saw GK getting into a fight with Furious Gaming. I'm surprised Besiktas isn't pushing off that. Besiktas has how many players up? Taking a quick look at this. Besiktas has all four players up.
All four.
Yeah, they could take
all four.
They could have taken this position, denied the full reset, and given them pretty much full access to anywhere where the circle shifts. But without taking this spot, GK is gonna constantly be a little bit of a roadblock. And now Besiktas is coming in. It's a little bit too late. They could still win this one out though. But you can see here, yeah, they were completely unaware of what was happening earlier and a little bit too chaotic for them to keep track of. A team with better, quote-unquote, killer instincts.
You see, this is what I was telling you. Like, you know, Besiktas को देखो मतलब इतना dumb move. इनको पता है इन्होंने 3 बंदे knock कर दिए, फिर भी इनने push नहीं दिया. What the hell were they thinking? अब जाके दूसरी team पे push दे रहे हैं.
What is happening? What are you doing? Why are we so passive? Come on, we need that energy, especially just when you consider the simple fact. At the very least, if you're just going for eliminations, that's great. If you get the team wipe, you open up options for yourself in this final zone. You open up space, which you desperately need, especially since most of the teams are stacked towards the southeastern side. So we will see what Besiktas will be able to do. They're running that 2-2 slip. 2-2 split 2, of which very close to GK Esports, who now hold position in the zone. They're going to be able to actually contain Besiktas out of it if Besiktas are taking a direct line of sight in.
New zone has shifted out. What was said earlier about 4 AM does play out true for them. They picked a very central spot.
भाई knock भी उन्हीं के हैं भाई. How are they not King Beast? Info कैसे नहीं निकाल? Info तो उन्हीं के पास था. Info आ गया. They already know that they have got the knock.
Like a fortress. IHC meanwhile, they can choose what they want to do. Go north, go south. They have full sight lines of everything. It's not going to be easy per se getting into this zone. But
गया Falcon गया देखना. Falcon जाएगा phase के हाथों.
Denying the rejects hard right now. Grenades raining in. It is all up to Justice to get those revives. Divine, he does not want to clump up with the rest of his teammates.
King, can I get answer for my question? What question, bro?
Getting closer and closer for the kill shot onto the rejects team.
Faye is going to be closing out that engagement.
Yes, King brother. What answer you need?
Great. Just as Justice wanted to go in for those revives, just to go in for those numbers.
कि नेड कर रहे हाउस में जिसे वो escape कर गए वो कह रहा. Yeah, bro, you're right.
Down to only 2 members here of rechecks. Getting some information, just popping up those heals, trying to reset the HP bars. Divine does go down.
Your view on Falcon, bro? I am shocked by their performance so far. I hope they do a comeback. This is not the way they play.
They're looking for him. They know rejects only have one up. Justice trying to lay low. Will get taken out. Besiktas up to 11 eliminations. So definitely playing a little bit slower, at least for the previous engagement where they could have taken out GK. Still does not mean that it's not going to work out for them. The killer instinct definitely kicked in, though, onto the rejects team. They went for that as soon as they had the dominant position. GK, of course, could have potentially third party, but they kept 2 players back to make sure they get a heads-up alert on any potential aggression. They would have pulled their players back right there. So well done for the Besiktas team.
I like it, but now they need to continue it. Please do not stop this energy now that we're heading into this next potential zone.
Deleted my message.
Final
Accept reality. Bro, ban this guy, whoever this guy is. King.
Eliminations. And IHC looking to maybe pick up one, at least, maybe on towards BHC, as they're taking rotation from the west. I completely forgot about IHC. I feel like we haven't been able to see them. Again, they haven't picked up an elimination. They've been making good rotations. They have all 4 of their players. But now they're looking for those engagements. They're looking for those possible opportunities.
I think the next engagement they're going to take will be on to the likes of Xavier. We'll see where the zone shifts. Now GK has to mount this defense 3v4.
Name 2 teams do you think take a trophy? Honest answer.
Next circle pops out. Pick your poison.
ST.
Prime position, but a much harder building
Noah.
to crack, and they have 4. Or take the edge of zone on the north side.
It's either ST or it's Noah.
Xavier, but not the best position on the map. We'll see what IHC decides to do here. I think it comes down to whichever side they get a knock onto first, potentially. As Train to Kill, GK, and Besiktas also, they have to move into this new zone.
Besiktas still having a couple of bullets just flying past their faces. I see maybe making 1 or 2 connections. They're Xavier with 5 eliminations. And I mean, looking at their current position over towards that northern side with a little bit of cover to work with, maybe they can make something happen here. It would be fantastic to see them rolling up high. But for Angry Men, now that Geek Fam are out, they can really solidify that pole position. They can really start to build that gap between themselves. And they're currently center zone. I mean, this is as bravado of a play I can see, but IHC might be here to stop the bravado.
Uh-oh. I was saying, whichever side they get a knock on first might be the committal. And, Besiktas forced to go down into the open, use whatever rocks, trees that they can as cover. Meanwhile, GK on the north side will swing north. So Besiktas swinging south, GK swinging north. Which team will come out on top? Both teams have a very tough zone entry to breach. FaZe holding down this northern side at this deep dip, and they're doing well for themselves. 4AM resets up to 4 players. It does not look like a full committal out of the likes of IHC will play out. IHC does lose 1 player in the process too.
IHC making just a little bit of a change, just a little bit of an opportunity to try work in a different angle to this. Besiktas, though, they're feeling the brunt of the action as they are just taking lead after lead after lead right from the barrels of 4 Angry Men. As Train to Kill, they find FaZe Clan, no other than FaZe Clan, as well as GK Esports, who are feeling the pressure now. Gonna be interesting to see if Train to Kill can close it up, but it's not gonna be the case. Sandesh does go down, and now Savan coming through with a couple of shots, a couple of pressure points that they can poke around here.
ST को कैसे exclude करें भाई?
They are fighting against all of the other teams on the outskirts.
Okay. 2 teams do you think take a trophy? Honest answer. 2 teams do you think take it?
Potential win.
Kashir Pitkar Kath, bro, no, this is not a Kashmiri audience, so that I'll speak only Kashmiri. ST and Viva, what ST and Viva? Soul and Godhell. Thank you, bro, for your answer. You are not so overconfident about ST as an owner. I mean, what do you mean, overconfident? I'm confident about my team, but I'm not disrespecting the caliber of other teams.
Of the total 9 that Xavier currently have. 4AM still within center, still applying that pressure.
What about 4AM then? Yeah, we will see. 4AM abhi thodi na yahan tak. Yellow side, 4AM will. As I said earlier as well. 4AM IHC. I was expecting Falcon, but doesn't look like.
Yeah, that tree is going to be out in the blue zone soon enough. But Besiktas still managed to keep 4 up. I would have liked to see, with those 4 players.
IHC qualify ho jayegi, bro. Yeah, bro, I think they will. I appreciate it because who is gonna, I mean, like, not gonna, who in their absolute sense will neglect Nova? You know what I mean? Or like deny Nova in such way that they can, they're Nova, bro. They're 2-time champions. ST तो जीतेगी मेरे को भी भरोसा है पर उसके अलावा second third भी तो आएंगे. I mean, bro, whatever it is, but I do see अगर आप top 5 बोलोगे Influence Kemen, Nova, 4AM, ST, IHC has a very good chance.
4AM need to take care of this without losing too many players.
And I think Fireflux. so far what I think. लेकिन जीतेगा अगर कोई तो मेरे हिसाब से सिर्फ ग्रुप ग्रीन वाला कोई जीतेगा. इस बार की PMGC ग्रैंड फाइनल्स खतरनाक होने वाली है, मजा आएगा भारी. Yes bro, it is going to be an insane grand final. Insane grand final. मतलब you will see strategy, gunpower, everything at once.
Savant finally popping off the first aid kit. They might be able to get another revive if they feel the pressure of Xavier slow down a little too much here. No, they'll get one confirmation. We're back to 3v3. Xavier has the advantage.
I swear अगर यहाँ पे 4 AM ने वापस रिवर्स कर ली ना इस सिचुएशन अपने फेवर में, they are too good. Our DX is that dumb.
Just on the clutch, just on the cusp of getting a winner chicken dinner. It has been long awaited. We want to see that Xavier performance. 4 AM though, not looking to back on down, going for the turkey dinner as Quingshin does go down. Frankie moves on in with at least one confirmation and the trade can't be there. Instead it's Savant that will go down and Xavier, they pick up the winner chicken dinner after we have been asking for a performance from them from the beginning of today, from the beginning of yesterday. Finally, they are here to make a showing.
You know what it is, S-Proxy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it is that led them to that chicken dinner?
Mm-mm.
It's that sub out.
Hey.
It is? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, no way. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go! That is exactly it! We were waiting for it, and they've been so quiet, and then we blink, and they've got 11 eliminations. They're suddenly taking on 4 angry men. What is it with our super subs? What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. But man, look at the relief on that player. Not even smiling, because they realize with that win, all it means is that they got even more work to put in. That was pretty much them preventing a nail being, like the last nail being nailed into the coffin. They stopped that, but now they have to break all of those other nails out, rise up from the dead, and try and fight their way into the top 3. And that's going to be hard to do because 4 AM, they didn't get the chicken, but they got another second place finish. But
I think green group ने हम सब की थोड़ा सा standard change कर दिया.
rising up from the dead. Let's see if they can keep it going.
Okay, tell me a video that we should check out before I bounce off. Suggest me a video that we should watch together.
Xavier pull out a must-have chicken.
Rancho
here. We
क्यों
can just
मतलब
see it
क्यों
in the
क्यों
players'
क्यों
faces.
भाई
Even though you just busted
क्यों
out a win, 8 eliminations by
ऐसी
yourself.
हरकतें क्यों?
You could just see the stress, the relief, because man, this squad had a heck of a hole dug for them, but this definitely.
I think let's just call it a day.
I think so. What about you?
2 great matches so far for them. I mean, to be able to top it off here with a 32-point chicken dinner, that is perfect for them. I do have to give some credit, though, for Besiktas. This team is becoming so good in Miramar Glitter. 12 eliminations, the 3rd place finish for them. That's what you want to see out of Besiktas in Miramar.
They have just been so much stronger today, but so has DX. We're getting a head-to-head now between Lambor and Peace. DX versus Besiktas, and I mean, these are just impressive across the board. 9 elims, 903 damage for 33% of that team contribution, and then the throwables. I mean, we talked about the throwables at the top of the show, how important they were for Geek Fam, and now we're seeing how important they've been.
So guys, thank you very much. I think I'll take a leave. I have some other stuff to finish.
Xavier, that was a team that. The very beginning of the
4
day
AM.
we talked about, and now as we take a look at the overall ranking,
So see you guys tomorrow.
not
shorts,
only the
bhai,
gap
every
that
day
four
in
angry men has now
every
created
match.
for themselves in
Yes,
first
yes.
place,
Alright, bro.
but
Take care.